Look at him. Chung Qianmo is completely surrounded by a literal army of monsters, panting, bleeding, and honestly, he looks like he's having the time of his life. See, this isn't just some random dungeon. He's trapped inside Genesis, a game he's played for years, but now it's his actual reality. No respawns, no easy mode, just a broken world where monsters hunt humans for sport. Most people here are awakened to fight back, but Chang, he starts as a nobody, a vagrant class that everyone thinks is absolute trash. But he's got a secret system that lets him exploit every single bug and mechanic he memorized from the game. He isn't just surviving these monsters, he's farming them for stats like he's playing a spreadsheet. He's about to turn this entire battlefield into his personal leveling playground. He's got a score to settle with the elites, who think they own the world, and trust me, watching him humiliate them is the best part of this ride. It all starts the moment he wakes up in that classroom with a target on his back. Imagine waking up in a classroom, totally fine, only to realize the world outside has literally gone to hell. This is a reality where dimensional gates act like ticking time bombs, and the only way to survive is to become an awakened someone with the stats to actually fight back. This is Chung Qianmo, just another student until the moment he realizes he has been dropped into a perfect, terrifying replica of the game he used to play. He knows the mechanics, he knows the bugs, and he knows that everyone else is just cannon fodder for the monsters. He wants to reach godhood, but he is trapped in a system that rewards the elite and leaves the rest to die. Failure means game over, so he has to use his knowledge to exploit the system before the world falls apart. He steps toward the portal, ready to turn the rules of this nightmare against the very monsters that think they have already won. Cheng Qianmo wakes up in a noisy classroom, urgently shaken by Li Hong, who is worried about the upcoming talent assessment. Disoriented, Chung Qianmo finds himself in a strange, familiar world as a sudden flood of memories reveals the truth. This is Blue Star, a planet mirroring Earth that was irrevocably altered a century ago by a cataclysmic monster invasion. Millions died in the chaos. But humanity survived because they are born with unique talents, allowing them to fight back after passing the awakening trial. Society now treats these awakened elites like royalty to ensure the species has protectors. So the world is hyper-focused on cultivation. Chung Qianmo realizes with shock that he has transmigrated into the exact reality of Genesis, the game he once dominated. He recalls his past life as a nearly invincible level 999 warrior, only stopped from reaching godhood by the final boss's endless minion summons. He remembers shouting just one step at his screen before the failure that sent him here. Li Hong, unaware of the situation, grabs him and jokes about his daydreams, acting exactly as he did in Chung Qianmo's previous life. Chung Qianmo observes that the interpersonal dynamics are unchanged, so he feels a mounting pressure as he realizes his friend is as anxious as everyone else. Li Hong confesses he is terrified of failing the assessment, fearing the consequences from his father. Chung Qianmo remembers the game's mechanics, specifically that talent awakening requires touching an awakening stone in the novice realm. Li Hong begs for his help to pass the test, hoping Chung Qianmo's reputation as a top student can secure his future. Chung Qianmo decides to enter the secret realm to test if his gaming knowledge holds true in reality, assuring Li Hong he will find a solution. After a cheering Li Hong sees him off, Chung Qianmo enters the training auditorium to begin his search for answers. He reaches the portal entrance, debating whether to prioritize energy conservation or efficient combat as he approaches the unknown. He steps into the light, curious to see how the fused reality of his old game manifests in this new world. He steps through the portal and asks, "Isn't this the Genesis newbie village?" It's a perfect replica. A mysterious notification hums in his vision, the system synchronization hitting 100% as the transformation system flares to life. The interface reveals a singular, exhilarating capability: the power to synthesize two active skills into a single, potent passive ability. Where once he was shackled by the rigid cooldowns that stalled his climb toward godhood, he now sees a path to shatter those old limitations. He pulls up the details for his wave/skill, weighing the risk before committing to the radical transformation. Success ripples through his veins as the ability shifts, turning the active strike into a passive trigger that grants bonus damage and a heartbeat of invincibility with every attack. A level 3 Minotaur lands, forcing him to face this trial for his new powers. He lunges into the fray, his movements sharp and calculated as he tests his limits against the beast's raw, unbridled strength. The monster is resilient, forcing him to dodge strikes while a second creature joins the fight. Dread pricks at his skin as he realizes his low level leaves him vulnerable, but a perfectly timed block triggers his passive, bathing him in a fleeting golden invincibility. Capitalizing on the opening, he unleashes an empowered wave slash that severs the beast's head, proving the absolute efficacy of his synthesis. The creature collapses into the dirt, leaving him standing victorious beneath the harsh, open sky. This system is the key to his past failures, and he swears to reach the godhood that once slipped through his fingers. He remains in the wild, his blade a blur as he ruthlessly hunts down every threat to hone his combat instincts. Hours of relentless training leave him battle-hardened and confident, his focus shifting toward the morning assessment and his promise to secure Li Hong's future. While scouring the wilderness, he secures the weapon switch skill, watching as the system instantly converts it into a passive that permanently slashes his equipment swap cooldown by 30%. With his combat fluidity perfected, he feels as though he possesses a cheat code, confirming his total combat power has surged to 500 across his newly acquired titles. Brimming with the certainty that no foe can stand in his way, he returns from the wilds and activates the portal to the assessment grounds. At the stadium entrance, Li Hong excitedly reveals a backpack stuffed with supplies, boasting that he tapped into his father's fortune to secure a map of the assessment realm. Chung Chenmo quickly silences him to keep their advantage secret, recognizing the map details as the Flame Fissure, a novice tier zone with manageable threats. Suddenly, the wealthy elite student Mao Feng intervenes, mocking Li Hong's lackluster strength and sneering that he should quit before he brings further shame to his family name. Incensed by the humiliation, Li Hong bristles with rage, swearing to settle the score with his rival regardless of the potential consequences. As Mao Feng continues his verbal assault, Chung Kenmo steps forward, effortlessly intercepting an aggressive shove and throwing his rival off balance. When the arrogant student lunges in a blind fury, Chung Kelmo stops the blow with a single hand, leaving the surrounding crowd stunned by his hidden power. He coolly proposes a high-stakes wager. If Li Hong outperforms him, Mao Feng must run naked through the stadium while shouting his own father's name. Gasps ripple through the stunned students while a panicked Li Hong stares at his friend, wondering how he could possibly outclass the top student. Ignoring the surrounding murmurs, he grips Li Hong's shoulder to drill their strategy into his friend, ensuring they remain locked onto the objective. The crowd erupts into a roar of agreement as he publicly seals the wager, forcing Mao Feng to gamble his reputation on the upcoming performance. Zhang Lei, the grade director, steps forward to cut through the noise, officially declaring the assessment open and signaling the students toward the teleportation array. Li Hong grins and says, "Bromo, just wait and see my performance," before they enter the portal. Materializing within the scorching depths of the Flame Fissure, he immediately scans the volcanic terrain, mentally mapping the path through the orcs and demons toward the final boss, Zalan. The heat presses against him as he identifies a pack of green-skinned flame blade devotees advancing through the jagged rocks. A creature drops from the crags above, but he is already in motion. Abandoning his defensive stance to initiate a lethal counterstrike, he finds himself instantly swarmed by 4 menacing orcs, necessitating a rapid shift in his combat rhythm to manage the sudden numerical disadvantage. Recognizing these monsters possess greater durability than the training ground variants, he draws his novice sword to engage all 5 assailants at once. The system surges, converting his vast buried operational experience into raw, instinctive muscle memory that fundamentally recalibrates his body. As the orcs charge, he pivots to narrowly avoid the bubbling lava, retaliating with a precise strike that detonates in a violent, fiery explosion. He glares at the foes and attacks, keeping the creatures on the defensive. He marvels at the fluid efficiency of his transformation, wielding his own muscles with the same surgical precision he once reserved for his virtual keyboard. Waving his blade in a taunting invitation, he goads the gathering pack to charge simultaneously, bracing for the next wave of carnage. He executes an acrobatic flip to evade a heavy overhead swing, angling his body to lure the orcs into a perfect line for a single decisive execution. Recognizing the perfect window to strike, he knocks back the surrounding attackers and initiates a slide tackle to maintain his momentum. He readies his blade to unleash a wave slash, sending the group of enemies flying across the jagged terrain. A smirk touches his lips as his passive triggers, allowing him to bypass the usual recovery time and press the assault. When several warriors leap into the air, he dashes forward to intercept them mid-flight. The Flameblade devotees fall rapidly, granting him a 50% experience bonus that pushes him to level 3. Leaping across a lava-filled chasm, he reflects that this reality feels far more visceral than the game that defined his past life. Back at the stadium, his name surges to the top of the leaderboard, drawing gasps from the stunned crowd. Students and teachers whisper in disbelief at the sudden rise of this hidden genius, while an unseen observer watches with growing intrigue. Ignoring the spectacle, he continues his path, dashing through a narrow, rocky canyon in search of his next target. he spots a cluster of Shadow Mage apprentices and immediately recalls a specific pathing bug from the game Genesis. Rather than engaging in a tedious one-by-one fight, he plans to exploit this glitch to farm experience with maximum efficiency. Equipped with a grappling hook and throwing stars, he slips into a tactical position to observe the mages. He launches a projectile, striking a mage and successfully drawing the group into combat. As the Shadow Mages respond with a barrage of shadow arrows, he tracks the incoming magical energy closely. He ducks behind a rock formation, knowing their magic cannot track him once he leaves their field of vision. With the mages locked into their casting animations, he prepares to strike and dismantle the group. Timing his strike to perfection, he dispatches the shadow monsters and exhales, finally mastering the strategy to shatter his former limitations. He exploits a known logic bug, forcing the mages into a loop where they prioritize summoning hounds over casting spells whenever their line of sight is obstructed. He realizes he can exploit the mages' summoning to farm hounds for experience. Content with the setup, he reclines to rest, while the creature count continues to swell in the shadows. 8 hours later, the arena crowd tracks the leaderboard, where Luol Jing and Sun Ke have surged to the top positions. Jing Jing becomes the first to hit level 10 as a firearm master, drawing thunderous shouts of admiration from the observers. Ke follows closely as a high-ranking swordsman, fueling complaints that the elite rocket classes monopolize the top 10 spots. Scanning the board for Chanmo, an official finds him languishing at rank 659 time. Mockery ripples through the students, who dismiss him as a lucky amateur, finally falling to the bottom. Convinced a true genius could never remain invisible, the official grows anxious, noting that with only 4 hours remaining, the gap is too wide for him to reach the level required to challenge Zealand. Suddenly, the crowd erupts in confusion as his rank begins to climb at an impossible speed, leaving the stadium in a state of bewilderment. He wakes up, stretches, and cries, "WTF, isn't this a little too many hounds?" At the swarm of 400. He equips a Gatling gun and launches a manic assault, tearing through the mages and their hounds in a single fiery explosion of experience. With the hounds reduced to experience points, his level climbs rapidly, proving that mass elimination is far more efficient than hunting solo. During the slaughter, his ripple/passive reaches level 2, granting a 35% chance to release Sword Chi and 3 seconds of invincibility, while his weapon switching cooldown drops by 40%, leaving him to wonder if he will eventually reach a guaranteed trigger rate. Back at the stadium, a sudden leaderboard update sends the crowd into a frenzy as he surges from last place to first, hitting level 13 and securing a spot among the national top 3. Zhao Erlong proudly claims him as his own, only to face the fury of the director, who screams for failing to report such a generational talent. Unaware of the commotion, he reaches the threshold to choose a profession and deliberately selects the vagrant class, knowing his unique system can bypass the limitations that make others view it as a dead end. The selection is barely confirmed before the system binds him to the hidden Spellbinder class, because he had left his stat points unspent, enveloping him in a brilliant blue aura. When the public leaderboard reflects this change, chaos erupts among the administrators who decry his choice as a career-ending blunder, causing a panicked Zhou Erlong to scramble as he realizes his previous assumption about a berserker path was wrong. Despite the surrounding outrage and the heated debates over the merits of the vagrant's versatility, he remains focused on the task ahead, already hungry to master every weapon and skill now at his disposal. Observers argue that the vagrant path offers no late-game viability, dismissing his prospects in the high-level forest as a fool's errand. Ignoring the distant mockery, Zheng catches his breath after a skirmish, entirely unbothered by those who view his profession as a wasted gift. He remains convinced that the class is ideal, knowing his passive exchange system and the tactical depth of his past life will easily negate any inherent damage limitations. After noticing a nearby student blushing, he checks his status window, confirming his attributes have climbed to level 13 with 70 points in intelligence and agility. The Spellbinder class provides significant stat bonuses but restricts him from learning standard academy skills, compelling him to hunt dungeon bosses to secure his growth. Deep within a sweltering cavern, 2 orcs stand watch by a lava pool until a sudden, blurred movement catches them completely off guard. Shang strikes with his blade, feeling his physical prowess surge as his improved stats sharpen his movement and drastically increase his critical hit rate. After felling the guards, he discovers the Book of Demons and decides to pause his pursuit of the main boss to prioritize this unexpected hidden mission. As the exam ends, the students find the final challenge, an armored orc guarding the boss chamber. To officially pass the assessment, Zheng must defeat the demon lord Zalan and reach the Awakening Stone hidden directly behind the beast. He strides onto the burning floor and lunges towards Zalan with blistering speed, desperate to secure the final victory that will trigger his awakening. The demon immediately activates Sacrifice to curse him, and he realizes that if the hex lands, the resulting drop in his stats will spell certain failure. Relying on his agility to end the fight before the curse takes full effect, he is instead struck by a powerful blast that leaves him writhing in pain. The curse hits, and he curses, "Crap! My base stats have been lowered, I can't dodge it." The crowd watches, asking, "Isn't this guy in the top 50? How did he fail?" As students are repelled, watching the other top students struggle against the boss, Cheng realizes the Education Commission has recycled an infamously difficult trial that was never meant for lone survivors. As the earth shakes, he decides the hidden mission was a necessary gamble to prepare for Zalan. Memories of his past life surface, reminding him that the game once concluded immediately upon the boss's defeat, leaving him to wonder if his predecessors were silenced by that same cruel finality. The demon screams that all lives in the lower realm are forfeit and lunges, forcing Cheng to acknowledge that these thick-skinned beasts possess a speed that defies their size. He pivots, outmaneuvering the charging monsters with superior agility before slamming into the fray to meet them head-on. A heavy blow strikes home against an armored foe, his momentum carrying him through the gap in its defense with lethal precision. He knows Zalan is vulnerable only while channeling its sacrifice spell, but he must first clear the protective beasts surrounding the creature. With time running out, he activates his dark aura and fires his weapon to pelt the demon with projectiles. Each hit lands true, confirming that his marksmanship remains as sharp as it was in his former life. Without warning, an unseen force slams him into the volcanic floor, and the demon enters a frenzied state that turns the battlefield into a blur of violence. He immediately triggers his weapon-switching passive, shifting his grip to avoid exposing his flanks during the exchange of steel. Taunting the beast, he notes that while a standard sweep might only cause a stumble, his next strike is aimed to shatter its fragile leg bones. Recognizing that the true danger lies in the monster's tactical synergy, he looms over the downed creature, sparks flying as he drags his spear tip across the stone. The demon attempts to mock his fragile mortality, but he silences the creature with a single, decisive strike of his blade. Back at the stadium, a portal flares as Lu Jing emerges, confidently declaring her victory to a gracefully defeated Sun Ke. Their celebration dies in their throats when they glance at the leaderboard, realizing that Li Hong, a student who started at the bottom, has somehow surpassed them all. While the crowd fixates on the shifting rankings, peers jeer at Cheng's low level, whispering that he must have cheated to reach such heights, dismissing him as trash regardless of the outcome. Inside the dean's office, the atmosphere turns frigid as the commissioner demands the truth, pressing a cowering Li to explain how he supposedly navigated the boss encounter without the requisite knowledge. He warns Li of immediate expulsion, further threatening that any accomplice who facilitated the suspected deception will face severe repercussions. Suddenly, a student drops to his knees to plead for mercy, taking full responsibility for pestering Cheng to help him. Desperate to shield his friend from any fallout, he reveals the existence of a secret route that bypasses all monster encounters, explaining that a challenger can reach the Awakening Stone if they possess sufficient speed. Shocked by the revelation of a student who shattered records by hitting level 13, the commissioner turns to Zhang, who confirms the feat by playing the full examination recording. Watching the footage, the commissioner is struck silent as he witnesses the raw, seemingly limitless potential of the young man on screen. Back at the stadium, spectators grow increasingly anxious as the deadline looms, dismissing the high level recorded on the board as irrelevant since Cheng has yet to emerge. Within the realm, Cheng stands before the cosmic sphere, but deliberately delays the awakening, choosing to prioritize a hidden mission first. He gathers the 6 required components, including the hound's skull, and kneels to arrange them atop the magical book, initiating the hidden event. A violent discharge of purple energy rocks the chamber, as a booming voice demands to know who dares disturb its slumber, though Chun only smiles, recognizing the entity as the hidden boss, Taman. The level 12 elite demon instantly identifies him and lunges with a lethal strike, forcing Cheng to acknowledge that his magical preparation was the only reason he survived the initial impact. He leaps away from the explosion and plants his feet to face the vortex. Aware that Taman possesses far greater strength than Zalin's team, Cheng notes the demon's sluggish agility as a fatal flaw, mocking the creature's clumsy movements while he dictates the pace of the battle. He lands with enough force to shatter the ground, unleashing a surge of energy against the demonic Taman. Watching the creature strike the barrier, he smirks while preparing to exploit its lack of agility. He utilizes Sand Throw, a grappling skill, to strike the creature's face and force it into a blinded state. Since this limits the enemy's field of vision for 3 seconds, he uses the opening to restrict the boss's clunky movements. As Tommen breaks free from the control, he deploys a self-detonating robot to counter the hidden boss. He slides to dodge the incoming blow, then hits the monster with an uppercut that leaves it reeling in dizziness. Seizing the moment, he grabs Tommen by the horn and uses a dagger to execute a precise backstab. He lands a front kick and triggers his robot, causing an explosion to rock the cavern. As the injured demon screams, he strikes again, determined to prevent the creature from rising to its feet. Driving his blade home, he asserts that constant restriction makes even a strong boss harmless before preparing to depart. Outside the realm, students panic at the leaderboard, accusing him of cheating because he leads despite not yet awakening. Spectators argue over whether he is hiding in fear, though Commissioner Liu remains confident that he will emerge before time expires. With 1 minute remaining, he clears the realm, receiving a 50% reward bonus and double experience for his perfect strategy, reaching level 14. He reflects on the mission's success, wondering if the Awakening Stone will affect him now that he has changed his class. A mysterious force manifests a cosmic portal before him, ready to reveal the final results of his awakening. As ancient symbols glow, he unleashes his power, ready to face the truth of his path to becoming a sword god. Victory brings a bounty of loot, including a critical hit manual and expanded transformation slots that allow him to synthesize 2 additional active abilities into permanent passives. Selecting the Gatling gun for conversion grants a guaranteed hit rate, a crucial advantage that lets him bypass attribute suppression and whittle down high-level bosses through sheer attrition. Next, he integrates the wide sweep skill, finding its low-cost, broad knockdown effect perfectly suited to the Vagrant's need for efficient crowd control. With his combat power surging toward 10,000, he gathers his focus to exit the realm, bracing himself for the harsh realities awaiting him on the mainland of Apocalypse. A flash of light tears through the air as the realm collapses and Cheng Qianmo emerges to end the examination. Stunned silence grips the crowd until his rivals erupt in protest, their voices overlapping in frantic demands for his expulsion based on accusations of cheating. Commissioner Liu steps forward, his mere presence radiating an authority that instantly suffocates the chaotic murmurs of the agitated students. Hailing him as a rare, heavenly genius, the commissioner confirms the results and formally declares him the undisputed first-place finisher. As fresh demands for proof ripple through the stands, Liu silences the dissenters by revealing that he achieved the top rank by single-handedly defeating the realm's hidden boss. The revelation of a hidden boss leaves the crowd reeling, though Xue Qin, the rocket-class instructor, watches from the balcony with narrowed eyes, convinced the claim is a desperate fabrication. Descending to confront him, she demands he disclose his method for triggering the secret encounter, only to be met with a cold, blunt refusal, as he asks why he owes her any explanation at all. Horror washes over the onlookers. They know that by publicly defying the ruthless instructor, he has effectively painted a target on his own back for the dangerous days ahead. His defiance draws the ire of a bespectacled student, who brandishes a golden sword and demands satisfaction for the disrespect shown toward Xue Qin. The student calls upon Sun Ke to humble him, but Cheng Qianmo scoffs, questioning if any of them are truly worthy of a challenge when they remain shackled by conventional limits. As the surrounding crowd bellows for Sun Ke to crush the cheating dog, Cheng Qianmo calmly gathers his internal energy in preparation for the inevitable strike. A young woman steps up to support Sun Ke, and when Cheng Qianmo asks for her identity, she bristles with indignation at his failure to recognize the school's most celebrated beauty. The bespectacled agitator screams for an arena duel, threatening that a refusal will lead to social exile, leaving Cheng Qianmo to weigh the heavy cost of his reputation. Despite the onlookers' vocal doubts regarding his chances, he coolly informs the duo that if they are so desperate to meet their end, he will gladly oblige. Commissioner Liu decides to put the claims to the test, slamming his hand against the ground to manifest a massive fortified arena block for the confrontation. As the commissioner signals the start, Cheng Qianmo notices mysterious constellations observing him to his system interface and urges his opponents to stop wasting his time. The battle erupts instantly, with the enraged student lunging forward, his blade coated in a surge of crackling purple magical energy. Sun Ke immediately triggers his rank A talent, Displacement, which boosts his movement speed by half and leaves the spectators gasping as he turns into a blurred streak of motion. Caught off guard by the sheer velocity of the assault, Cheng Qianmo narrowly sidesteps the blow, only to be mocked by Sun Ke for his supposed reliance on empty talk. A smirk plays on Cheng Qianmo's lips as he effortlessly weaves through a heavy broadsword sweep, leaving the bewildered crowd to watch as Sun Ke dismisses the feat as nothing more than blind luck. Sun Ke shouts that he cannot dodge the combo, but Cheng Qianmo interrupts him with a wide sweep. Electricity crackles around Cheng Qianmo as he activates charge, surging forward to punish the bespectacled rival. When Sun Qi attempts a desperate uppercut, Cheng Qianmo counters with a surprise aerial maneuver, utilizing his own speed to leave the attacker grasping at shadows. A final plunging strike follows, driving home a swift, decisive blow that ends the challenge in an instant. The crowd cheers for Sun Qi until Cheng Qianmo lands a strike directly to his face. A flash of lightning-infused energy leaves the onlookers reeling, confirming the victory as Cheng Qianmo triggers his passive skill to solidify the outcome. He weaves through a counterstrike and activates Ripple Slash to defeat his opponent. He glances down at the defeated senior, remarking with a smirk that his near 100 points of agility make his opponent's movements look like they are happening in slow motion. Sun Qi collapses in realization of his own inferiority, causing the surrounding crowd to instantly pivot from jeering hostility to sycophantic praise. Observing from the sidelines, an elderly master watches in awe, theorizing that such flawless timing and reaction speed mark the boy as a potential fifth-tier god who must be kept within the city. The administration quickly steps in to restore order, awarding the victor 1 million Blue Star currency and the prestigious title of Heaven's Pride Student. Cheng Qianmo eyes the award, wondering if the title carries any real cash value, while those around him stare in sheer, baffled disbelief. Whispers ripple through the stadium as the spectators realize this title serves as a guarantee that he will reach at least a fourth-tier professional rank. Sensing a shift in power, Shuichen attempts to salvage her reputation by offering private tutoring to recruit him into the rocket class. He brushes off her offer with a cold stare, arrogantly declaring that not a single teacher in this school possesses the qualifications to instruct him. Zhu Qin fumes at the perceived insult, her face twisting in rage as she questions how a lowly vagrant dares to dismiss her credentials. He merely sighs, explaining that because a vagrant's primary skills are rendered obsolete upon a class change, her curriculum is fundamentally useless to him. Observing the tension, the old master interjects, noting that their collective ignorance regarding vagrant combat combos renders the entire faculty unfit to guide him. Cheng Qianmo realizes the truth. There is no master here capable of teaching him. His path must be forged in solitude. While the elder offers a grim warning about the grueling road ahead, the youth remains unfazed, his confidence anchored entirely in the potential of his passive transformation system. The instructor ultimately relents, granting him unprecedented authorization for self-study to prepare for the unified examination, a national sifting ground for the realm's elite. The onlookers stare in stunned silence, unable to process such a rare privilege. Dismissing the gravity of the moment, he offers a polite nod of thanks before immediately asking when his million-credit prize will be deposited, a grin tugging at his lips. News of his meteoric rise spreads like wildfire, drawing reporters to the college gates in a desperate search for the level 14 prodigy. But they find only an empty campus and the silence of his departure. Arriving at the Apocalypse Management Association, he presents his credentials and the staff quickly verifies his status as a level 14 vagrant. Deep in thought, he recalls the dark history of the void-born monsters that once descended to butcher humanity before their sudden, unexplained retreat. He remembers how survivors breached the monster realm, turning the mainland of Apocalypse into a battlefield where only the strongest endure. With these memories as his guide, he resolves to hit level 20 with ruthless efficiency, relying on his absolute strength to crush the upcoming national trials. Upon stepping into the shattered archipelago, he finds the environment an exact replica of his past life, and he immediately begins recruiting a team, knowing his foresight will guarantee him the most lucrative hidden missions. Inside a decaying village, he unearths a weathered document that triggers a specialized quest to lure and slay a mysterious, shadow-wreathed creature from the depths. He understands that completing this objective will yield an experience windfall and a rare novice weapon. Moving to the disastrous beach, he unleashes a molten fireball at a mutant sea turtle, but the combat is abruptly shattered by a violent, incoming explosion. Ding Hong, Zhao Yanzhi, and Sun Weijun emerge from the smoke, cutting down the monsters while callously injuring the bystanders, then sneer at him to vacate the beach, claiming the entire territory as their personal property. A man wearing a headband steps forward to challenge the interlopers from Malin College, insisting that the beach remains a public space rather than their private hunting ground. Ding Hong flashes a menacing grin, his finger igniting with a flickering flame as he threatens that everyone else will be left unable to secure a single monster kill. Frustrated by the constant monopolization of the best hunting spots, the surrounding groups retreat, lamenting that these bullies have already caused them to fall 3 levels behind. Watching from the periphery, Cheng Qianmo readies his blade, though the Moling students merely scoff at the level 14 vagrant, dismissing him as nothing more than trash. Intent on teaching him a lesson, they command their team to unleash a coordinated snowstorm, aiming to steal his kills and deny him the experience he seeks. Zhang Qianmo pays their posturing no mind, having already tagged the mutant sea turtles with enough initial damage to claim the loot rights for himself. Oblivious to the fact that death in this realm results in permanent level loss, the rivals continue to mock his perceived weakness. Their arrogance shatters when their combined snowstorm fails to phase him, as they had been certain the assault would instantly eliminate any player of his rank. Seizing the opening, he lunges forward to systematically eliminate the entire horde of sea turtles while the stunned group watches in disbelief. As the system pings with loot notifications, he turns to the trio and mocks them for their incompetence, noting how their interference only served to secure his gains. Enraged by the humiliation, one of the students vows to make him regret this defiance for the rest of his life. Nearby spectators begin to jeer at the failed scheme, prompting the Moling students to warn each other that his damage output is far more dangerous than it appears. He blocks their path and demands they surrender every item farmed today or face a total reset. Defiant to the end, the lead student refuses to yield, declaring he would rather fight to the death than hand over his hard-earned loot. He unleashes a powerful exploding fireball, sneering at Zhang Qianmo for standing his ground and accusing him of lacking any genuine combat experience. Instead of flinching, he unleashes a torrent of his own, fluidly switching to boxing gloves to dive into the fray with a searing, blade-like strike. The explosive punch lands squarely, sending his opponent spiraling into the dirt and shattering their arrogance. Raw power remains the only truth on his path toward godhood. He dodges the follow-up and pivots into a flying kick that leaves his opponent breathless. He dashes forward, ignoring the student's cries of revenge and the companion's shout of, "You idiot." The defeated student hands over a blue pouch begging for mercy as an apology for his aggression. Pocketing the 120 taels, he dismisses the trio with a wave, leaving the surrounding onlookers stunned that a lone vagrant just dismantled the elite of Moling University. He rejects the request to form a team and focuses on his mission, noting that only individual strength matters in this world. He reviews the requirements for the disappearing Dark Shadow quest, calculating that he must grind through the night to harvest the remaining 239 sea turtle tails. By dawn, he finally secures the 400th tail, successfully triggering the completion of the energy-intensive hidden mission and watching his level climb once more. He commits his 6 new stat points to reach 100 agility, a milestone that pushes his total combat power to a staggering 10,255. A confident smile touches his lips as he recognizes this power is unprecedented for a first year, leaving him ready to claim his novice weapon and press onward. Meanwhile, the Moling class monitor seethes with resentment, plotting to permanently disable him and refusing to underestimate the vagrant's erratic, high-speed movement. He confirms his subordinates have successfully tracked the target and are currently recruiting the top 31st-year students to corner him in the wild. Their sights are set on Gu Yunfei, the provincial champion who hit level 21 in under a year thanks to his rare S-rank talent. Even though rumors paint Yunfei as far too conceited to perform favors, the monitor insists every man has a price, preparing a heady payment to secure his cooperation. The conversation stops as an explosion rocks the area, and an observer cheers, "No wonder you are the number one." Yunfei steps into the deserted sector, his gaze cold as he demands to know why the scion of the wealthy Ding family has gone to such lengths to propose a hit. Gu Yunfei dismisses the request, rejecting the offer of resources for his second-class change despite the student's desperate pleading. The young master persists, begging for intervention against a bully and insisting that the level 14 vagrant possesses an impossibly high strength. Intrigued by the description of this formidable opponent, Gu Yunfei tracks down Zhang Qianmo and declares his intent to make him pay for his arrogance. Ignoring the surrounding tension, Zhang Qianmo enters Zhou Hei's shop, using the spoils from his defeated rivals to fund the gear needed for his next hidden quest. Zhou Hei initially treats him like an ignorant novice, but his skepticism vanishes when Zhang Qianmo bypasses the junk to select an exquisite black bamboo rod. Impressed by the boy's sharp eye, the shopkeeper offers a rare discount, hoping to secure a favorable connection with such an unusual customer. With the rod in hand, Zhang Qianmo readies himself to hunt a rare boss, needing its specific drop to grant him the underwater breathing required to finish his shadow mission. Spectators gasp as he jumps into the lethal sea, knowing the predators and pressure make it a death trap. 2 men in the shadows resolve to follow him into the depths, motivated by the bounty promised by Zhao Yanzhi. Stepping onto a secluded island in the shattered archipelago, he accepts the inevitable confrontation that awaits him. 2 cloaked trackers trail him from a distance, desperate to claim the bounty promised by Yanir. Finding a hidden ritual site, He stomps the earth to wake its dormant energy, channeling his own power in anticipation of the struggle. He readies his novice staff, but the ground erupts as a level 18 sticky radioactive dust, a rare elite elemental he knows all too well, surges forward. The creature lets out a deafening roar, launching a glob of corrosive mud that detonates in a violent blast. Recognizing that the muck inflicts a stacking 30% movement penalty and drains 50 points of damage, he dances around the impact zones to preserve his offensive momentum. He swaps to his longsword to trigger Ripple Slash, weaving through the elemental's defenses with a relentless flurry of steel. When the boss exhales a toxic radioactive cloud that leeches away his vitality, he shifts his tactical approach to mitigate the continuous health loss. Capitalizing on the entity's sluggish movement, he brings out his Gatling gun, shredding the creature until it is buried under a landslide of falling rocks. Victory secured, he claims the Watervine staff, noting that its power to grant unlimited underwater respiration aligns perfectly with the mechanics of his past life. With his gear ready, he sets out to hunt the disappearing Dark Shadow, the strongest boss in the village. Sensing the trackers still lurking nearby, he calls out a taunt, commanding them to stay put while he handles his business. Plunging into the depths, he activates the staff's enchantment to breathe beneath the waves as he vanishes into the dark abyss. Beneath the waves, two masked trackers linger in the dark, one grumbling that 4 hours of waiting for a target who should have surfaced is testing his patience. His partner suggests checking the seabed for a corpse to claim their bounty, yet their irritation mounts as the boy remains nowhere to be found. When a subordinate reports the target escaped, the leader panics. "Who did we provoke? The deal's off." Far from their reach, Cheng Qianmo reaches the Shattered Archipelago and readies his line at the disappearing Dark Shadow spawn point to advance his hidden objective. He halts, startled to find a bearded stranger already occupying the prime spot. A quick appraisal reveals a void where the man's status should be, signaling a level gap so vast it defies his system. The stranger gestures for him to sit, offering a cryptic warning that he could easily end him, yet he ultimately invites the boy to share the fishing ground. Remaining wary, Cheng Qianmo decides to wait for the interloper to depart so he can finish his mission, quietly casting his own line into the depths. The veteran watches his calm demeanor, oblivious to the fact that the boy is already locked in, hauling up an 8-pound grass carp with practiced ease. Cheng Qianmo boasts of his past fishing skills, stunning the man as he reels in a catch while the master fisherman remains empty-handed. The man praises his technique but suddenly attacks, shouting, "Let's test him out!" Cheng Qianmo parries the assault with a sharp retort, questioning why he should abandon the vagrant path just to satisfy someone else's definition of potential. Recognizing a rare, untamable spirit, the man offers to take him on as a disciple, but the boy politely refuses, insisting that his path is his to walk alone. Before departing, the stranger hands him a ring to summon the Management Association if he ever requires aid, a gesture that leaves Cheng Qianmo annoyed by the archaic, non-digital method. Unaware of the encounter, a lethal coalition of Mulling students, led by Ding Hong and Gu Yunfei, converges on the Management Association with the singular intent to hunt him down. Ding Hong orchestrates a plan to use a squad of adventurers as bait to lure and test the vagrants' true capabilities, leading them all into the Apocalypse mainland. Xiaozhang updates Chief Wu on these movements, prompting a leader to order his subordinate to tail the group, fearing the Ding family's recklessness will ignite a disaster. This escalating interference weighs heavily on the officials, who recognize that the unchecked aggression from the Ding clan threatens to spiral into a major incident. Deep in the dark waters, Cheng Qianmo remains focused on his fishing, wondering if his identity as a lone wolf is enough as he uses 400 tails to finally summon his target, only to be surrounded by 5 men. He mocks the group for needing such pathetic backup, but they threaten to hunt him relentlessly until he is reset to level 1 for the sin of offending Mulling University. A system alert signals a catch, and he hauls a monster from the depths, shocking the men as it emerges. It is Prince Naziak, a level 22 elite chieftain boasting 6,000 health, a hidden boss finally brought to the surface by his precise fishing technique. However, the ledger confirms Prince Naziak is dead, so the creature is instead a different boss. While the adventurers debate the loot's value, he warns them they must survive to claim any reward. Prince Naziak lunges, unleashing an energy blast that forces the fighters to scatter. Gu Yunfei seizes the moment to deploy his Ice Seal technique, successfully encasing the boss in frost to create a window for his allies to strike. Sensing his chance, Ding Hong vows to finish Cheng Qianmo while the boss is frozen, leaving the protagonist to calculate his odds against a gauntlet of 3 swordsmen and 3 mages. He executes a wide sweep to create space before fluidly switching weapons to unleash a shuriken volley that successfully interrupts the mage's casting animations. Quickly following up with a full moon slash, he leaves the observers breathless as his seamless weapon-swapping speed defies everything they know about combat. Tensions peak as the boss, fueled by a visceral hatred for humanity, enters a berserk phase the moment its health pool dips. The creature triggers a trap that lashes out at the environment, dragging the entire group into the deep water where it holds the ultimate home field advantage. Pulled into the depths, the fighters struggle against the level 22 hidden boss entering its second phase. Prince Nasjak triggers a berserk phase, gaining 30 seconds of invulnerability and unleashing a catastrophic wave that forces everyone underwater. While the boss remains in this impenetrable state, Chung keeps his cool, whereas the others panic over their rapidly dwindling oxygen. The group decides to abandon the boss to target Cheng, hoping the environment will finish him off, though Gu Yunfei insists on ending him personally. Their leader offers double rewards to anyone who secures the kill, shifting their entire focus away from the monster. Cheng launches a fierce aerial assault, mocking his pursuers for daring to attack him on his own turf. He fights to bypass the group before the boss's invulnerability expires, forcing his way through the chaos of the deep sea. The protection fades, but the danger shifts, as the attackers realize the true terror of the deep is not the vagrant. Caught in a whirlpool, they realize they cannot survive the depths as one begs for his life. Chung attempts to strike, but finds his fire-based skills severely weakened by the surrounding water. Fearing for their lives, the group attempts to flee, but the prince mocks their desperate scramble to run. The boss unleashes freezing currents, trapping the men in ice as their oxygen supplies hit a fatal countdown. Trapped in crystal, the attackers scream in despair as Cheng emerges, alive and unharmed. With his rivals neutralized, he stands alone against the monster to finish the fight. Prince Nasjak launches a freezing blast, but Cheng activates his telekinetic shield to endure the final assault. He unleashes a surge of energy, equipping his voyage boots to gain a haste effect that allows him to close the distance underwater. These boots elevate his attributes to match a level 17 character. And once he switches to his sword, his spellbinder traits grant him the effective power of a level 25. He strikes the creature with immense force, but the monster lunges back, screaming a vow to end his life. Quickly switching to his Gatling gun, he triggers a series of critical hits that leave the boss clinging to life with only 101 health remaining. As the beast roars in a desperate attempt to retaliate, he taunts the creature, questioning if it can even survive long enough to reach him. He lands a final, circling shuriken strike, successfully completing the mission and pushing his level to 17. Inside the spoils, he discovers a treasure chest containing the epic-grade Tidal Charm, an accessory that grants the powerful Soul Shock skill. Because this skill ignores level restrictions, he realizes he can now challenge enemies 10 levels higher, making him effectively untouchable by his peers. Meanwhile, the Zhongcheng Education Bureau erupts into a heated debate over his recommendation spot. Citing the controversy of his path as a vagrant, Wang Tianfeng slams his desk in protest, refusing to support such an unconventional choice, while others argue that the spot must go to a student with more traditional potential. A colleague confronts Tianfeng for using public interest to settle personal grudges against Commissioner Liu, but the argument is interrupted by a sudden, sharp snap of fingers. The official notes that the position was originally intended for Li Daoyu, a warlock with an S-rank talent, but the sudden emergence of this new prodigy has forced a total re-evaluation. The official proposes a formal duel for the spot, and he reviews his stats to accept. Before heading to the arena, he offloads his 734-pound haul of fish to a local merchant, walking away with 48 gold coins and a 30% price premium for his unmatched efficiency. A quick glance at a broadcast on his communicator reveals that an inter-school competition against Fenhua College will determine the recommendation spot he is currently fighting for, leaving him fuming at the lack of notice. He scans his device to find the notifications buried under a pile of spam he had blocked, detailing a grueling format consisting of a 5v5 team battle followed by a 20-person gauntlet. On stage, Zhongcheng's 5 level 10 students face opponents, including a level 12 knight. As spectators jeer at his absence, Fenghua's star, Li Daoyu, openly ridicules Zhongcheng, while Luo watches the entrance with mounting anxiety. The Zhongcheng squad huddles to refine their defense around their priest, oblivious to the fact that their ace is still miles away from the venue. With a sharp signal from the supervisor, the match commences and the Zhongcheng team surges forward in a desperate attempt to seize the early momentum. Luo immediately unleashes her A-rank firepower control to hammer the enemy ranks, successfully creating a gap for her grappler to target Daoyu. The Fenghua Knight swiftly pivots to intercept the charge, while their unseen assassin utilizes stealth to slit past the front line entirely. That assassin suddenly materializes behind Luo, catching the team off guard and highlighting a critical fatal flaw in their defensive formation. Dao Yu activates S-rank Berserk casting to slash his cooldowns by 30% and launches a lightning ball. A teammate frantically chants a shield incantation, throwing up a desperate barrier to intercept the lethal blast before it can reach Luo. Dao Yu sneers, warning that her lightning ball is a lock-on spell that guarantees a hit with no room for escape. The blast slams into the teammate, who lets out a raw cry of agony before his energy reserves bottom out and he collapses. Seeing Jing falter under the pressure, the opponent demands the team surrender to spare her, effectively forcing a concession. A blonde rival erupts into hysterical laughter, ridiculing Zhongcheng for losing their star and claiming the protagonist is too terrified to even appear. This defeat ends the team battle, and with the score now 4-18, the college faces total humiliation against Fenghua's deep reserve of 15 fighters. Teammates despair, convinced that Dao Yu's dominance has made victory impossible, though Old Lu refuses to concede, banking on a final slim hope. Frustration mounts for the official as Qianmo remains unreachable, leaving him to wonder why a student would abandon his school during such a dire crisis. Inside the arena, an opponent looms over a female warrior and kicks her to the ground. Suddenly, Qianmo strides into the fray to shield her, his presence alone igniting a surge of hope as he tells his team to leave the rest to him. His opponent mocks him as a pathetic vagrant destined for defeat, yet Qianmo stands firm, ready to shatter those predetermined outcomes. With a flick of his wrist, he unleashes a torrent of blue energy that instantly pulverizes the rival's defenses, dropping him to the floor in one decisive motion. Spectators watch in stunned silence as the level 17 vagrant stands unchallenged, having surged in power since the secret realm exam to defy every expectation. With the score at 5-19, the crowd begins to whisper, wondering if he can truly plow through the remaining 16 opponents to turn the tide. Old Lu watches with quiet satisfaction, revealing he never doubted Qianmo would arrive on time, even if this sudden boost in strength caught him off guard. As the arena erupts in chants of his name, a nervous assassin named Luoqi steps forward, tentatively asking for pointers while facing the unstoppable boy. Joel Lucci laments that he must face the monster alone, pinning his hopes on secret tactics. Told to hurry up by his opponent, he activates his stealth skill and vanishes into the air, praying to escape the immediate pressure. Zhang Qianmo counters instantly with eagle step, closing the distance in a blur to send the hidden assassin hurtling through the air. Observing this, the crowd realizes that area of effect attacks are the only way to expose such hidden enemies, while the defeated fighter resolves to study under him. From the stands, a man notes that the school supports this display of dominance, as Zhang Qianmo's overwhelming power serves to boost the morale of all students. As the minutes tick by, another observer contemplates the power of the Black Sun, watching the duel between Zhongcheng and Fenghua reach a tense 19-19 stalemate. A panicked student interrupts his senior, breathlessly reporting that Zhang Qianmo has arrived and already matched the record of 8 consecutive wins. Stunned by the news, the senior struggles to process the miracle, realizing that the protagonist stands only one victory away from an impossible 15-man comeback. Li Jiamu, the final fighter, feels a sense of defeat before his duel begins. Zhang Qianmo mocks him for his low level and challenges him to fight, though an official intervenes to remind them that re-entry is technically prohibited. Undeterred, he dares Li Dayu to join the fray as well, sensing that foul play tainted the earlier matches. Students shout warnings about Li Daoyu's casting speed talent, while the warlock himself sneers, threatening the protagonist with a gruesome end. Old Lu grants permission for the special request, prompting the official to announce that both Li Jiamu and Li Dayu will face Zhang Qianmo together. Li Daoyu barks orders for his partner to rush the target, and with that command, the final match officially commences. Li Jiamu lunges with a rapid punch, but Zhang Qianmo reacts instantly, switching his weapon to boxing gloves to meet the assault head-on. He lands an uppercut followed by the rising dragon fist, finishing with a massive explosion. The force of the blow sends his opponent sprawling, a testament to the vagrant's hidden potential that leaves the crowd gasping as they point to Dao Yu's gathering lightning energy. Dao Yu prepares his signature lightning ball with a manic laugh, yet the protagonist immediately senses a flaw in the spell's rhythm, viewing the execution with a cold, analytical eye. By calculating the precise cooldowns, he detects a half-second discrepancy and raises his telekinetic shield, effortlessly shrugging off the blast as the truth becomes clear. He confronts his rival, declaring that Dao Yu must have illegally obtained a second-tier blessing from the secret realm and demands that he own up to the cheating. Dao Yu pales as his lightning fails, shouting, "What? Even when faced with my full force? Stop your nonsense! You're making baseless accusations!" Whispers ripple through the stands as students analyze the baptism buff, noting that Dao Yu's team lacks the collective strength required to clear the difficulty level needed to obtain it legally. The mounting tension boils over into a roar from the crowd, who now demand a formal investigation into Fenghua College for their blatant disregard for the rules. Old Liu admits that he would have overlooked the anomaly entirely if not for the warning, and he immediately initiates a cross-reference check with the Management Association's records. Wang Tianfeng scoffs loudly, insisting that the protagonist is merely deflecting blame to cover his own inadequacy, though the surrounding students are already marveling at his uncanny perception. Unbothered by the hostility, he explains that his intimate familiarity with every class mechanic makes spotting such discrepancies as simple as breathing. He shrugs off the tension and casually prepares for a nap, prompting Tianfeng to lose his composure and scream at him for being an insufferable, overconfident brat. Determined to humiliate him, Tianfeng challenges him to a technical test, demanding he recite the precise properties of the infighter skill, Will Driver. Tianfeng falls into a stunned, humiliated silence as the onlookers revel in his distress, finally recognizing the protagonist's absolute mastery of the game's hidden truths. Ignoring the insults, he challenges his audience to identify the secret warlock trait he just exposed, but the crowd reacts with hostility, calling his claims shameless since such specific knowledge should be impossible for a student outside that class. Unbothered, he breaks down how incantations split into 5 elemental properties, proving that the metal attribute fueled the lightning ball. The sheer depth of his mechanical insight leaves the entire stadium stunned into silence as he slams his opponent to the floor. The examiner finally calls an end to the farce, declaring Zhang Cheng the winner, and while the defeated student begs for mercy for his school, the Bureau of Education representative formally disqualifies Fenghua College for their cheating. Thunderous cheers erupt as he is hailed as the champion, officially securing the city's sole recommendation spot for a top-tier university. He turns to Commissioner Liu to discuss the available secret realms, but finding the top 10 institutions inadequate for his growth, he zeroes in on the obscure Shenyu University and questions why such a place plummeted from the rankings. Learning that Shenyu's decline stemmed from its lethally difficult dungeons, he realizes these punishing environments are exactly the crucible he needs to shatter his own limitations. He returns the prestigious recommendation spot, choosing Shenyu instead. Though the administration warns him against such a reckless path, they honor his decision and provide the requested rare materials, even if the exorbitant cost leaves them reeling. In the background, Chief Wu and his team analyze the data, shocked to discover that a level 17 student possesses a combat power exceeding 12,000, confirming he is a monster capable of soloing rare bosses. The organization identifies him as a potential national savior, though they remain baffled by a mysterious, anomalous combat power record appearing in his profile. Elsewhere, the pressure mounts as Chief Wu faces a mob of irate parents demanding justice, blaming his recent competition incident for their children's sudden loss of levels. Zhang Hongshan, the executive vice principal of Muling, storms into the office to demand Chung Kanmo's personal files, insisting the boy must answer for the recent fallout. Wu Zhonglei stands his ground, shielding the student by shifting the blame onto the Muling pupils who started the conflict, his sudden surge of power signaling his intent to protect the nation's rising hope. Ignoring the display, Hongshan claims he has already bypassed the local office to secure the records directly from headquarters, leaving Wu Zhonglei to realize he can no longer shield his protege from the impending storm. Unexpectedly, the head office issues a blunt rejection of the request, leaving the room in stunned silence as the crowd realizes Qing Qianmo is backed by a force they dare not challenge. Fearing they have crossed a line, Hongshan and the parents quickly pivot from aggression to groveling, desperate to retreat before they suffer the consequences of their interference. They offer sycophantic apologies and expensive gifts to Wu Zhonglei, hoping to mend the bridge and prevent their reckless behavior from reaching the higher authorities. Wu Zhonglei eventually accepts a high-level defensive artifact from the auction house, delivering it to Chang Qianmo with a reminder that his current growth already outpaces his peers on the path to godhood. Despite this success, Chung Kenmo discovers that even the college's entire storehouse can only provide a fraction of the rare materials he needs for his next breakthrough. Determined to bridge the gap, he presents an audacious plan to the director, swearing to forge a weapon that will redefine the current era regardless of the inherent danger. Principal Kang Yang stares at the commission's notice, confirming Fenghua's resource cuts and the mandatory expulsion of Li Dayu. The administration watches in despair as their foundation crumbles and their top students defect, knowing the disgrace has set the institution back by at least a decade. Their grim meeting is cut short by a messenger announcing that Cheng Chenmo is already at the gates, forcing the remaining staff to prepare for a confrontation with the source of their ruin. Instead of seeking vengeance, he walks through the gates, drawing whispers from students who stare at his reputation and presence with undisguised envy. Kang Yang intercepts him at the threshold, his voice tight with defensive anger as he demands to know why the boy has come to gloat over their misfortune. Qianmo dismisses the pettiness, clarifying, "I have arrived with the intention of starting a secret realm competition." Whispers ripple through the faculty as students clarify that a successful record-breaking run would grant an outsider legal ownership of the school's dungeon. The staff scoffs at his low level and commands him to leave, but he lingers, goading them with the question of whether they are truly too terrified to accept. Sensing an opportunity to reclaim some dignity, the principal agrees to a wager. If Kenmo breaks the record, he receives 5 rare materials from his requested list. When Kang Yang asks what the challenger will forfeit if he fails, Kenmo offers to accept any condition, securing the principal's greedy commitment. An escort leads him to the entrance where he discovers the strict terms. He must surpass the current record within only 3 attempts. Rousing the terminal, he notes that Fenghua currently holds the high scores for all 4 local dungeons, including the Dead Mines and Black Fathom Deeps. Instructors watch with smug anticipation, certain he will choose an easy path and fail to topple the 2-month-old record set by Luo Yang. Ignoring their expectations, he selects the Black Fathom Deeps, declaring his absolute certainty despite the principal's grim warnings about the difficulty. Kang Yang immediately orders a school-wide broadcast of the run, desperate to broadcast the boy's failure and salvage the school's crumbling reputation. Stepping into the dark abyss, Qianmo recalls the treacherous layout of this underwater labyrinth and the swarms of fishmen that haunt its depths. He immediately engages a group of level 16 blind fishmen, his suppressing strikes landing with lethal precision as he carves a path through the suffocating gloom. He drives his weapon into the creature's head, instantly ending its life. Watching students are stunned as he destroys these fishmen effortlessly despite being only 1 level higher. He sprints through the cave, noting, "This is the first tricky part. If I were to directly swim." He activates Leap to soar above the water, moving with an unnatural lightness. Observers watch in disbelief, questioning how he navigates a section that once tormented Luo Yang. The elderly man notes that while Luo Yang required 25 minutes to clear this, he has finished in only 12, leaving the veteran stunned. Pushing deeper into the darkness, he declares his intent to finish the trial. He soon encounters the Lobster King, Barton, a boss with 3,000's health looming in the crystal cavern. Unimpressed by the threat, he mocks the boss's low stats while preparing his bow for a strike. He lands a hit, knowing Lobster King Barton will only attack when it is attacked or approached within 3 meters. In the observation room, the men laugh, hoping Barton's blood will frenzy the piranhas to tear him to pieces. He counters the monster's claw with a slide tackle and a flying kick. After punching the creature into the water, he dives in to continue the assault. Although the beast claims the water as its domain, he switches to boxing gloves and pummels it until it screams in agony. The piranhas grow frenzied from the blood and begin tearing into the Lobster King, ignoring him entirely. When the monster attempts to drag him down, he uses a grappling hook to escape the water, triggering an explosion that leaves his opponent behind. He mocks the creature's lack of intelligence before leaping into the cave entrance. Officials are humbled by this strategic brilliance, realizing his performance makes previous records look like a joke. The elderly man is left speechless as he navigates the labyrinth without a single mistake, a path that took Lu Yong 20 attempts to memorize. Observers track his progress through the labyrinth, stunned that his route proves more efficient than even Luo Yong's masterwork. One man confronts his peers, mocking their stubborn refusal to admit that the boy is simply superior to every veteran in their ranks. The elderly man sighs, fearing Fenghua will be ruined by this relentless student. Cheng reaches the final boss room in under 2 hours, setting a record that everyone present agrees will be nearly impossible to surpass. Entering the final chamber, he recalls that lighting the 4 braziers will summon waves of level 18 black swamp serpents. He decides to trigger them all at once, confident his current strength can handle the swarm. He readies his staff and flaming spear, igniting all 4 braziers simultaneously. Students watch in disbelief, noting that fighting 16 monsters at once is a task that previously took them 8 full minutes for a single brazier. As the observers debate whether he is a genius or a fool, some hope his overconfidence leads to a failure that might save the school's reputation. Level 18 black swamp serpents emerge from the darkness, but he immediately activates his spellbinder skill, Hazy-Eyed Bremen, to lower their magic and status resistance for 30 seconds. He dodges an explosion and fires napalm to burn the swarm while maneuvering around the serpent strikes. Observers realize he is creating a tactical chemical reaction between his classes while he prepares a powerful follow-up maneuver. He summons a meteorite to crush the giant serpent creatures under the impact. The onlookers are awestruck by his original skill combinations, finally admitting that the Vagrant class is far from garbage and that his combat awareness is truly God-given. Blue flames erupt from the pillars as the elite boss, Akumai, a level 20 Hydra with 4,800 health, manifests to challenge the intruder. Cheng smiles confidently, challenging the multi-headed monster as the creature threatens to make him pay for his insolence. He unleashes a corrosive blast and moves with supernatural speed, realizing he must sever the Hydra's side heads to prevent its self-regeneration. Switching to a dagger, he lands a precise backstab to slay a head, then activates his hooklock skill to close the distance for a final charged strike. Channeling his expertise, he activates a Blade Master technique to charge a sweeping, semicircular slice that cleaves through the remaining heads. The creature collapses into the depths, and the system confirms a new record of 1 hour, 56 minutes, and 32 seconds, officially transferring ownership of the Black Fathom Deeps to him. Reaching level 18, his combat power surges to 1320T as he prepares to capitalize on his momentum. He unseals the reward chest, securing a Hydra's tooth, a sea turtle's heavy shell, and a void tentacle. The final components required to forge a legendary weapon. News of the shattered record decimates Feng Hua's morale as the officials finally grasp how decades of complacency have cost them their most prized secret realm. He promptly demands that Kang Yang honor their wager, compelling the college to sign over the requested materials within the week. Undeterred, he proposes a clean sweep of the remaining 3 realms, goading Kang into raising the stakes. The principal offers double the reward if he wins, but requires that Feng Hua must merge entirely into Zhangcheng if he loses. As news of the impending merger travels, he arrives at the gates of Tianhe College, where the leadership braces for his inevitable assault. The Tianhe principal quickly coordinates a trap, desperate to halt his progress before he can even reach the secret realm hall. Blocking his path at the entrance, a level 22 Qigong master named Yu Shi confronts him, forcing an immediate high-stakes duel. Onlookers whisper that since the level gap is under 20, the challenge is technically legal, though it remains a transparent, desperate effort to keep him from the portal. Yu Shi launches a rapid lightning leg strike, but he meets the assault head-on, prepared to dismantle the college's underhanded tactics with pure, overwhelming force. He intercepts the strike with a calm precision, leaving Yu Shi stunned by a parry speed typically reserved for Stage 3 experts. A flurry of high-speed strikes follows, as he utilizes Eagle Step to shatter his rival's defenses until the man collapses, bloodied and defeated. As the gathered students watch in awe, Professor Shu, a level 24 expert, steps forward to challenge him, hoping to halt his relentless progression. Seeing through these blatant attempts to exhaust him before he even reaches the secret realms, he decides to end these duels immediately. He activates the Tidal Charm, triggering the Soul Shock skill to lock Shu in place for 4 critical seconds. With the professor incapacitated, he glares at the remaining observers, demanding that the next challenger step forward without wasting any more of his time. Frustrated by his overt arrogance, the group of remaining men at the academy decides to swarm him all at once to force a victory. He stands over the fallen, inviting the entire group to line up and face him one by one if they truly wish to test their mettle. A level 27 berserker charges in, but he strikes the ground with a powerful kick, clearing the area and calling out for the next opponent. High-level fighters Qin, Huang, and Shui join the fray, yet he systematically dismantles them all as the sun begins to set. The principal watches in terror as he runs out of challengers, suddenly sensing a hidden lethal presence protecting the boy from the shadows. Fearing for his own safety, the principal abandons the blockade and allows a nervous subordinate to lead him toward his goal. He channels his dark magical power, continuing his steady, inevitable climb toward the path of the Sword God. His systematic dismantling of the top 20 schools catapults Zhang City College into the Xia country's top 3, prompting an emergency leadership meeting to discuss bestowing the title of honorary president upon him. The board reaches a unanimous consensus, scheduling a grand ceremony for his return, only to discover that the student behind this unprecedented upheaval has already vanished without a trace. He has ventured to the Linos Coast on the Apocalypse continent, where he hits level 20, triggering a system upgrade that boosts his transformation level to 3 and significantly enhances his passive abilities. He notes his Ribble Slash now grants 0.4 seconds of invincibility and weighs his final 2 transformation slots after his passive upgrades. Armed with the rare materials plundered from rival institutions, he seeks out a local blacksmith to forge a transcendent weapon, but finds himself confronted with extortionate fees for the man's guidance. Suspecting the smith is a master obsessed with his craft rather than a common merchant, he feigns a lack of funds to bait the man's interest in his complex, exceptional blueprint. The artisan's eyes widen at the design's intricate brilliance, allowing the protagonist to leverage this sudden curiosity to negotiate a path to learning the forge's secrets without the heavy financial burden. The ploy succeeds, and he is directed to the library, where he masters the basics of forging, though he now faces the daunting task of accumulating 10,000 points of experience to reach the intermediate tier. Overwhelmed by the genius embedded in the plans, the veteran smith grows desperate to grasp the underlying principles and offers to manufacture the weapon for free, provided he is allowed to assist in the process. He agrees to test the man's capabilities first by presenting 4 secondary blueprints, needing absolute certainty in the smith's talent before entrusting him with the only set of primary materials available. 2 hours later, the smith returns with high-quality gear as a testament to his expertise, and having proven his worth, he pledges his full support to help the protagonist craft his masterpiece. He channels his energy to evaluate the new gear, watching his combat power surge to 16,000 to a level of strength unprecedented for any student in Shay country. Once the blacksmith confirms the equipment's exceptional quality, Chung Kian-mo maintains his intense focus, deciding the time for action has finally arrived. Huang Tian arrives at the workshop shortly after, wondering if the elusive master Zhang Lao has already departed following his difficult recruitment attempts. Stunned, he finds Cheng Qianmo technically debating complex forging methods with the master, using specific terminology that leaves the blacksmith struggling to keep up. An onlooker watches in disbelief as the youth reprimands the master for his errors, while Huang Tian waves frantically to capture his attention. Cheng Qianmo recognizes him as the legendary level 98 Sword Soul, causing the powerful warrior to grow visibly nervous under his cold, knowing stare. Zhang Lao dismisses the interruption entirely, insisting on testing the boy's own weapon forging skills to determine if he is truly worth the effort. Realizing the youth's theoretical mastery far surpasses his own, the master humbles himself, agreeing to follow his lead to learn these advanced techniques. 2 hours later, they complete the cruel barb and Huang Tian boasts of his own forging prowess while privately fearing his companion's true intent. He marvels. The DPS of this weapon is more than 100 points. The attack speed is 2.1, while suspecting he is being tested. By 2 a.m., the pair finishes the first stage of the Flowing Light, Thousand-Bladed Umbrella, marking a definitive turning point in their quest. The weapon emits a golden light, leading the blacksmith to exclaim, to actually give off such a light the moment it is forged. He prioritizes his recovery, fully aware that maintaining peak condition is the only way to survive the relentless monster encounters ahead. Examining the Flowing Light, Thousand-Bladed Umbrella, he realizes its base damage is 25% higher than it was in his past life, a staggering revelation for a mere level 20. As he commands the weapon to shift, onlookers stare in disbelief at the silver-grade gear seamlessly changing forms before their eyes. Testing the spear configuration, he feels the surge of power and immediately begins integrating its reach into his combat repertoire. After soulbinding the Rank's weapon, he discovers it remains unsharpened, requiring a bath in the blood of a level 25 boss to unlock its true potential. Arriving at the Razor Wetlands, he ignores the adventurers scrambling for parties and waits for Huang Tian, noting his partner's characteristic punctuality. He optimizes his transformation slots, converting his Void Spear into a passive to capitalize on its high penetration despite the inherent speed trade-off. Next, he upgrades his Dazzle Mark into a Dark Element passive, stripping away the activation requirements to exponentially boost his total damage output. The sheer ease of these transformations leaves him breathless as he envisions a strategy where a single strike can trigger multiple elemental marks simultaneously. Nearby bystanders gossip about the vagrant seeking a carry, only to fall into a dead silence when they recognize the talented Sword Soul arriving to greet him. Huang Tian treats him with evident respect, and at his companion's request, introduces the vagrant simply as Lao Mao to keep his identity concealed. Onlookers watch in shock, wondering at the mysterious newcomer's origins as he turns his gaze toward the Razor Wetlands and the looming threat of the Razor Highlands. He recalls the legends of the half-god Nijikamu, whose titanic struggle against the Abyss leader Manos once irrevocably scarred the continent's landscape. As the Quilboar Guardians stir, waiting for their god's rebirth, he halts their advance and signals for Huang Tian to hold back while he tackles the mini-bosses alone. he challenges Huang to a speedrun competition, aiming to see who can claim their respective boss first. Huang scoffs, questioning how a level 20 vagrant expects to survive the level 26 monster groups against such steep damage penalties, but Chanmo only smiles, determined to prove his path to the Sword God class. Ignoring the skepticism, Huang warns that he will be on his own if he falls, then chooses the left path because of its higher monster density, intending to clear it to ensure his companion's safety. Qianmo feels a flicker of irritation at finding Huang occupying the route he had already mapped out, while the older fighter remains convinced that the youth is either exceptionally skilled or dangerously reckless. Suddenly, 4 boar humanoids leap from the brush to ambush Huang, forcing him to brace for the fight as he recognizes the need for absolute focus against such a coordinated pack. He immediately unleashes an army-breaking Rising Dragon Strike, followed by an air combo slash, tearing through the monsters amidst a dazzling display of energy beams and precise, heavy blade work. Making rapid progress, Huang reaches the 1/3 mark in a mere 10 minutes and sends a taunt back, fully assuming the younger student has either perished or is currently struggling on the harder 2/3 point of the left path. Qianmo declares, "I will let you guys have a taste of the power of my new weapon," as he shifts to gun form to shred his foes. After clearing his path with ruthless efficiency, he pauses to admire the destructive potential of his new gear, while nearby onlookers whisper in shock, convinced he must be exploiting illegal cheats to output such raw power. Huang completes his own run in 27 minutes, setting a new personal record. He boasts loudly of his performance, fully expecting to find that Qianmo has failed and respawned at the graveyard. Instead, he is left stunned to find Qianmo already waiting for him at the ancient tree. Terrified and confused by the impossible speed, Huang stammers for an explanation, while the boy only smiles, his expression unreadable beneath a dark hood. Attempting to save face, the older fighter suggests it was merely smart to retreat, but Qianmo ignores the comment and steps forward, only to pull up short as he realizes the next area is strangely devoid of all life. He finds the area littered with heaps of elite Boarman corpses, confirming his systematic slaughter of the beasts. Watching in disbelief, Huang wonders if his companion, a mere level 20 solo player, truly possesses such overwhelming strength. The search for the level 27 elite priest Agum yields nothing but an empty clearing where the monster's body has mysteriously vanished. A hooded figure suddenly looms behind Huang, triggering an instinctive jolt of alarm as a chilling presence fills the air. Revealing the discarded carcass of the priest, the stranger proves he has already soloed the level 27 elite on his own. Stunned, Huang expresses newfound respect, struggling to reconcile how such a monumental feat could be achieved. Cheng dismisses the praise as trivial, insisting the task is simple once one fully grasps the fundamental skills required for the path of the Sword God. Satisfied that his partner understands, he gestures toward the horizon to continue their rigorous series of training challenges. Their collaborative mission to forge the future #1 Sword Soul officially commences as they plunge into the fray. They trade blows with boar-headed monsters, landing strikes while weaving through heavy club swings. Chang sharply critiques his partner's rhythm, noting a 0.2-second delay before he surges forward to dominate the combat. Realizing that every enemy movement is perfectly anticipated, Huang recognizes that this youth possesses a level of insight far beyond his own. As shadows swarm the battlefield, Huang falters against the mounting skill cooldowns and sustains a punishing blow. Taunting his exhausted companion, Cheng ignores the complaints that these grueling standards would be impossible for any ordinary warrior. He explains that the failure to dodge stems from a disregard for the immediate surroundings, which disrupts the flow of battle with impulsive strikes. True timing, he insists, relies on absolute accuracy, as holding back until the perfect moment provides the decisive advantage. Focusing intently on the lesson, Huang finally demonstrates the necessary intuition, earning an acknowledgement that his potential as a soul sword god is secure. Huang Tian stares at his mentor, asking if he truly intends to make him the #1 sword soul of the Tianxi continent, to which Cheng Qianmo responds with a sharp, focused gaze that leaves no room for doubt. The hooded prodigy turns to his partner, and after a brief, silent exchange, they clasp hands to solidify a pact that will carve their names into history. Cheng Qianmo stares into the distance, declaring his absolute ambition to claim the summit and refusing to falter, regardless of the trivial obstacles in their path. The Boarman warrior charges, but Cheng Qianmo blocks the axe, spotting an opening in the beast's stance. He carefully tracks the monster's attack rhythm, counting down the seconds before leaning back to dodge by a mere 0.2 seconds, proving that perfect timing is the only way to avoid a lethal blow. He shouts, "Now!" and launches into a mid-air combo, swinging his hammer to test his combat skills. This level of precision, where every strike is premeditated and every movement flows with lethal intent, marks the true awakening of the strongest soul sword. Praising his mentor's insight, Huang Tian listens intently as Chung Qianmo shifts the focus to his final lesson, the art of disrupting enemy auxiliary skills. Before them stands Karlgar Stybrisk, the shaman, and Cheng Qianmo explains that while he draws the creature's aggro, his partner must focus entirely on interrupting the boss's healing and mana spear abilities. Shifting his weapon into a battle spear, he charges at the roaring beast, vowing to drench his blade in the shaman's blood to finally sharpen his masterwork weapon. Aware of the target's regenerative nature, he transitions into a rapid-fire assault, raining down a series of precise thrusts to keep the shaman overwhelmed. He lunges forward with the spear, noting aloud that this form is optimal for stacking the Shadow Dazzle mark needed to cripple the enemy. The creature invokes the name of Nijikamu in a desperate roar, beginning to channel a healing spell as it attempts to recover from the relentless barrage. Following the command, Huang Tian strikes the shaman with perfect timing, shattering the healing art. Chung Qianmo lets out a triumphant laugh, having perfectly dismantled the beast's only hope of survival. Despite the interruption, the shaman recovers 1,500 health points, prompting a frustrated observer to question the creature's endless vitality. Huang Tian urges him to maintain focus, reminding him that they must exploit the next opening before the boss fully resets. He responds with a relentless barrage of strikes, landing critical hits that tear through the shaman's defenses. When the beast attempts to channel another heal, he instantly fires a Ghost Slash to disrupt the incantation. Though the spell fails, he notes that his skill is now on cooldown just as the shaman begins a new, dangerous maneuver. He immediately executes a Flowing Heart Slash, a soul transfer technique that stuns the monster and halts its recovery once more. Huang Tian praises the masterful use of dark energy, while he shifts his stance to rapidly deplete the remaining health. He unleashes Dazzle Mark Emanation, stacking shadow vulnerability and critical hits until he drives the target into the dirt. The creature shrieks, "No, I can't die!" as it prays for the great Nijikamu to save it. He channels his power to land a critical hit of 1,717 damage, forcing the enemy to its breaking point. Huang Tian stares at the fallen creature, confident that this victory will prove the vagrant path. He reflects on his partner's encouragement, envisioning the day they reunite with their comrades to conquer the entire continent of Tianqi. Huang Tian points toward the nearby Borman camp, signaling that rescuing the trapped goblin is the final step of their challenge. With only 2 hours gone, they agree to push for a record speed, and Huang Tian eagerly accepts the thrill of the hunt. He leaps forward, kicking an opponent aside and catching the sleeping guards off guard to eliminate an elite Borman. The creature asks, "Have you come to rescue me?" But their movement triggers a horde, forcing an escape. As the horde swarms, Huang Tian yells, "Lao Mo, this is too thrilling! Are you trying to kill me?" Lao Mo summons an ice wall, catching the soldiers off guard with a blast of energy. He commands his companion to shield the goblin, intent on handling every aspect of the offense and defense himself. Huang Tian watches in shock as he charges 100 elite Borman warriors solo, leaving the warrior to scramble through the forest in his wake. Coming to an abrupt halt, he kicks up dust with his boots while preparing his next tactical maneuver. The Borman army marches toward the glowing landscape where he waits for them. He smiles. Done, all the elite warriors are gathered, before switching to machine gun mode to fire. Using the recoil from the cannon to propel himself through the air, he lands in a crouch, already poised for his next strike. Huang Tian asks, "You are not here to save me," as he watches the man switch to a staff to cast Void Sphere. While Huang Tian worries about the potential for long cooldowns, he seamlessly cycles through Magic Bullet and Telekinesis to maintain the relentless assault. He activates his passive, warning, "Void Sphere has a high mana cost, so don't rush," as he devastates the enemy ranks. Huang Tian is stunned by this miraculous display, and as Lao Mo explains that this passive skill overcomes his lack of large-scale damage, he invites his partner to follow him forward. Observers watching the leaderboard marvel at the new record, which beats the second-place team's time by 37 minutes. As a hidden class, Spellbinder, he receives an SS rank reward and a diamond treasure chest, which yields the rare Phantom Cloak. Nearby, Huang Tian celebrates his own loot, proudly showing off a level 35 rare shoulder guard he obtained from a golden chest. He pulls the Phantom Cloak from the chest, an item worth 50 million Blue Star coins that grants the wearer a state of complete invisibility. A frantic rescued creature approaches them, whispering of a dark conspiracy linking their enemies to the undead and pressing a hidden letter into his hand as proof. Recognizing they have stumbled upon a legendary hidden quest, the two realize the current path to the Razor Highlands is far beyond their reach. They agree to defer the challenge until their second awakening, prompting him to push Huang Tian to grind for experience and levels immediately. Leading his ally deep into the ruins, he swings his weapon to shatter a crumbling wall, unveiling an ancient, long-forgotten altar hidden in the dark. He explains that this is no ordinary gate, as the altar possesses the rare power to allow awakeners to siphon and learn skills from entirely different classes. Having memorized the structure's location from his old maps, he gestures for his excited companion to step forward and finally activate the monolith. With a surge of focus, he channels his energy into the stone, successfully unlocking the Berserker's Rage Burst to push his combat potential to new heights. He learns the Berserker's Rage Burst, questioning how a level 26 altar could teach such an advanced skill. Considering the unique mechanics of his flowing light, thousand-bladed umbrella, he settles on the quantum explosion to maximize his ranged lethality. By integrating this skill, he effectively covers his combat blind spots, feeling fully prepared to walk the path of the sword god just as he once envisioned. He returns to the workshop to find Zhang, who stares at him in disbelief, still reeling from the news of his record-breaking performance in the Razor Wetlands. Ignoring the praise, he asks to use the furnace to hit intermediate forging before his entrance exam, leaving the old master stunned that a third-year student possesses such ambition. Zhang warns him that neglecting cultivation for blacksmithing is a mistake, insisting that reaching the intermediate level is a grueling task that could easily consume over 40 days. Instead of backing down, he reveals a stash of 15 Nichikamu's bloodstones, causing the elder to gasp as he realizes this haul far exceeds standard dungeon rewards. He clarifies that he triggered a specific combat bug by maintaining a 100-hit combo, which forced the game to guarantee these rare drops. With these stones providing a triple experience bonus, he asserts that he has exactly what is required to forge a masterpiece in time for his test. 3 days of intense work follow, during which he produces superior-grade equipment with almost no material waste, leaving Zhang to wonder if the boy is even human. He reaches the intermediate rank with ease, though he notes that advancing further will eventually require the official approval of the Forging Association. Watching the final tally, Zhang is speechless as he realizes the student completed 46 items with a 92% success rate, a feat that dwarfs his own legendary career. He leaves the finished gear for consignment, assuring the smith that he will return to discuss further projects once his entrance exam is behind him. On the morning of the assessment, Lu meets him at the school gates, eager to provide a final briefing on the challenges ahead. The trial takes place at the Honolulu City Central Gymnasium, where candidates must navigate the level 20 Nomergen dungeon and defeat at least 2 of the 4 bosses to qualify. As they walk, Lu admits that his rapid growth has become the sole driving force behind the sudden surge in the Academy's national standing. Commissioner Lu gestures toward the assembly, revealing that the Academy has a surprise waiting before the final trial. Students erupt in cheers for Qianmo, eager to mirror the success of the vagrant who single-handedly elevated their school's standing. The administration officially appoints him as honorary president, acknowledging that his contributions were the catalyst for Zhong City's sudden rise. Though taken aback by the sudden promotion, Qianmo accepts the title as the leadership pledges their full support for his journey. He draws a steady breath, silently vowing to safeguard the institution that has placed such immense faith in him. The school leaders confirm that his forfeited recommendation spot has been transferred to Jingjing, granting her a new opportunity. A friend nudges Qianmo, teasing him about the shy interest Jingjing has clearly shown in following his academic path. Lu interrupts the chatter to ensure he has fully mastered the exam manual, reminding him of the stakes now that he has transitioned to a vagrant. Whispers of a perfect match circulate through the crowd, though Qianmo keeps his distance, feeling hesitant to address the rumors directly. His communicator buzzes with an unexpected request from Zhang Lei, a standing committee member who insists on a private meeting. Far away, a man assures his associate that all necessary precautions against future interference are in place as the exam day dawns in Hanwu. Qianmo sits in quiet contemplation, weighing how the lingering fallout from the Moling University conflict might jeopardize his momentum. Suspicion grows that a powerful elder is acting as his silent guardian, forcing him to sharpen his focus to endure the upcoming trial. The delegation from Zhong City arrives at the Hanwu venue, only to realize they have pulled into parking spaces strictly reserved for the province's elite. An official from the local academy immediately blocks their path, demanding they vacate the area since services are allocated by rank. Just as Lian and Yuefeng demand an explanation for the hostility, the sudden arrival of Zhonglei shifts the atmosphere of the arena. Local administrators rush to offer protocol, but Zhonglei waves them off, claiming he is only present for personal business. When he asks Lu to point out Qianmo, The local staff stares in disbelief that a high-ranking official would pay a visit to a mid-tier school. Zhonglei offers public praise, and a representative from Moling arrives to deliver an apology gift, leaving onlookers stunned that a top 10 institution is groveling, accepting the box with a sharp, sarcastic jab. Qianmo watches as Zhonglei agrees to relay his message back to the vice president. As the man departs, he lingers on the mystery of Cheng's connections, marveling at how many hidden cards this student keeps up his sleeve. Inside the monitoring center, gossip swirls about the brewing rivalry between Hanwu and Zhong City, but the chatter dies down as officials finalize the testing phase and unveil the top 1,000 rankings. While the list is saturated with Hanwu elites, the staff openly scoffs at their lack of substance, dismissing them as mere window dressing. The room erupts in shock when Ma Xiao of Hanwu was relegated to second place, leaving everyone scrambling to identify the mystery candidate who claimed the crown. Cheng is officially unveiled as the #1 seed, an SS grade vagrant at level 20, a revelation that leaves the grading officials in stunned silence. Faculty members are paralyzed with disbelief, as Hebei province has never produced an SS grade candidate, leading one official to realize Liu had intentionally masked the boy's true ceiling. With their 11-year winning streak suddenly under siege, the proctors order the candidates to enter the level 20 Nomoregan dungeon, tasking them with downing 2 of the 4 bosses to qualify. Cheng prepares to demonstrate his absolute dominance to secure his future, cloaking his gear to avoid the kind of unwanted attention he drew back at Moling. Driven by the need for rapid growth, he triggers his primary dungeon baptism, reapplying the basic amplification buff he secured in Zhong City to lock in a permanent stat increase. The enhancement provides a flat 5-point boost to every attribute and a surge in movement speed, pushing his combat power to a staggering 20,254. Nearby, a rival glares at him with murderous intent, drawing his energy bow as the air in the staging area grows heavy with lethal hostility. The candidates descend into Morwigan, a decaying technological graveyard now choked by radiation, rogue machinery, and swarms of mutated horrors. Standing at the threshold of the subterranean level, Cheng surveys the stairwell crawling with wolf-sized rats that guard the path to the first boss. Rather than engaging the vermin in a tedious slog, he masks the appearance of his gear to facilitate a more efficient, unconventional route through the ruins. He ignores the stairs to sprint toward the portal, gripping his weapon as he prepares for the trial. A dark substance erupts from the gloom, revealing a level 20 viscous fallout elemental that towers over the path. Shifting his weapon into gun form, he unleashes his increased area of effect damage to pummel the creature with a relentless barrage of shots. Inside the Invigilator's hall, the examiners watch the leaderboard in disbelief, stunned that he has already cleared the first stage. They debate his reckless strategy as he charges directly into a group of bomb bots, dismissing his SSS potential rating as mere arrogance. Their voices die out, left speechless as he weaves through the narrow passage, evading every explosive with impossible foresight. He leads a horde of bots toward the boss, prompting the examiners to ask how he plans to survive. He stands his ground against an Electrocutioner 6000, a rare elite machine, and prepares to dismantle the threat. A swarm of robots launches a barrage of bombs while the machine initiates its forced induction discharge, forcing him to adapt his combat style. He switches to a magic staff to trigger displacement, followed by an Iron Mountain Bash that sends the surrounding machines flying in a fan-shaped blast. He unleashes an overload attack to annihilate the swarm, standing alone amidst the wreckage. Observers react with shock as he wipes out the boss and mobs with only 2 skills, leading a veteran teacher to declare such talent unseen in a century. The audience clamors for a larger screen to study his combat control, though an instructor insists they remain at their assigned terminals to maintain order. Frustrated rivals watch their spotlight vanish, warning that under the scrutiny of hundreds of teachers, he cannot afford a single mistake. He approaches the crowned pummeler 996, a level 22 machinery elite leader lurking in the dark chamber. Defeating this machine is the key to the top 10 universities, but it wields the aging halo, a debuff that increases physical damage taken by 5% every 5 seconds. Dismissing the threat, he strikes the mechanical enemy with his spear to land multiple AoE hits. He executes a slide tackle into a suplex, pinning the mechanical unit while standing perfectly still. Observers mock his apparent lack of tactical knowledge, only to realize in horror that he is completely immune to the aging halo debuff. The realization hits them. He used the brief 0.1 second invincibility frame from his suplex to bypass the status effect, a feat of precision that shocks the proctors. Cheng reflects on the nature of invincibility frames. leading observers to speculate if this specialized mastery is the reason he chose the Vagrant class. Declaring his intent to take everything, he unleashes Arsing's Smash and Nen Guard to force the machine into a retreat. He follows up with a rapid combo rush, pushing the mechanical enemy back just as it attempts to re-trigger its aging halo. He transitions fluidly into his longsword, drawing gasps from the onlookers who recognize the unique silver tier artifact. They struggle to grasp how a level 20 student could wield such divine gear, fueling rumors about his secret affluent background. Watching the monitors, the proctors realize he is completely ignoring the aging halo by perfectly timing the invincibility frames of his ripple slash. This display of pinnacle control and foresight confirms why he holds an SS rank evaluation. With his rhythm established, he smirks and detonates his dazzle marks. A chaotic flurry of energy effects and damage numbers erupts, stacking critical hits and dark elemental damage against the mechanical boss. He weaves through the machine's energy blades, retaliating with explosive strikes as he releases a surge of concentrated magical power that ripples through the air. Spectators are left breathless, witnessing him shatter the previous 2-hour record in just 24 minutes. Officials argue over his future, debating whether his mastery of invincibility frames makes him a natural fit for a Kaiser or an Astarte. Dismissing their narrow categorization, one observer notes that he is carving an entirely new path, one where the vagrant profession will eventually eclipse all others. The challenge intensifies as the final boss, Mechmani, activates. Because the construct continuously spawns waves of monsters from 6 separate passages, the challenger must fend off an army while simultaneously striking the core or risk being overwhelmed. While many have failed this trial in the past, he remains unfazed, boldly declaring that he only needs 2 minutes to dismantle the machine. He summons spirits and traps to seal the passage, channeling his power to hold the defensive perimeter. The crowd realizes his strategy is to use these summons to bottleneck the mobs, allowing him to focus his full output on the boss. Though he spends 2 minutes setting up his defenses, they watch in mounting anxiety to see if the gamble pays off. Switching to his Gatling gun, he initiates the final assault. He lands with a shockwave that signals the start of the destruction, blasting the mechanical construct with explosive force. He unleashes a barrage of AoE attacks to obliterate the construct, leaving onlookers stunned by the instant kill. Elsewhere, Ma Xiao, the second-ranked candidate, feels confident in his own 30-minute victory, fully believing he has secured the title of provincial champion. However, a system notification abruptly announces his rival's success. He has cleared the entire stage in 30 seconds, setting an all-time SSS rank record that makes the audience question if he is even human. Li Gangyu and the students of Hanwoo College react in pure horror as their potential rankings are shattered by this unprecedented feat. He lands a final, powerful strike to shatter the core, while a nearby student fires her weapon and vows to catch up to his staggering strength. Spectators and allies erupt in celebration of this miracle, with fans expressing intense admiration for both his overwhelming power and his striking looks. Director Han fumes as his own students are rendered obsolete by this performance, striking his table in a fit of impotent frustration. High-ranking officials praise him as a rare dragon among men, noting he has already earned the favor of the upper management. A stern elder remarks that a true trump card always exposes hidden truths, warning the crowd that fortune is fickle and youth should never be bullied. He notes that the dungeon's limited vision granted him just enough time to prepare, though he finds such easy wins difficult to replicate. Surprised by the high-level rewards, he discovers an S-rank skill book capable of permanently increasing basic attack speed. Because his class prohibits learning standard academy skills, this book is vital to bypass the diminishing returns of his base agility. The passive skill grants a flat 15% increase, pushing his attack speed well beyond that of the average level 30 student. He smiles while claiming his hidden reward, the Baldwin mask, which he secured by using a radiation solution on the boss's remains. Crowned as the official provincial champion, he teleports into the center of the stadium amidst a violent surge of magical energy. Supporters swarm him, praising his genius while demanding he shoulder the heavy mission of slaughtering demons for the sake of country Sha. He realizes they are attempting to bind him with patriotic expectations, forcing him to hunt beasts to avoid a public backlash. Distressed by this blatant manipulation, he calls out those who pressured him to step forward and face him directly. Facing the silence of the cowards who urged him to play the hero, Cheng Qianmo demands to know why they summoned him, explaining he is only looking for reliable allies willing to fight for the country. He challenges the teachers to prove their commitment, causing them to admit their strength is meager compared to his. Mocking their blatant cowardice, he questions if they have ulterior motives for trying to stifle a future genius while secretly planning to desert the country themselves. Guayan of the Education Bureau intervenes to confirm he heard every word, immediately stripping the licenses from the guilty teachers and penalizing their respective colleges. As these disgraced figures beg for mercy, a committee member praises Cheng Shinmo's maturity and poise, though he modestly downplays the compliment. The official requests to move to a private conference room, intent on asking if the youth possesses high-level connections within the management association. Chung Kanmo admits he has no idea who the man behind the ring is, explaining they only met by pure coincidence while he was out fishing. Terror washes over the official the moment he sees the token, as he instantly recognizes it belongs to the legendary Elder Qin. He explains that Qin Fei Yu is a level 75+ Astarte, an antisocial powerhouse whose favor marks the boy for a smooth, protected path toward the sword god. The official warns him to keep the ring visible at all times, as it serves as the master key to unlocking the creator's deepest secrets and political influence. Outside, news anchors report on the triumph of the new eBay provincial champion, an achievement that forces a critical choice regarding the future fate of humanity. Recruiters from the top 30 universities arrive in record numbers, all desperate to secure the young prodigy for their own institutions. Liu Yanmin welcomes the representatives and displays the student profiles, inviting them to select their top candidates for upcoming interviews. The recruiters are left reeling, realizing that Cheng Qianmo's 20,000 battle power already eclipses the strength of most of their own enrolled university students. Cheng Yuesheng, the executive vice principal of Mulin University, dismisses the competition as inexperienced bumpkins, yet he admits that Cheng Qianmo's 20,000+ battle power forces him to set aside their past enmity to secure a recruitment slot. Realizing this is the same talent Huang Tian often praised, Ye Sheng prepares his pitch, while Wang Kaifu from Blue Sky University similarly resolves to land the recruit at any cost. 30 minutes later, the vote tallies update and officials signal the candidates to proceed to their interview halls, though the room remains fixated on the most contested subject of the day. With 16 universities clamoring for his signature, an official suggests a collective interview, though a rival representative protests that such a public bidding war ignores standard examination protocol. High-grade institutions initially hesitate to abandon their dignity, but Yu Sheng argues that a once-in-a-century genius justifies breaking every rule in the book. Once Magic Spirit and Blue Sky agree to the format, the remaining schools follow suit, driven by the strategic necessity to compete for the student who boasts a staggering 22,000 battle power. As institutions like Shenyu and Qingbei join the collective table, Zhongcheng College reports that their other students have achieved a successful 60% recruitment rate. While he remains preoccupied with the safety of his allies, Cheng Hianmo watches as officials express genuine shock at the sheer number of students who survived the assessment. Observers note the desperate lengths Magic Spirit and Blue Sky go to curry favor, as an elder reminds Cheng Qianmo that his future now hinges on his performance in this unprecedented group interview. He stands before the arena, his resolve hardening as he prepares to reach the absolute height of his potential, while his reputation continues to climb. Facing the Council of Representatives, Yu Sheng steps forward to introduce himself, offering a hollow attempt at reconciling their previous grievances. Zheng Qianmo realizes Wei Sheng is Hongshan's puppet, while Keifu introduces himself citing Huang Tian's recommendation. Rival officials interrupt to accuse the two directors of abusing personal relationships, warning the student to ignore these biased connections and prioritize long-term growth instead. Noting that Oracle University seems to be in a state of desperation, he listens as the Clear North representative begins the interview by questioning his decision to pursue the vagrant path. He boldly declares the arrival of the monarch, but Ren Hung of Ice Snow University remains unimpressed, urging him to drop the theatrics and acknowledge the inherent limitations of his class. Other officials chime in, echoing the sentiment that the vagrant profession lacks late-game viability, which explains their collective hesitation to extend a formal offer. He challenges their assumptions about vagrants, asking who decreed them weak and inviting them to test his abilities. Ren Hang smiles with malice, promising to offer a formal apology to the vagrant class if Cheng can land a single hit. So the official sets the rules for a spar where the first strike decides the winner. Stepping into the hall, Cheng faces the representative, who insists on his superior battle experience even after lowering his power to level 21. While onlookers gasp at the sudden blurring speed of the exchange, summoning an array of ice spears, the challenger attempts to punish Cheng for his defiance, but the youth remains unimpressed, drawing his sniper rifle to demonstrate the true meaning of velocity. A barrage of fire erupts as Cheng triggers his Gatling gun passive, shredding the defenses until his opponent collapses, utterly incapacitated by the overwhelming assault. Spectators realize his power is no fluke, wondering if he is a vagrant or a mobile turret after he asks who remains unconvinced. University representatives offer scholarships, skill books, and property, while Huang's University grants A-Rank's library access to secure a commitment. Oracle University sweetens the deal by promising exclusive Secret Realm access and a legendary Fruit of Ability. Though others mock the difficulty of those realms, Chang accepts, knowing that specific authority is exactly what he needs. Silence falls over the room as he announces his decision to join Oracle, shocking the gathered recruiters who assume they had already lost their chance to claim such a talent. Elder Zhang scolds him for choosing a declining institution. But the student remains undeterred, shifting the focus to his business by asking for the profit generated by his forged gear. Reporting a total of 920 gold, the smith encourages him to look beyond the novice village, and Cheng begins plotting his departure for Thunder City to further his journey, gifting him a golden token for the high-rank forger exam. The elder reflects on the weight of his own memories, and with 933 gold in his account, Cheng prepares to visit the auction house for materials to complete his umbrella. With his new path secured, he stands in the fading sunlight, resolute in his next objective. He readies his bow to grind secondary professions, pouring resources into alchemy, mining, and skinning, while spending 8 days hunting to reach 90% experience before hitting Thunder City. A sudden cry echoes through the forest as he spots a rare level 27 Moxgus, a high-value beast with 8,000 HP and the potential to drop epic items. Before he can advance, he finds Ling Ruoxi, a level 14 melee mage, struggling as her mana and stamina bottom out under the creature's assault. She yells at the monster, "Don't come over," before launching Dazzle Marks and Meteor Assault to stop it from chasing her. Observing from the shadows, he recognizes her top-tier talent and speed, yet knows she cannot evade the monster's incoming stomp. He lunges into the fray to intercept the attack, his strikes landing with such ferocity that he levels up to 22 instantly. After felling the creature, he claims the epic raid Consonance Staff, deciding that such a high-damage weapon is best reserved for sale. Ling Ruoxi gasps at his sudden intervention, and when he correctly guesses her SS-ranked talent provides a 40% speed boost, she stares in disbelief. He dismisses her shock to critique her unrefined timing, leaving her stunned that a mere vagrant possesses such deep insight into a melee mage's mechanics. He turns to leave, leaving her startled as she struggles to keep pace behind him. Shadowy monsters lunge from the brush, but he cuts through them with effortless precision, displaying a mastery of combat that leaves her stunned. Watching him, she realizes his control over melee magic far exceeds any instructor she has ever known, as if a new world of potential has suddenly opened before her. He announces his departure for Thunder City, prompting her to finally introduce herself as Ling Ruoxi and offer her gratitude for his sharp guidance. A sudden, oppressive shift in the atmosphere leaves her breathless, and he coughs awkwardly to break the heavy tension hanging between them. A system alert flashes, warning that a beast tide will strike Thunder City in 5 minutes, leaving her to lament her impossible luck. He notes that a medium-ranked tide is anomalous for this region, so he leads her toward shelter, stumbling upon a hidden location just in time. She surprises him with a sudden hug from behind, but he remains focused, warning her to stay absolutely silent to survive the approaching horde. He catches her midair to reposition them for safety, though she yells in frustration at the firmness of his grip. A swarm of creatures sweeps across the landscape, forcing them to press into the shadows. She questions his intentions, but he insists she hold on tight, noting that her lack of specific survival skills would only slow him down. Retaliating with a sharp bite to his shoulder, she shocks him during the heat of their high-stakes escape. After landing, he orders her to hide in an abandoned well while he prepares to draw the beasts away from her location. She wonders why a level 22 vagrant would risk his own life to protect a total stranger like her. When she teleports to block him, he says, "Go hide," and catches her as they tumble into the depths together. They survive the fall and share a brief, breathless moment of relief in the darkness of the well. Flustered, she demands that he moderate his physical contact while they remain trapped in such close quarters. He readies his bow for the battle, while she bids him a quiet farewell. As a howl echoes from above, she aggressively demands that their intimate predicament remains a secret. He finally introduces himself, but she impatiently demands to know the real reason he has been guiding her all this time. Caught off guard by her intensity, he claims he only helped her because he recognized her genuine potential. She mocks his altruism with a playful jab, but Chang Qianmo ignores the bait, his mind entirely occupied by the looming beast siege and the relentless pressure of her interrogation. Once the immediate threat passes, he hauls her out of the narrow tunnel, moving quickly to reach the relative safety of the surface. Seeing her clothes shredded from their scramble, he uses his leatherworking skills to rapidly stitch together a tunic and skirt from scavenged beast hides. He drapes his cloak over her shoulders to grant her some modesty, though she immediately flares up, berating him for his lack of social boundaries. Stepping away to clear his head, he finds no peace as she trails him, questioning whether he intentionally supplied her with substandard gear earlier. To silence her complaints, he fashions a superior coat, yet she remains unconvinced, reciting her mother's bitter warning that all men are fundamentally untrustworthy. They finally reach the gates of Thunder City, where he immediately makes for the auction house to secure the resources necessary for his ascent. She offers to navigate the city for him, and he agrees to replace her ruined wardrobe as a peace offering for their earlier friction. Despite her warnings to avoid bottom-tier junk, he urges her to select whatever she likes, confident that his growing fortune can easily cover the expense. A shopkeeper greets them with a smile, but a nearby customer sneers at their rugged appearance, earning nothing but a chilling, lethal glare from Cheng Qingmo. She recoils when she sees the floral dress costs 35 gold, urging him away to avoid showing their poverty. He shuts down her panic by dumping a heavy, overflowing pouch of gold onto the counter, leaving the entire room stunned by his sudden display of wealth. As the staff scrambles to cater to them, he remains focused on his objective with a cold, singular intensity, fully prepared to pay any price to shatter his current limitations. The girl beams while the merchant wraps the garments, unaware that the shopkeeper inwardly curses the missed opportunity to gouge them on the price. Inspecting the fabric, Cheng Qianmo immediately spots sloppy stitching and inconsistent dye, flaws that reveal the merchant's claims of premium quality as a lie. He calls out the shopkeeper for the scam, but she bristles with indignation, citing her establishment's 20-year reputation in Thunder City as proof of her integrity. When he insists on speaking to the manager, a blonde woman emerges, reciting a string of pretentious technical specifications to justify the fabric's supposed value. Cheng Qianmo cuts through her rehearsed script, exposing the cheap wool fillers and the amateur dyeing process that render the entire stock worthless. The shopkeeper turns deathly pale, realizing her fraudulent operation is laid bare and that her business will crumble if he spreads word of the deception. She bows in a frantic panic, pleading for his silence and offering any concession to prevent him from exposing the scam. The blonde manager immediately terminates the arrogant employee on the spot, desperate to placate such a dangerous and perceptive guest. Attempting to further mitigate the damage, she offers him his choice of any item in the store, accompanied by a sincere apology gift. He brushes off the tension as a natural hazard of his trade, sternly warning her to enforce stricter quality standards in the future. His companion happily selects several outfits, leaving the manager to fret over whether the unexpected shopping spree will bankrupt her store. Emerging with their haul, he realizes the girl has successfully extorted 300 gold in hush money, pushing his total funds to 1,070 gold. They proceed to the grand auction house, where Cheng Qianmo finds the structure even more imposing than he remembers from his past life. She leads him to the reception desk, where she effortlessly secures a VIP room by presenting her silver membership card. Choosing to keep his own black card concealed, he watches as an arrogant man storms up to demand the room for his master, young Master Wei. The man slams 3 gold cards onto the counter, causing the clerk to buckle and attempt to demote Cheng Qianmo and his companion to the common area. The clerk nervously bows to young Master Wei's man, prompting a frustrated sigh from Cheng Qianmo's companion as they are unceremoniously evicted from the VIP suite. She questions how they can possibly retaliate, but he remains tight-lipped, his mind already calculating the precise steps needed to isolate their target. Once they settle into a standard seat, he explains that Wei Junji is a level 26 elementalist, making him an easy mark for the retribution he has planned. Cheng Qianmo displays the rare items he has listed for sale, his gaze fixed on the stage as Wang Gang steps into the spotlight to officially open the auction. Bidding begins immediately, and Wei Junji secures 10 stalks of Langshi grass for 15 gold coins, clearly satisfied with his opening acquisition. He preens in his box, oblivious to the fact that Cheng Qianmo is already anticipating the specific dangers of the upcoming dungeon, a trial far more brutal than anything Wei has encountered. The crowd gasps when the auctioneer starts the bidding for 46 stalks at 4.6 gold coins. Wei Junji attempts to dominate the bidding, only to find the system abruptly blocking him due to his surname, leaving him paranoid that a shadow is hunting him. He shouts in rage as a stranger wins the lot, while his companion notes the bidder is likely in room 414. Cheng Qianmo smirks, revealing how he exploited the auction house's back-end to specifically target any bidder named Wei, effectively draining his rival's financial reserves. She beams at his ruthless ingenuity, though he remains cold, noting that this minor humiliation is merely the appetizer before he inflicts true suffering. Livid and feeling personally attacked, Wei Junji barks orders at his subordinates to hunt down Manager Shu and force an explanation for the sabotage. Ignoring the commotion, Wang Gang unveils the final treasure, an epic tier Soul Rhinoceros staff, usable by any level 25 combatant. Wei Junji tries to bid, but the system restricts him and inflates the price compared to other participants. Realizing he is being baited into a financial trap, he shrieks in fury. Yet the desperate need for the gear forces him to pay the exorbitant cost to secure it. Wei Junji's face twists into a mask of pure malice, his voice trembling as he threatens Cheng Qianmo with dire consequences. The auction concludes with Cheng Qianmo securing the Soul Rhinoceros staff for 840 gold, though he briefly laments draining his current reserves. Calculations quickly soothe his nerves, as his various market manipulations have actually left him with a surplus of 2,660 gold. A manager interrupts his reflection, ushering in a group of thugs who demand an audience, leaving the pink-haired girl visibly shaken. These men mockingly inquire if he understands the influence of their master Wei, while gesturing toward the restrictions placed on his account. Cheng Qianmo dismisses the young master as a pathetic hypocrite, a retort that sends the lead thug into a fit of uncontrolled rage. The man immediately demands a deathmatch, and Cheng Qianmo accepts with a calm nod, welcoming the inevitable confrontation. Stepping out onto the street, the antagonist warns that challenging him will be the final mistake of the vagrant's life. Onlookers note that the thug is 4 levels higher and wields an epic tier weapon. Ignoring the disparity, he launches a sudden, lightning-fast assault that sends the man reeling backward with a concussive energy strike. Stunned by the unexpected force, the thug struggles to maintain his balance while his opponent presses the advantage with a crackling, electrified blade. Spectators realize with mounting dread that he is systematically shattering the man's weapon by precision targeting its durability points. As he unleashes his dazzle markmanization, the consonant staff disintegrates into shards, leaving the attacker screaming in helpless distress. Standing over the bleeding man, he delivers a final insult by insolently slapping a VIP card onto his forehead. He then produces a black card, and the surrounding crowd freezes in absolute terror as they recognize the symbol of supreme prestige and wealth. Witnessing the black card's prestige, the crowd recognizes him as the Hebei provincial champion, whispering in awe of his SS rank potential and the powerful background they assume he hides. Luo Jingjing confronts him for keeping such a status symbol secret, but he admits he withheld the truth specifically to bait Wei Junji into his trap. After calming her, he suggests they find a more private spot to avoid drawing further unwanted attention to their activities. The auctioneer, now thoroughly humbled, rushes over to apologize for his earlier insolence, presenting a golden chest as a token of his deep remorse. Inside, Cheng Qianmo discovers Sun and Moon Demon scales, perfect for upgrading his umbrella, and hands the man a list of other rare materials to hunt down. Noticing her troubled expression, he asks what is wrong. She coyly asks if he will miss her while they are apart before leaning in to kiss his cheek. She playfully warns him not to flirt with other girls in her absence, but he merely smiles, his mind already drifting toward his next objective. He spends 400 gold to rent a high-level alchemy lab, successfully pushing his herbalism skill to its maximum and securing vital experience for his future crafting. Soon after, he arrives at Nightfall Town, a level 25 monster nest, intending to monopolize the area once the sunset grants the local spirits a 5-fold power boost. He summons his diverse army of spirits and creatures, ordering them to scour the town and round up every monster for his night of slaughter. Directing his subordinates to keep the spirits occupied at the central plaza, he decides he will handle the final room solo. He crashes through the building and traps the shadow monsters in an energy net. He downs an excellent quality swiftness potion to boost his movement speed by 80%, ensuring he arrives at his summon's position before they fall in battle. Striking the remaining monsters with surges of blue energy, he feels satisfied to see his creatures have successfully bunched the spirits together for his final blow. He triggers a magical explosion, then uses his grappling gun to swing into the enemy horde. He triggers a quantum bomb, a high-level light attribute weapon, which decimates the surrounding creatures within a 10-meter radius in a flash of brilliance. Surges of lightning strike the dark entities, sending them plummeting through the air as he maintains his relentless assault. He expresses momentary shock at wielding such a heavy weapon on these low-level maps. Yet he acknowledges the 40% experience boost makes the effort worthwhile. As the scattered corpses gather to revive, a monstrous eye awakens in the deep darkness, signaling the start of a truly serious grind. Determined to push his growth, he declares his intent to level up while a mysterious man emerges to explain the reasons for his sudden assistance. After a grueling night of hunting, he finally reaches level 25 and carefully balances his strength stat to bring it in line with his agility. He aims to max out 2 primary attributes before hitting level 30. spending his final 4 days perfecting his leatherworking skill to reach his goal. Exhausted from mastering basic leatherworking, he hands over his finished items to the receptionist to formally claim his long-awaited upgrade. Gao Jin, the president of the Profession Association, approaches him clearly impressed by the advanced alchemy and leatherworking talents he has displayed. The president invites him to join the association, but he declines the offer immediately, showing no interest in the invitation. Gao Jin offers him the rank of representative and a 15% discount, knowing this organization did not exist in his past life. He rejects the position once more, remaining cold to the authority offered because he knows it falls short of his true ambitions. While onlookers whisper that he is being shameless, Gao Jin laments that his current offer represents the absolute limit for any dual professional. He then reveals he has already mastered more than 2 intermediate professions, prompting the stunned Gao Jin to offer him an elder position and a 20% discount. Finding the 20% discount acceptable, he realizes his casual practice of these secondary professions serves his ultimate path toward godhood quite well. The onlookers watch in disbelief as he displays a blank skill book, finally revealing that he has mastered an intermediate blacksmithing skill. A seasoned smith nearby stares in shock, struggling to comprehend how he found the time and energy to reach such a level. He remains composed, while the man guiding him expresses deep shame, openly admitting that his own blacksmithing achievements have already been surpassed. They soon arrive at the Profession Association of Thunder City, where he is officially promised an elder's emblem that will command respect from every shopkeeper he encounters. He takes a moment to inquire about the connection between the Blacksmith Association and their own, learning that the Smiths are the only group to have broken away due to their perceived superiority in the craft. President Gao wonders if he might eventually perform a miracle, though he pauses, clearly realizing the immense weight of such potential. Inside the conference room, the president introduces him to the gathered officials as the new eBay provincial champion and the newest elder of the Profession Association. The room erupts in shock, and Qin Yangchang, an alchemist elder, immediately protests the appointment, fearing a battle-focused student will turn their prestigious organization into a laughingstock. He mocks their narrow-mindedness, prompting the alchemist to challenge him to a collective exam, stipulating that he must leave if he fails, or they will accept him as an elder if he succeeds. Accepting the deal, he insists on stakes, leading Elder Kui Feng to agree that all who pose questions will offer rewards if he passes their test. He reveals he has mastered 6 secondary professions at the intermediate rank, leaving the elders in disbelief. The president dismisses his subordinates' complaints as the council falls into a tense silence, and he proposes a faster challenge. He will ask them questions, and they must answer 4 out of 7 to win. They struggle to answer his deep technical questions about metal quenching, leather quality, and rare swamp ingredients, visibly shaken by his extensive knowledge. Witnessing his all-around mastery, the elders acknowledge his victory, and Kui Feng keeps his promise by presenting him with a rare fruit of ability. The council watches in disbelief as he accepts a hoard of treasures and artifacts, each worth thousands of gold, as payment for his success. He secures the rare materials, including the meteorite iron required to upgrade his flowing light, 1,000-bladed umbrella to the 2nd stage. As he prepares to leave the Apocalypse continent for school, his transformation system upgrades to level 4, activating a new ability to turn potion effects into passive skills while boosting his Gatling gun, wide sweep, and other core combat passives. He realizes that his professional growth directly fuels his transformation system, and with his new power and gear, he readies himself for the battles to come. With his transformation system now level 4, he reviews his status panel and notes his power has climbed to level 25 with 26,021 combat power. He decides to hold off on activating his new SSS rank transformation ability, choosing instead to focus his remaining energy on refining his intermediate alchemy recipes. Stepping through a portal, he finally initiates his long-awaited return to Zhang City Academy. Arriving on campus, he finds the grounds unexpectedly swarming with an overwhelming crowd of parents and students. Despite it being the middle of summer break, the mob instantly identifies him, and students surge forward to clamor for autographs, hailing him as their ultimate idol. Caught off guard by the chaotic reception, he struggles to navigate the sudden, intense surge of student activity. Professor Liu emerges from the nearby foliage to greet him, dryly observing that the young man has finally decided to show his face. When he asks why everyone is acting so erratic, Liu laughs and explains that the academy's enrollment has surged past Hanwu-affiliated academy entirely because of his fame. Liu leads him toward the administration building, promising that the academy has prepared special gifts to honor him before his departure to the capital. He watches with an unimpressed expression as celebratory confetti cannons suddenly fire in his honor. Academy officials present him with an honorary plaque to convey their well wishes for his future. Pulling at his hair in feigned frustration, he nevertheless accepts a property certificate worth 20 million currency and a stack of plane tickets to the capital. He graciously accepts the offerings, vowing to the staff that he will never let the institution's hard-earned reputation falter while he is away. Preparing for his next journey, he wears a smirk, determined that his name will eventually resound across the entire nation of Shai. Shortly after, he arrives at the gates of Oracle University, where onlookers immediately stop to comment on his striking physique and power. Seniors, including the publicity head Hua Ningyu, quickly surround him, aggressively maneuvering to secure his contact information under the guise of orientation. He interrupts their advances to ask for registration instructions, prompting a student to pull him away to guide him through the expansive campus. Other students watch with visible jealousy, complaining about Ningyu's status and lamenting that such a handsome new student is being monopolized so quickly. His guide explains the university's structure, noting that students graduate at level 30, with class years assigned by level, starting at the first year for those between levels 15 and 25. Hua Ningyu leads him to the assignment machine, where his registration as a level 25 vagrant earns him a private suite in the prestigious Area Z. Onlookers whisper in disbelief that a freshman has already hit level 25, while she eagerly offers to escort him to his new dormitory. He politely turns down the gesture, preferring the independence of navigating the campus on his own. While wandering, he spots an elderly man practicing an intricate martial technique, noting the subtle tremors that betray a chronic hidden illness. The elder stops to interrogate him about his university status and room number, his eyes narrowing with intrigue upon hearing he has been assigned to room 001. Dismissing the stranger as a senile eccentric, Chung Qianmo walks away, unaware that the man is quietly observing his every move. A caretaker soon arrives to scold the elder into taking his medication, just as the student body begins to crowd the Hall of Secret Realms for the upcoming entrance trials. High-ranking officials murmur amongst themselves, dismissing the newcomer entirely because they still view the vagrant class as a dead end. He Shuji, a top-tier Swiftmaster, steps forward to confront him, openly declaring his intent to crush the vagrant's ego during the trial. Zhang Chaomu asks if his opponent is even worth the effort of a fight. With the difficulty threshold now spiked to include level 30 to 40 zones, he prepares to exploit these high-level secrets to blitz through the graveyard stage. As students gather before the digital leaderboard, examiners in a secure room observe the Death Monastery's secret realm, noting that the provincial champion He Chu-ji currently holds second place after 24 minutes of progress. They watch in disbelief as Chun Kanmo surges into the top spot, having cleared the initial phase of the exam in just 25 minutes. Panic erupts among the faculty when the system tracking his path shows he has breached the restricted military weapon vault, a direct violation of standard exam protocols. Fearing the university might be held liable for any injury he sustains, officials move to terminate his exam. But Zhang Lei urges them to consult President Ling Xiao first. Inside the vault, Chang Chanmo faces a swarm of level 30 warrior-type crusaders, but he refuses to fail and instead prepares a high-risk plan to wipe the room in one go. He gathers the available explosives, offers a mocking greeting to the surrounding monsters, and deploys an ice wall to funnel the horde into a single compact killing zone. With the enemies trapped, he detonates the stash and triggers an ice block, shielding himself from the resulting blast for 10 seconds of absolute safety. Meanwhile, Lei Junji reports the breach to President Ling Xiao, only to find that the leader is already tracking the student's progress. Dismissing the rigid rules, the president reveals he personally granted Zheng Kanmo an invulnerability privilege, ensuring the boy remains safe regardless of the outcome. Back in the vault, Zheng Qianmo clears the remaining mobs in 8 minutes and turns his focus toward the far more dangerous battle waiting behind the ornate gate. Beyond the gate, he encounters the Weapon Master Harold, a level 25 elite boss boasting 18,000 HP. Recognizing that Harold's whirlwind is a continuous CC immune assault he cannot fully deflect, he braces for a grueling exchange. He launches a void sphere to open the engagement, forcing the boss onto the defensive. The blast lands for 801 crushing damage, goading Harold into a leaping strike as he demands to test his challenger's true mettle. When Harold deflects a sphere and the whirlwind subsides, he realizes he must trade blows directly since his own dodge ability remains on cooldown. He switches to his cannon, firing a precise barrage that lands critical and crushing hits to steadily erode the master's health. Harold triggers his berserk state to accelerate his whirlwind and unleash his energy. With his opponent still at half health, he relies on his remaining stock of potions to weather the furious onslaught. He executes a powerful spin kick and downs an excellent grade minor rejuvenation potion, recovering 600 HP. Despite sustaining heavy damage, he continuously chugs supplies to stay standing against the relentless weapon strikes. Finally, he slams the ground with a searing fiery attack, annihilating Harold in a decisive blow. Exhausted and left with only 1500 HP, he feels the invulnerability privilege granted by President Ling kick in, shielding his body from further harm. University officials watch in stunned silence as he clears the military weapon vault in 53 minutes and 49 seconds, making the safety measure appear entirely unnecessary. A nervous official whispers about a mysterious incident from a decade ago as they track his rapid progress. The observers realize that the president's personal acknowledgement will fundamentally elevate his standing within the university hierarchy. As he enters the chapel to challenge the level 40 zone, the staff makes an unprecedented exception to activate the full secret realm monitoring system. They watch intently from afar as he pushes open the cathedral doors, desperate to witness how he handles the final boss. Inside the cathedral, he spots the hooded figures of the final bosses, Scarlet Commander Migraine and High Priestess Wiseman. He shifts into his phantom form, gliding past the armored guards as he works to trigger the hidden mechanism. He quickly tracks down the chained Fairbanks, knowing he requires the imprisoned adjutant to survive the impending double boss fight. The captive accepts his offer of vengeance in exchange for absolute loyalty, pinning all his hopes on this sudden savior. He remembers from his past life that rescuing Fairbanks is a far more strategic choice than killing him for simple loot. After applying a healing skill, he watches as the grateful man swears to serve him in the quest to dismantle the corrupt commanders. He drops his concealment to lure the Scarlet Disciples into the open. Dashing into the fray, he unleashes a Frostbrand strike that freezes the pursuers solid, asserting his control over the battle's pace. Observers watch in shock as he traps 50 high-level enemies, obliterating the entire group with a perfectly timed Void Sphere barrage. Spectators struggle to understand how he bypassed the skill's cooldown, speculating that his power stems from an exceptionally rare talent. He steps forward to confront Migraine, mocking the commander for masquerading as a servant of the Holy Light while wallowing in corruption. The fight intensifies as he unleashes a relentless combo, pinning the boss with precise strikes that leave the proctors stunned by his professional execution. He readies a medium-sized Dark Dazzle mark and detonates it to end the battle. He executes a barrage of precise hits, stacking fatal and critical strikes to overwhelm his opponent. A hooded figure emerges amidst the chaos, but he strikes down the commander, triggering a vengeful response that locks him in a magical restraint. The priestess attempts to resurrect the fallen knight, yet he interrupts her incantation with a decisive strike to hold his advantage. Stunned by his escape, the enemy watches as he utilizes the remaining seconds to summon the NPC, intent on settling their old grievances. The woman realizes he saved her benefactor and lunges in a blind rage, only to be met by his fierce, impenetrable defense. Free from the trap, he notes that this version of the adjutant is stronger than his past life counterpart, forcing him to optimize his combat tactics. Spectators watch in complete disbelief as he dominates the chapel, with officials finally hailing him as a true provincial champion. Elsewhere, a rival boasts loudly of his fast clear time, only to be met with an eerie, confusing silence from the surrounding crowd. Shock ripples through the room when the monitor reveals that he has officially set a new record in the Death Monastery. An elder marvels at his genius, while Ling Ruoxi prepares for a journey to the Apocalypse continent, urged by her family to find romance. When her grandfather presents his profile as a potential match, a flustered Ruoxi abruptly flees the room. The elder smiles, realizing her true feelings, while a warning of an imminent dungeon break looms heavily over the city. Ruoxi sulks, calling him a scoundrel, yet she quietly vows to make him pay if he ignored her while she was away. Ling Ruoxi's frustration lingers, but Kanmo remains focused as he records a Death Monastery clear time of 1 hour 40 minutes and 58 seconds. Outside the realm, a swarm of students descends upon him, debating which faculty he should join while whispering in awe at the provincial champion's abnormal strength. An official clears the path to congratulate him, formally presenting the choice between the university's 4 major faculties. Unfamiliar with the internal politics of the institution, he requests to attend trial lessons first, a proposal that leaves every faculty head scrambling to agree. Inside the cafeteria, Lin Bing tries to leverage concert tickets to impress Ningyu, though she remains visibly uninterested in his advances. She struggles to find an exit until she spots Kanmo, abandoning Lin Bing mid-sentence to approach the freshman, much to the visible jealousy of the student union official. Lin Bing watches in disbelief as Ningyu engages the junior with a warm smile, his irritation spiking because she shows none of the cold dismissal she usually reserves for others. Determined to reassert control, the disciplinary division head strides over to confront Kanmo, reprimanding the newcomer for his perceived arrogance. The rebuke ends abruptly when Qianmo slams a food tray into his face, dodging a clumsy counterattack before delivering a swift, forceful kick that leaves the humiliated official sprawled on the floor. Shortly after, Gan Yangwei, a level 58 Third Awakening expert, begins his lecture for the incoming class, secretly fuming that he was forced to supervise a mere observer. Chung Qianmo scoffs, openly dismissing the lecture as a collection of outdated conservative methods that stifle any real student creativity. He refuses to waste another second in the hall, flatly asserting that no one at the university possesses the depth to teach him anything of value. When Gan Yangwei demands an explanation for the blatant disrespect, the student merely turns his back, ignoring the teacher until a mysterious figure suddenly manifests. Challenged to justify his arrogance, Cheng Qianmo mocks the instructor for clinging to ancient dogmas that lead his students toward failure. Two men intervene to demand a formal apology, while members of the disciplinary division swarm the room, intent on detaining him for his perceived insults. The antagonist vows to make him suffer for the outburst, while Gan Yangwei uses the tense standoff to issue a stern warning to the rest of the class. Walking toward the exit, Chung Qianmo labels the entire university pathetic, a declaration that forces Gan Yangwei to demand a direct, public refutation. The teacher aggressively challenges him to prove his claims, promising to hand in his resignation on the spot if the student can expose a single flaw in his curriculum. Without hesitation, Chung Qianmo scribbles a complex derivation on the wall, leaving the students paralyzed as they realize his formula perfectly maps a decline in their combat benefits. He continues to dismantle the teacher's flawed logic regarding critical rates, urging his peers to abandon useless theory in favor of practical, field-tested knowledge. Reeling in absolute disbelief, Gan Yangwei stares at the wall while the student union suddenly pivots, moving to detain Lim Bing for his earlier unauthorized assault on the champion. As rumors of the disciplinary head's dismissal and the teacher's humiliating resignation sweep the campus, Chung Qianmo's reputation for dominating every faculty is firmly cemented. Rumors swirl that President Ling is urgently requesting a meeting with him, having finally silenced the stubborn elders who previously opposed his rise. Walking with a companion, he notes that the university staff should finally cease their interference, a sentiment echoed by the man with the eye patch who reveals that Ling had long intended to purge those dissenters. When the woman identifies herself as Ling Ruoxi, he is startled to find they share a surname with the president, though he remains unsure if it is anything more than a coincidence. Smiling as his fortune holds, he watches the elder release a powerful golden aura that leaves all nearby observers rooted to the spot. Bathed in a swirling purple glow, the elder acknowledges that the younger generation has finally begun to surpass their predecessors. He reveals he has kept track of the recent sweep through the 4 faculties, extending a direct offer for him to become the lead instructor of the university's most unique class. He accepts the challenge but insists on holding full, unrestricted authority over the class as the price for his leadership. Agreeing to the terms, the elder promises an imperial sword as compensation for the difficult task, leaving him breathless with anticipation. When asked for his requirements, he displays restraint, requesting nothing more than a selection of precious intermediate alchemy blueprints. Impressed by such lack of greed, the elder grants him 100,000 contribution points to spend freely at the university museum. A sudden phone call from Huang Tian interrupts the moment, and with the elder's nod of permission, he steps aside to answer. Huang Tian boasts about hitting level 30 and demands he act as an external helper for his upcoming awakening mission. Although the request is audacious, he agrees to assist, telling Huang to send a location while disregarding the social complications of crossing university lines. He laments that the world refuses to grant him a quiet life, but when questioned about his success rate as a level 25 helper, he claims a confident 100%. Shifting his focus, he prepares to shop for his level 4 transformation slot before making the journey to Blue Sky University. At the museum, the staff stares in disbelief when his ID confirms he holds 100,000 contribution points, granting him immediate, full access. Bystanders watch in jealous shock as he steps onto the 3rd floor of the museum to browse the restricted inventory. Frustration turns to surprise when he uncovers 4 epic tier blueprints hidden within the alchemy section, finally securing the tools he needs to advance his path toward the Sword God. Selecting the Purification Blueprint, he calculates that its ability to negate boss debuffs will be essential for his survival in the game's late stages. He commands the system to transform the document, successfully acquiring the Purification passive that clears status ailments every 3 minutes. This periodic buff acts as a game changer, allowing him to ignore the most dangerous status effects from monsters as he pushes toward becoming a Sword God. Intent on claiming further wealth, he arrives at Blue Sky University to observe their institutional standards and locate Huang Tian. Ignoring a rude, hooded contact who complains about his lack of greeting, he focuses instead on the public arena established within the campus grounds. In the center, a student publicizes his 11th consecutive victory, betting 600 Blue Star coins to bait new challengers. He notes how the university promotes growth through competition and watches Lao Xinwei confront the host for cheating juniors. The challenger escalates the conflict by raising the bet to 6 million coins, forcing the arena host to defend his position to fund his own second awakening mission. As the crowd whispers about Xinwei's wealthy background and unfair tactics, he decides to study the match to gauge the university's combat quality. The duel turns fierce, with Dabao struggling to deflect the ferocious, drug-enhanced assault unleashed by his opponent. Sensing defeat, the desperate Xinwei resorts to dirty tactics, pulling out an iron grenade to stun the host. The resulting explosion leaves the host defeated, allowing the victor to mock his victim while the crowd watches in disgust. Xinwei claims the 4 million coins and declares himself the new arena host, daring anyone in the vicinity to challenge him. He laughs at the display, prompting a nearby student to aggressively confront him for mocking the university and its traditions. He dismisses the student's hostility, asserting that the university's open day grants him every right to laugh. Enraged by such blatant arrogance, the student lunges forward and demands a trial by combat in the arena. Chen Qianmo immediately escalates the stakes, wagering 6 million coins alongside a 20 million value property deed. Onlookers gasp at the level 25 vagrant's immense wealth, but the student greedily accepts, blinded by the potential payout. He vanishes and reappears to strike, leaving his opponent broken and bleeding. A sudden, unsettling chill washes over him as he senses a familiar, lingering presence from his past life watching from the shadows. A messenger rushes to Professor Liao to report that his son, Xinwei, was defeated in the ring. The professor erupts in a blind fury, his voice booming across the campus as he demands the name of the one who dared strike his child. Unbothered by the growing commotion, Chen Qianmo remains fixated on his objective, calculating exactly how to drain his opponent of every last credit. The crowd watches in stunned silence as he looms over the defeated youth, his gaze cold and unrelenting while he demands his winnings. Xinwei begs for mercy, hoping his father's status will buy him time to pay his debt. He mocks the professor's name with a sharp laugh, drawing furious shouts from the students who threaten him with the teacher's imminent arrival. Standing his ground, he stares down the jeering mob and dares any other challenger to step into the arena and face him. As the prize pool surges to 41 million, Gongfei leaps forward, staking 3 million to test his luck against the newcomer. The spectators roar for the senior, but their cheers die instantly as he is slammed into the stone floor with overwhelming force. The air turns heavy as the professor finally arrives at the scene, his eyes locking on to the carnage as the gravity of the standoff takes hold. Liao Guangyuan bellows for the boy to release his son at once, his aura flaring with the intent to crush the interloper. Refusing to back down, he maintains his grip on the hostage, declaring that not a single soul will be released until the debt is paid in full. Professor Liao demands he release the hostage, but Chen Qianmo stands firm, demanding the payment he is owed for the match. When the professor offers to pay, Qianmo reminds him that the arena rules require a balance of 26 million Blue Star coins. Shocked by the 26 million coin debt, Liao writes out the transfer to settle it. Qianmo receives the cashier's check for 86 million, finally securing the release of his captive. He throws his opponent to the ground, who gasps for his father to avenge him before falling unconscious. A bearded man warns his companions to stay back as another student from Blue Sky University confronts Qianmo, demanding to know if he has come to wage war. Qianmo retorts with a sharp insult, prompting the student to lunge in a surprise attack that the vagrant meets with a smirk. Onlookers realize the professor is 20 levels above the youth, making this a breach of newbie hunting rules, so they beg Huang Tian to intervene. They demand justice for the injuries and the debt, while the crowd marvels at Qianmo's audacity. Huang Tian steps in to de-escalate the tension, claiming Qianmo is his invited guest and urging the group to let the matter drop. Frustrated that he cannot use the guest to vent his rage, the professor vows that they will meet again on different terms. Huang Tian attempts to escort his companion to the second awakening examination room, but Qianmo mocks him for being the true source of this trouble. Bystanders whisper about the level 25 vagrant while Huang Tian promises to explain the situation later. Inside the administration office, Principal Fei reviews the helper list as Yao questions why Huang Tian would invite such a low-level assistant, demanding a formal investigation. Realizing the student who harmed his son is the same one on the list, Liao plots to sabotage him. Though Director Wang defends the boy's exceptional talent, as the officials bicker, a committee member proposes a high-stakes bet. Whoever loses the wager on the student's performance must take full responsibility for their claims. Liao gleefully accepts, convinced Kenmo will fail the awakening mission and provide him the perfect opportunity to destroy his rivals. As the exam commences, officials monitor the screens with bated breath while Cheng Kenmo prepares to execute his strategy. Reaching the entrance of the Alderman Underground Palace, he confirms that retrieving the Norganon disc is sufficient for success, negating the need to clear the entire realm. He instructs Huang to maintain a 15-meter distance to avoid drawing aggro, promising that this unconventional approach is foolproof. Navigating the dark caverns, he weaves past lurking monsters to press deep into the heart of the dungeon. The elite boss Luolori soon spots the intruders, immediately commanding its minions to exterminate them. From the monitoring room, the skeptical proctors grow agitated, shocked that the pair is treating a level 25 secret realm with such blatant disregard. Suspecting the student is an Oracle University spy, the officials plot to capture him after the exam to demand an explanation for his interference. He signals Huang before activating his phantom cloak, vanishing instantly to manipulate the monster's aggro paths. The creatures lose their primary target and stall in confusion, leaving the observers stunned by his masterful control over the dungeon mechanics. Forced to admit that his execution is brilliant, the officials struggle to comprehend how he managed to disappear so cleanly. They realize that, by maintaining the perfect distance, Huang successfully dropped his threat level the moment his partner turned invisible, proving their cooperation is peerless. Checking his status, Cheng Kenmo finds he has leveled up, gained attribute points, and earned a new title. With the path now cleared, he explains that they can bypass the smaller mobs entirely and head straight for the final boss. They soon locate the chamber of the level 35 elite boss Aileronis, which houses the critical item they require. He reveals a secret method to confront the boss, leaving Huang amazed at the creator's secrets hidden within the game's design. As he taps into the power of creation, the frustrated officials watch on, unable to hear the whispers that will ultimately decide the exam's outcome. Officials demand a ban on whispering, though one proctor notes Huang Tian's strange movements with suspicion. Cheng Kenmo puzzles over how he manipulates the room's decorative mechanisms, eventually uncovering a hidden golden staff. Aileronis, the level 35 elite boss, emerges from the shadows to threaten death for those seeking the creator's secrets. Observers watch in stunned silence as Cheng Kenmo's unconventional method successfully forces the Uldamon gate open. Cheng Kenmo orders Huang Tian to fight solo to test his true strength, prompting the swordsman to ready his blade. Huang Tian executes a rapid series of roll phantom blade techniques, landing a flurry of critical hits against the boss. While teachers praise the display, Cheng Kenmo critiques his timing and suggests a more efficient skill rotation. Offended by the unsolicited advice, the officials dismiss Qianmo as an arrogant armchair expert. Ignoring their protests, Qianmo moves in to strike the monster, focusing entirely on the flow of combat. He activates the title Charm Soul Strike, creating an opening for Tian to capitalize on the vulnerability. Following the advice, Tian chains his combos into a final unsheathed slash that shatters the creature's defenses. The officials are shocked by the 20% damage increase, debating whether Qianmo is a tactical genius. One official silences the room by revealing Qianmo is the first student in Sha Country with SSS potential. Suddenly, a titan's presence erupts, impaling the creature with energy beams as the entity curses the intruders. Observers realize Tian's discoveries regarding the mechanics could simplify the exam for every candidate. Qianmo collects the Thor's fragment, the key item required to unlock the final boss gate. They enter a narrow, dangerous cave infested with giant scorpions, forcing them to fight through the swarm. Tian agrees to handle mob control, urgently calling for support before he is overwhelmed by the creatures. Cheng Kenmo reels at the mention of the Demon King just as a swarm of bats descends upon them. Li Hong shouts for help all cornered, prompting Cheng Kenmo to ready his void sphere to clear a path through the screeching mass. Seeing the swarm dissipate, Li Hong acknowledges his partner's superior damage output after watching him pin an enemy and dodge a strike with ease. In the observation room, officials lament the student's choice of Oracle University, noting that he rejected their recruitment attempts to follow his own path. Returning to the fray, Cheng Kenmo and Li Hong confront Gagarin Firehammer, a level 36 dark iron dwarf, aware that his flame Nova requires quick interrupts. Cheng Kenmo orders his partner to tank while he focuses on damage, launching a piercing spear attack against the surrounding dwarf guards. After his purification passive clears a lingering fire debuff, he strikes with a rapid combo, shocking the remaining enemies with his relentless speed. Huang Tian watches in awe as his friend dominates the room, then Cheng Kenmo taunts the dwarf by casually activating Ice Block to take a brief break. Though Li Hong accuses him of intentional provocation, the duo maintains their assault with a flurry of backflips and ripple slashes. He interrupts the boss's cast, slams him into the ground, and commands Li Hong to push his limits to finish the fight. Li Hong yells back at his partner's teasing, unaware that school administrators are watching the fight and marveling at the genius of Chung Qianmo's coaching. Chung Qianmo defends against a surprise attack, cornering his opponent. He explains that the boss's debuff is traceable by watching his arm, teasing a distracted Li Hong with the promise of teaching him new moves. The dwarf boss stares them down, and Li Hong is suddenly struck by 5 stacks of the fire damage debuff. Noticing a subtle twitch in the dwarf's shoulder, Chung Qianmo instructs his companion to fixate on the arm movement to exploit the opening. He explains that a precise 0.1 second window allows for a ripple slash to negate the incoming fire debuff entirely. The warrior braces for the strike and executes the slash, though he still struggles to avoid accumulating stacks of damage. Chung Qianmo questions the limits of his reaction time, pushing the trainee to refine his rhythm as he falters against the boss's afterimages. Observing from their monitors, the university officials debate whether it is ethical to push a student to such extreme physical limits. Exhausted, Wang Tian receives a final warning. Failing to master the debuff defense will lead to an instant death by Gagarin's hand. He lunges forward, and as he times his ripple slash perfectly, the system confirms his invincibility frame renders the fire debuff useless. Denying him a moment to celebrate, Chung Qianmo forces him to repeat the feat 10 times to ensure true mastery. Wang Tian successfully negates the flames repeatedly, finally internalizing the rhythm of this supreme defensive maneuver. Stepping into the fray, Chung Qianmo unleashes his dazzle marks, striking with overwhelming force to clear the training area. Feeling his potential surge, Wang Tian realizes his strength has grown significantly, making him feel capable of handling any peer. The proctors watch with a growing unease, fearing that if they fail to recruit this duo, they will become the greatest threats to their institution. Reaching the entrance to Ashada's chamber, the pair uses their collected devices to unlock the final boss room. They review the strategy for the fight, noting the boss summons 5 statues every 10 seconds and activates them all at half health. Dismissing the need for complex tactics, Chung Qianmo insists that a forced kill through high-speed damage output is the only viable path to victory. With the strategy set, he activates his Sword Soul abilities to prepare for the onslaught. They coordinate their buffs as he realizes the Vagrant class's versatility effectively mimics having an extra team member to tank. University officials watch his progress in shock as one individual departs the scene. A mysterious blue creature suddenly appears, leaving him exhausted after a brief, intense confrontation. The pair shifts into their combat roles, with him ordering his ally to focus on damage and dodging area attacks while he stacks vulnerability debuffs. Launching a synchronized assault, they strike the creature with powerful magical blasts. The entity Ashada emerges, claiming to be the god of creation and demanding to know who dares to disturb him. He orders his allies to delay the revived statues, emphasizing that stacking vulnerability is the only way for a vagrant to force a quick kill. As the battle intensifies against the winged monster, progress feels slow, but he encourages his teammate that their damage output will scale. He unleashes his dazzle marks, triggering a flurry of fatal attacks that rapidly amplify their damage and speed. His teammate praises him as the best support in the country, and he commands them to maintain the pressure. He activates a potent ability to summon his own forces just as Ashada's HP drops below 50%, reviving all the statues. Observers panic, doubting that a single person can handle the influx of mobs alongside the boss. A malicious rival watches from the shadows, plotting his own comeback as the chaos unfolds. He remains focused, attacking the dark entity with a series of fatal strikes. A titan descends, warning that his race will bring judgment upon the humans for their interference. Shattering the environment with his power, he prompts a taunt from his companion about his penchant for creating chaos. Elsewhere, leadership at Oracle University convenes, declaring that their institution's status is set to rise. An authority figure instructs 2 men to resolve their dispute privately, noting that the final outcome has already been decided. The official kneels before the principal, begging for mercy and offering to accept a demotion and salary suspension for underestimating him. Ignoring the plea, the principal questions the official about a separate incident that occurred at the fighting ring 2 hours prior. Liao Guangyuan pales as he realizes his interference with Chung Qianmo has reached the principal's ears, signaling the end of his career. He pleads for mercy, claiming he acted solely out of love for his child, but the principal stares at him with icy indifference. The principal exposes the professor's abuse of power to settle personal grudges, demanding his immediate resignation by tomorrow. Desperate cries for forgiveness go unheeded as the principal signals his subordinates to remove the disgraced man from the office. Instability ripples through the academy, leaving Chung Qianmo to ponder the consequences of the sudden political fallout. System alerts confirm that both he and Huang Tian have cleared the Uldaman secret realm, with Chung Kanmo triggering his hidden class feature to secure an SS rank rating. The experience boost brings him to level 27, leading him to consider offering professional services. He allocates his new attribute points into strength, pushing his combat power toward 30,000 to shatter his previous limitations. Inside his diamond chest, he discovers the Venomous Shoulders, a rare gear set that grants him an essential AoE crowd control ability. This new acquisition inspires a combat strategy focused on luring mobs into traps before finishing them with a single decisive strike. Huang Tian grumbles with frustration, lamenting that his companion keeps finding Second Awakening gear while he remains empty-handed. He asks to join forces permanently after graduation, but Chung Kanmo remains cryptic, refusing to reveal his plans until after his own Second Awakening. News of their record-breaking results spreads like wildfire, and an acquaintance remarks on the startling increase in his power. Representatives from Blue Sky University approach him, promising to meet any demand if he chooses to abandon Oracle University. He offers a firm refusal, guaranteeing that as long as they keep their distance, there will be no further conflict between the schools. Impressed by his resolve, the officials propose a new partnership that might prove mutually beneficial. Whispers circulate that Chung Kanmo has accepted a role as an interim teacher at Blue Sky, tasked with guiding students through the Uldaman secret realm. Berserker Lu Kuai arrives to deliver the requested Space Cicada spirit, eager to begin his Second Awakening exam under Chung Kanmo's tutelage. Accepting the first-rate Space Cicada spirit, he resolves to leave for the Second Awakening exam immediately, confident his preparations are sufficient. Lu Kui asks if Chung Kanmo needs to prepare elixirs, but Chung Kanmo scoffs. "Do you doubt me? Take it back then," forcing Lu Kui to apologize for his concern. Whispers ripple through the crowd regarding Lu Kui's previous failures and limited talent, but Chung Kanmo urges him to ignore the noise and place his full trust in the strategy. Even as Lu Kui frets over the notoriously treacherous Demon Soul Mountain, he is reassured by his mentor's promise to carry the entire trial without incident. They tear through the first two bosses in under 30 minutes, leaving the gathered witnesses stunned by such unprecedented efficiency. As he relentlessly batters the final boss, Demon Dragon Zat, onlookers watch in regret, realizing they should have begged for his tutelage sooner rather than wasting their own time. The system grants him an SS rank for the record-breaking clear, which his unique class immediately elevates to an SSS rank, rewarding him with a Starlight treasure chest. Deciding to hoard his spoils, he saves the chest for a mass opening, while the surrounding students stare in awe at his ability to make even a weakling like Lu Kui look like a master. While he pivots to gathering rare materials, a desperate line of students forms, all clamoring for a turn at his training services after witnessing his lethal combat prowess. As a student expresses deep gratitude to Chung Kanmo for helping him, Chung Kanmo remains unmoved, brushing off the student's tearful gratitude as nothing more than the conclusion of a paid contract. Returning to his office, he finds his workspace overrun by a chaotic mob and piles of hot pot, forcing him to bark a sharp demand for order. The tension spikes when a luxury limousine from Blue Sky University pulls onto campus, triggering fears among the students that a retaliatory strike is imminent. Director Chen admits he was given no prior notice of the arrival, leaving the staff terrified that the students' recent actions have sparked a full-scale conflict with the rival academy. As a mysterious figure steps from the vehicle, Chung Kanmo walks in to brief the director, bracing himself for a tense and inevitable confrontation. Stepping out of the luxurious vehicle, he leaves the crowd buzzing with rumors of a potential defection to their rival academy. He nonchalantly introduces his companion as a Blue Sky representative, here to propose a high-level collaboration with Principal Ling. The visitor he praises upon him, urging the Oracle staff to treasure their student given his truly exceptional recent performance. Onlookers remain stunned, frantically whispering among themselves to figure out what major incident could have warranted such formal attention. This representative reveals that he successfully guided 28 students to promotion in just 10 days, prompting a formal partnership between the two institutions. To cement this alliance, the guest announces his appointment as a guest professor at Blue Sky, a move that makes Oracle leadership immediately suspicious of a poaching attempt. Though he initially hesitates due to his packed schedule, he accepts the nominal role once they promise him a standard professor's salary. Securing this connection is vital for his future plans, as he intends to recruit these contacts once he establishes his own guild. Before departing for the Apocalypse continent to grind for his Second Awakening, he focuses on finalizing his teaching materials. His mentor commends his rapid growth as he confirms reaching level 29, placing him on track for the upcoming University Grand Tournament. This annual ranking competition divides participants into categories based on their level of awakening, serving as the ultimate stage for elite students. Seeing this as his golden opportunity to gain national fame and mark his presence across country Sha, he begins preparing to unleash his full power. His phone pings with a message from Ling Ruoxi, who expresses her frustration over his continued absence while she pushes through Red Ridge Mountain. Noting her rapid progress, he correctly guesses she has triggered a hidden mission, a deduction that leaves her genuinely impressed by his insight. She mentions her forced blind date, but after he wishes her well, she decides to attend just despite him. Sensing her psychological games, he decides to play along while inwardly planning to track down her grandfather later. She stubbornly refuses to entertain the idea of a suitor, while he laughs, realizing that teasing her was the only way to expose her true feelings. Leaving her, he arrives at a meeting with a mysterious host, immediately demanding to know if the materials for his umbrella have been gathered. The subordinate confirms he has secured 4 of the 12 items, including the rare Shadow Moon Holy Flame, desperate to prove his worth to his lord. Although shocked by the acquisition of such a rare flame, he still expresses disappointment at the slow progress of the collection. Terrified of his potential wrath, the manager hides the fact that he spent over 2,000 gold coins and offers a 20% discount on the remaining price to appease him. Accepting the goods, he promises a recommendation to his superiors, leaving the subordinate visibly relieved as he hurries to his next task. He resolves to visit another location before hunting for the yin-yang holy silk, unaware that a vengeful rival is watching, determined to make him pay for past grievances. Arriving at a stable outside the city, he locates a hidden cellar entrance leading to a Dark Brotherhood branch, intent on obtaining an assassin token. Securing an assassin mask is his only way to operate freely and conceal his level, as he cannot afford to expose his true status. Pushing into the stone arena where masked figures congregate, he fixes his focus on climbing the ranks of this lethal organization. He approaches the counter to formally request membership, completely ignoring the jeers of the surrounding crowd. Though other applicants mock him as a low-level vagrant, the masked official ignores them, simply directing him to the 3rd basement level after collecting his 100 gold fee. He vows to make them regret their arrogance as he enters the hall and watches others fail the examination. Whispers ripple through the room regarding Ah Quan, a rare Che-ranked assassin closing in on the Ju Wei rank. Ah Quan turns to confront the gossiping men, demanding they back up their words with proof of their combat capabilities. Forcing them to undergo an immediate assessment, she threatens imprisonment should their battle power fail to exceed 20,000. The men crumble under the scrutiny, their power readings falling well short of the required threshold. Dismissing them as worthless, Ah Quan orders the guards to drag the failures to the water prison despite their frantic pleas for mercy. She leaps away, warning Cheng Tianmo. The Brotherhood doesn't accept vagrants, but he dismisses her. Don't waste my time. Unfazed, he reveals his true battle power of 30,058. Leaving the assassin stunned by the sheer magnitude of his strength. He demands his qualification for the trial, prompting Ah Quan to outline the 4 stages while sternly warning that any failure will cost him levels. Finding this reality far more exhilarating than his previous life, Cheng Kenmo watches as she confers with a colleague about his unprecedented results. Stepping into an independent trial space, he finds the system has banned all elixirs, forcing him to rely entirely on his own mastery. He notes that the stages are designed to test core attributes and readies his equipment to face the first trial of raw strength. He summons his blood sword to shatter the wave with 1 slash, earning an A+ rating. He warns the other candidates they are forbidden from leaving the room without his permission, then turns his attention to navigating the magical portals. Though the system offers a choice between the next stage or the lounge for recovery, he decides to clear all 4 stages immediately to maximize his final rating. A brief moment of rest precedes his entry into the portal, leaving the observers stunned when the display confirms he achieved another A+ rating. Ah Quan admits her own test rating was only a B+, triggering widespread disbelief among peers who assume such a score requires a level near 40. Watching from the shadows, a mysterious woman notes that if he secures 2 A-rank results, he is exactly the partner she needs. The agility stage begins on a 1,000-meter snowy peak where shortcuts are strictly banned, forcing him to rely entirely on raw speed to outrun an incoming avalanche. Consuming an agility elixir to boost his movement as the countdown hits 0, he lunges forward to gain critical distance before the mountainside collapses. He casts an ice wall to survive the impact, knowing, the ice wall can only hold for 2 seconds, I need to move. He dives into a steep freefall to outrun the slide. Finally reaching a snowless region where he lands with confidence, his speed remaining unmatched. The system grants him another A+ rating along with the title One Who Overcame Adversity and a permanent stat boost, though he remains skeptical of anything higher than A+ exists. With a confident smile, He prepares to face whatever challenge follows as a new portal to the next stage manifests before him. Watching the training stage, observers gasp at his consistent A+ ratings in strength and agility, while the red-haired woman smirks, convinced he is the candidate she has spent months seeking. Entering the lava cave, he immediately feels his health drain as the intense heat begins to overwhelm him. With only 3980 HP, he knows the 2,000-meter trek is impossible to survive, even with elixirs. Pausing to calculate, he realizes the burning stacks only accumulate upon direct contact with the molten ground, forcing him to devise a way to traverse the tunnel without touching the floor. Leaping through a fiery blast, he discovers he remains immune to the heat while airborne, confirming that staying off the ground is the secret to survival. He activates his Voyage Boots sprint and downs an agility elixir to push his jump distance to the limit, dashing across the volcanic terrain until his speed leaves after images. Lunging forward, he monitors his health as he sustains only minor burning stacks, successfully covering 600 meters in a single, explosive leap. When the environment strikes back, he conjures an ice wall with his flowing light, thousand-bladed umbrella, sliding across the melting surface to navigate the crystal-filled firestorm. Switching his weapon to gun form, he fires a howitzer blast and deploys his Tempester mech to clear the path ahead. After ensnaring an obstacle with Heaven's Net to stabilize his landing, he checks his status and finds he has lost only 200 HP during the entire maneuver. A system notification abruptly announces he has passed the physique stage with an unprecedented A++ rating, a score he finds absurdly high. Elsewhere, a woman tries to reassure her associate, but their conversation is cut short when a mysterious red portal flares to life. They discuss his current status as a level 29 vagrant with 30 Val 58 battle power, leaving the red-haired woman stunned as she realizes his consistent top-tier ratings make her own past performance look like trash. An observer suggests reporting this monster to their superiors to secure a Chai rank rating, but she refuses. Having waited 6 months for a quality recruit, she will not let him be snatched away. Following a tense standoff, the associate reluctantly agrees to keep the discovery quiet and retreats from the room. He stands in the chamber, thinking. Judging by the exterior, this place is likely a test of spirit or wisdom. Stepping into a shifting library maze, he deduces the final trial tests spirit and wisdom, requiring him to focus his energy to sense the correct path before his stamina drains. He reaches out to locate the exit but encounters intense resistance, realizing the stage demands a high spirit attribute that leaves him struggling with sudden mental fatigue. Sensing his spirit stat as a blank slate, he bypasses the maze's rigid rules by activating his phantom cloak, allowing him to phase through the solid bookshelves. Treating the walls as mere terrain, he glides to the exit to achieve an unprecedented A++ rating, which grants him 1.6 million experience and pushes him to level 30. With his 5th Chi rank secured, he shifts his focus to his second awakening mission, knowing he must now locate the Yin-Yang Holy Silk to advance his progression. A system notification alerts him to a special mission. He must clear an intermediate secret realm solo with an SSS rank to unlock the Soulbinder class. Outside the testing chamber, onlookers stare in disbelief at his final score, prompting the red-haired woman to order the immediate detention of all remaining witnesses to protect his secrets. Aquan directs her subordinates to compensate the crowd for their silence, then turns to congratulate him, though he brushes off her praise with characteristic modesty. Suspicious of her sudden shift in demeanor, he decides to play along and follow her lead, confident that his current strength is more than enough to escape as she turns hostile. She hands him a 5th Chi rank assassin uniform, confidently predicting that his talent will carry him to the prestigious 4th Ju rank within 2 years. Internally mocking her cryptic circular way of speaking, he turns to leave, but she firmly commands him to remain where he is. She asks for one final favor, stressing that the information must remain a secret given his exceptional talent, but he only pretends to agree to exploit her hidden agenda. Determined to break her spirit for the manipulation, he listens as she reveals a hidden altar inside a cave, correctly deducing that a level restriction is the only reason she cannot access it herself. She warns of a demonic beast guarding the site, yet he identifies the location as Drifting Cloud Stream and realizes she lied about both the creature's level and the altar's cooldown to keep the prize for herself. Deciding to match her ruthlessness, he feigns trust and accepts the mission, fully confident he can handle the level 35 beast waiting inside. They reach the stream, where she guards the entrance to the waterfall, and he tells her, "Don't worry, no one will disturb you." He feigns nervousness about the beast's strength to lower her guard, prompting her to offer an Ozra Pearl that boosts his HP by 3,000s. She warns him the item has limited uses, but he promises to complete the mission while internally noting that an assassin of her caliber must be wealthy enough to carry such gear. Ignoring her threat of punishment should he fail, he excuses himself and moves toward the cave, determined to claim the altar's power for his own gain. Once out of sight, he activates the altar early and dons a leper mask to disguise himself as a gnome, adjusting his stature to facilitate the infiltration. He approaches the rock rat, saying, "Hello, I'm a leper gnome, a creature of the apocalypse continent just like you." The rat accepts the offering, allowing him to slip past toward the altar while the creature remains occupied with its meal. Reaching the ancient chained pillar, he prepares to unlock a second awakening skill, vowing to eliminate every obstacle in his path toward becoming the sword god. He triggers an explosion, but realizing the cost, he thinks, "When my system upgrades, I must transform this into a passive skill." Outside, Aquan monitors the portal with growing frustration, unable to fathom how the boy has survived half a day against a level 40 beast. After a brief rest, Chung Qianmo approaches the giant rock rat to inquire if it is the guardian responsible for maintaining the external seal. Observing that the altar has been drained of its power, he watches the creature scurry away, realizing the energy source is currently spent. The woman outside suddenly detects a violent commotion from within, confirming that a desperate battle has finally erupted. She exhales in relief, convinced that the boy's lingering caution will inevitably improve his odds of surviving the encounter. Zhang Qianmo quickly invites the starving rock rat to join his cause, warning the beast that a level 45 awakened human is actively hunting them both. He begins to coordinate an escape route, but is forced to pivot instantly when the rat unexpectedly lunges with intent to devour him. As the creature continues its frenzied rampage, a mysterious observer scorns the man for his failure to swiftly dispatch the level 40 monster. Reaching the waterfall, he notices the entrance seal has lifted and dives toward the cliffside to facilitate his daring escape. He offers a nod to the rock rat for their brief teamwork, instructing the creature to reactivate the seal now that his antagonist has breached the cave. Furious to find her ancient altar plundered, Aquan suspects the gnome's involvement but assumes he must have perished given his sudden disappearance. She wonders how a gnome could have manifested in the chamber, yet ultimately abandons her search, resolving to return when the seal naturally recovers in 3 months. Pondering his next move, Chung Qianmo channels his remaining energy to conjure a barrier, blocking an incoming strike as he lunges toward safety. Trapped inside the cave, the woman in black panics as the seal suddenly reappears, realizing the entire sequence was a calculated trap designed to leave her stranded. Outside, Cheng Qianmo approaches the giant rock rat, mocking the creature while explaining his presence and his peculiar gnome attire. He brandishes a glowing item to hold the beast at sword point, taunting it to gauge whether his sudden appearance caused it any alarm. Offering the creature a chance to survive, he promises to make this encounter an unforgettable experience for his new companion. He soon rides the rock rat across the desert, urging the beast to accelerate by promising it more food for dinner. Having reached level 30, he has unlocked the beast taming skill, allowing him to utilize the creature as a mount to boost his travel speed by 150%. His sights are set on Spider Canyon to hunt the level 40 flaming spider girl Quelug, desperate to secure the yin-yang holy silk required to fuel his Tunt awakening. Bystanders watch in shock as he dashes past on his rock-covered mount, stunned that such a flashy traveler is only level 30, leaving the beast behind at the narrow canyon entrance. He orders it to wait while he ventures into the hunt alone. The mysterious attacker observes the rogue's outstanding evasion skills and begins considering ways to recruit him. Forced to maneuver through explosive area of effect attacks, he finds the level gap against the monster too significant to overcome easily. After a golden energy slash cuts through the air, the two fighters finally recognize each other. The student, Ding Hong, explains that he survived only because Cheng Qianmo let him scavenge resources back in Thunder City, which provided the funds for his tuition. Brushing off the gratitude, Chung Qianmo orders him to step aside, noting that his current level is far too low to survive the coming fight. He unleashes a series of combat skills, including Dragon Fang, leaving Ming Kao shocked that someone only one level higher can possess such overwhelming strength. As Ming Kao wonders if he is witnessing superior rogue techniques, Cheng Qianmo uses air jump to reposition for the final strike. Descending from the air, he strikes the target with a powerful, burning blast that forces a scream of agony from the beast. He follows with a swift bandit cut, prompting his stunned observer to question if he is truly a mere vagrant rather than a seasoned rogue expert. After paralyzing the monster, he triggers Dazzle Mark Suppression to deal 12,630 critical damage, leaving his companion reeling at such concentrated strength. Noting that this suppression technique is ideal for instant damage, he secures the yin-yang holy silk from the carcass. the rogue student approaches, begging to become his disciple, while revealing that his own SS rank talent helped him secure a spot at Cloud Hegemon University. He credits his leveling speed to a rare spirit energy pearl, explaining he found this equipment recently. Accepting the student's request, he tells him to seek him out after the second awakening before settling down to rest. Upon entering a portal, he is intercepted by a man who claims that President Zhang Xiaoyuan has requested his immediate presence. Inside the office, the president of the Capital's Management Association formally introduces himself to the young prodigy. Xiaoyuan gives him an item from Elder Qin, intended for use only after his second awakening, leaving him to wonder if the man is secretly targeting his ring. Taking the sealed box, he immediately returns to Oracle University to request that his second awakening exam be conducted without a live broadcast. Director Zhang Lei agrees to keep the procedure private, ensuring that not even the faculty can witness the special requirements of his awakening. He informs the official that he intends to solo the second awakening exam, insisting that his unique path as a vagrant requires total isolation. He steps toward the gateway, preparing for the trial that will lead him to become the Sword God. At the academy, a subordinate notifies Principal Ling that the youth has officially commenced the test, drawing a knowing smile from the elderly man. The official confirms that he has strictly enforced the request to black out all monitoring, ensuring not even the faculty can glimpse the proceedings. While he remains vigilant against the unseen eyes tracking his movements, a young woman enters the room to deliver her grandfather's medication. Uncle Lei greets Xiaoxi with a playful jab before stepping aside to allow her a private moment with the elder. The old man immediately brings up the blind date he has brokered with the student currently in the exam, leaving no room for negotiation. Though she bristles at the arrangement, the matter is finalized, and she is ordered to meet him as soon as he emerges from the desert city. Deep within that arid wasteland, he prepares for his final evolution, fully aware that this secret realm holds the key to his SS rank evaluation. He consumes 2 fruits of ability, feeling his attributes skyrocket as he pushes himself closer to the power of a legendary soulbinder. Turning to his beast companion, he offers a solemn promise of freedom once he successfully clears this final grueling stage. The challenge erupts instantly, forcing him to weather debilitating curses and persistent status effects while drawing out waves of monsters. He weaves through the treacherous terrain, leaping between crumbling pillars and jagged rock walls to evade lethal strikes and break the enemy's pursuit. Amidst the chaotic swarm, he narrowly sidesteps lunging beasts, keeping his eyes locked firmly on the mission objective. He swallows a potent elixir and activates his purification skill to purge the accumulated debuffs, turning the map's layout to his tactical advantage. Though he chafes at the length of his skill cooldowns, he drives himself forward, determined to annihilate every mob to guarantee his 100-kill quota and SS rank. He tells his companion to hold the high ground while he faces Thicka the Martyr, who is arriving now. Diving headlong into a swarm of neutral scarabs, he ignores their passive nature, knowing that achieving an SSS rank evaluation requires him to purge every creature in the realm. He readies an M18 claymore to eradicate the bugs while Thicka patrols the perimeter, waiting for the perfect moment to draw the boss into the swarm's territory. With a precise trigger, the resulting blast vaporizes the insects and fells the level 36 elite boss, securing him a hard-won victory. Within the loot, he uncovers the Guardian's sword, a fake legendary blade that boasts superior stats to his own weapon and serves as half of the ancient ancestor's glory. Recognizing the potential, he realizes that merging this blade with the Retaliator's blade will allow him to temporarily invoke the power of the ancestor's glory to crush the realm's remaining threats. He signals his mount to lure the military camp's forces toward the jagged cliffs, leading a surprise raid as he charges directly into the goblin ranks. The ensuing chaos forces him into a confrontation with the Sand Devil Executioner, a level 36 elite boss, as he steers his mount into the heart of the fray. He grabs the enemy's arm and shouts for his allies to take cover before the battle begins. After the dust settles, he discovers adventurers held captive within the city. As he shatters their shackles, the freed group pledges him a reward for their lives. The monster commander orders the slaughter of the escaping slaves as a beast crashes into the city. The freed adventurers spot an encroaching horde of monsters and resolve to hold the staircase, bracing themselves for the impending clash. Zhang Chenmo agrees to assist the wounded man, but only after demanding immediate healing to ensure he reaches peak fighting form. He carves a path through the encroaching foes, privately noting that he has cleared this realm countless times and knows better than to offer genuine aid. As the monsters breach the line and drag a teammate into the darkness, the survivors beg for help, yet he waits for more enemies to fall before intervening. With the situation turning desperate, the last remaining fighter laments his inevitable demise while Chang Kenmo tracks the true source of the trap. He unleashes a barrage of staff strikes and energy blasts, obliterating the remaining monsters to rescue the final two survivors. When one of the survivors suddenly lunges with a hidden dagger, he confronts the man for his treacherous betrayal. The man recoils in total shock, allowing Zheng Qianmo to unleash Dazzle Mark suppression, proving he has already mastered every secret of the desert city. He exposes the entire group as human traitors, admitting he intentionally allowed them to exhaust their strength so they could never turn on him. Reflecting on the near-death experiences of his past, he merges his gear to finally summon the legendary ancestor's glory. This blade reveals outrageous attributes, granting him the overwhelming power required to dominate the entire battlefield. Seeking to further sharpen his new weapon, he travels to Hilltop Lake and immediately draws the attention of nearby level 39 mobs. He prepares to hone the steel, unleashing the mountainous wheel technique against the incoming pack of creatures. He triggers Ancestor's Glory, unleashing an explosion that tears through the ranks of his foes. He obliterates 24 elite mobs in seconds, reveling in the visceral power of his weapon, even as he laments that such gear remains bound to the dungeon. After watching the remains evaporate, he turns his gaze toward the water, eager to face the nine-headed serpent Gazra to cure his boredom. The level 40 boss awakens, but he mocks the demigod for barking at him, reminding the beast that he already executed its tribe's leader. Steeling himself for the final clash, he reflects on his long, arduous journey, while a mysterious goddess remains dormant in her crystal chamber nearby. He dismisses the serpent's threats as meaningless, prompting the monster to launch a vicious counterattack. He lands and uses the rural phantom blade to strike the boss with a series of critical hits. The dragon wars in agony as he executes a murderous wave and an ascent strike, engulfing the beast in explosive energy. As the wave ignores the beast's defenses to drain its life, the creature screams in despair, failing to stop his relentless assault. He considers converting his active skills to passives to manage the strain, then receives an SS rank evaluation and rewards for clearing the Zul'Farrak secret realm. Standing atop the ridge, he wonders if he will eventually master all 5th Awakening classes, aiming to one day break the void and slaughter all demons. Meanwhile, at Oracle University, Zhang frantically orders his staff to prepare for the return, fearing the principal's wrath if the reception is sloppy. Observers question Director Zhang's caution, noting that Oracle University remains a powerful force. The renowned anchor Li Weishan arrives, openly complaining about being reassigned to cover an Oracle student instead of a more prestigious interview. Reporters descend upon the academy to broadcast the graduation, openly sneering at the institution's supposed decline compared to Cloud Hegemon. While Chung Qianmo observes the familiar campus grounds as the signal goes live, Li Yushan begins her report for an audience of 200,000. Though the chat is flooded with viewers dismissing the ceremony as a tedious, irrelevant affair. Sudden chaos ripples through the stream when a fleet of luxury limousines from Blue Sky and Magic Spirit universities pulls up, leaving the crowd baffled by the unexpected presence of such elite institutions. The mystery is solved as the broadcast identifies the provincial champion Chang Qianmo, causing Ru Xueqing at Cloud Hegemon to erupt in fury over the sudden spotlight on a mere vagrant. Administrators at Cloud Hegemon quickly recall his SSS rank potential, and suspect Ling is orchestrating a publicity stunt, prompting the principal to dispatch Zhou Siwei to oversee the ceremony personally. Away from the cameras, Chung Qianmo finally breaks the seal on the mysterious gift from Qin, revealing an SS rank passive skill book that remained locked until his second awakening. He finds the burst skill and realizes Elder Qin restricted it until he was ready to wield it, quickly allocating his 20 reward points into Spirit to manage his exhaustion. He upgrades Murderous Wave to its second level to further amplify his team's critical hit potential. He then transforms his Lil Roy skill, enabling him to summon blood-absorbing bats whenever he wields a spear, effectively securing a reliable new method to sustain his health in battle. With his battle power skyrocketing to 56,532 to a staggering increase of 20,000, in just one day he stows away his remaining treasures to maintain his singular focus on the path of the Sword God. The heavy tolling of the Oracle Bell 9 times interrupts his thoughts, signaling to the entire world that he has conquered the Zul'Farrak dungeon in 63 minutes, shattering all previous records with an SS rank finish. 9 distinct tolls echo across the campus, with the elderly official explaining that the bell only sounds for results of unprecedented magnitude. This achievement marks him as the undisputed record holder for all mid-grade secret realms at Oracle, and he steps through the portal to find the courtyard packed with spectators. Seeing the large crowd, he wonders if an important event is happening today. Hidden from the public eye, a warrior prepares for an ambush while an elf nearby identifies the skeletal remains of Princess Lagertha. The crowd erupts into cheers as word spreads that he has successfully completed his second awakening, while online viewers flood the chat with reactions of shock at his rapid rise. He readies his weapon, still visibly confused by the sudden intense attention focused on him. Public excitement reaches a fever pitch, with news reports crowning him the youngest graduate in the history of the nation. Representatives from Blue Sky approach, explaining that Principal Fei sent his regards and regrets his inability to attend in person. Onlookers are stunned that a fourth awakening powerhouse would even consider attending such a trial, leaving them to question how a second awakening exam could draw such prestige. Live viewership crosses the 5 million mark, shattering all previous records for the capital TV station. The president of the main broadcast station fumes in his office, realizing his team missed the opportunity to cover this historic event. A sudden hush falls over the assembly as Principal Ling steps forward to address the gathering, confirming the significance of the event. The principal notes that the bell has officially validated the record, leaving the witnesses shaken by the sheer power of the tolling. A host explains to 10 million viewers that the bell, forged by the university's founder, measures potential. Notably, Ling himself holds the previous record of 6 rings. Director Lei grows frustrated as the public mocks his claims, struggling to convince them that the student's potential is truly beyond compare. When pressed for his official results, he confirms he secured an SSS rank in just over an hour. Skeptical onlookers struggle to process his record-breaking time, openly whispering that such a feat must have required a secret, high-level partner. Admiration ripples through the student body, while Huan Yu remains focused on her own ambitions, determined to cement her status as the school's flower representative. Far from the campus, the pink-haired girl frets over her grandfather's forced blind date, praying that the man she is meant to meet falters during his trials. She glances at her phone to catch the viral broadcast of the ceremony, only to freeze in shock as the face on the screen reveals her mystery date is none other than Mo. Back at the podium, the celebration intensifies as the speaker gestures toward the stage, formally inviting the student representative to honor the new record holder. Mo feels a wave of irritation at the display, resigned to the fact that he must endure this public spectacle to bolster the university's reputation. Ningyu glides toward him clutching a bouquet, secretly plotting a bold, public confession that will surely seize his attention and shock the entire crowd. Before she can reach him, the pink-haired girl lunges from the periphery to tackle Mo, loudly announcing to everyone that he is the man her grandfather forced upon her. As millions of online viewers erupt in chaos over the physical encounter, Mo awkwardly peels her off him, desperate to maintain some semblance of decorum for the cameras. Principal Ling suppresses a knowing smile at the sight of his future grandson-in-law, while university officials hastily move to conclude the event for the media. Once the cameras cut away, Mo teases the girl with a sharp remark, sparking a playful scuffle before she storms off, leaving him oblivious to the eyes watching him from the shadows. Nearby, a student drops her bouquet in despair, realizing her upcoming match against the elite Ling Ruoxi is a guaranteed, humiliating loss. Ignoring the surrounding chaos, Zheng Qianmo readies his bow, his mind sharpening as he focuses on his path to becoming a sword god. Top universities converge at the academy for a sudden press conference, sparking intense speculation about their true agenda while he retreats to demand total silence. Director Lei gestures for him to take a seat among the gathered bigwigs, leaving the audience to debate whether a mere student is qualified for such a position. An elder confronts the recruitment director, furious that they allowed such a talent to slip to Oracle, though the director dismisses the oversight as a mistake caused by his initial vagrant status. Suspecting Principal Ling Xiao intends to exploit him as a trump card to reclaim top university status, the elder awaits a gift from Zhou Siwei to prepare a public sabotage. Ling Xiao stuns the assembly by announcing an alliance between Oracle and Blue Sky, including a new teacher improvement department directed by Cheng Qianmo. Zhou Siwei of Cloud Hegemon interrupts to challenge the proposal's viability, shocking the crowd with his audacity in confronting the principal so directly. He demands proof of Cheng Qianmo's qualifications to lead, while council members protest the absurdity of a student instructing seasoned Third Awakening powerhouses. To settle the dispute, Siwei challenges him to face Qi Hong, the level 40 arena host. It is a blatant attempt to bully a level 30 student, yet Cheng Tianmo must accept to secure his new department's future. Accepting the challenge with a cold nod, he steps forward as the crowd erupts in murmurs over the 10-level disparity, while the organizers waste no time ushering the masses toward the arena. He reaches the ring just as Yuan Hao of the Management Association makes a grand entrance, instantly forcing the officials to account for the sudden, volatile nature of this exhibition match. Yuan Hao, acting on behalf of Elder Qin, listens with a sharp gaze as Cloud Hegemon officials attempt to frame the duel as a standard assessment, only for him to publicly endorse the new department in hopes of bringing glory to the nation. Sensing the hidden influence of the Elder working to silence his detractors, he heads toward the center of the ring while the onlookers finally comprehend the immense political weight shifting behind him. Magic Spirit University abruptly announces their commitment to the Alliance, moving to formally appoint him as their director to cement their standing in the new order. Other institutions scramble to align themselves with the winning side, while he watches the power dynamics fracture and shift, already calculating how to turn the situation to his advantage. Panicked by the growing influence of the Management Association, rival leaders issue secret orders to their fighters to crush him in the ring and derail the momentum of the Alliance. The chosen fighters realize they have been cast as sacrificial pawns, yet they grit their teeth and accept the risk, operating under the dangerous assumption that the arena is a lawless space where the victor dictates reality. Shi Hong dismisses the growing tension with a sneer, fully confident that his status as a level 40 ranger guarantees an effortless victory against a mere student. Viewership for the broadcast skyrockets to 60 million, forcing the servers to groan and flicker under the sheer weight of the global traffic. Deep down, Hong begins to regret taking the assignment, terrified of the potential fallout from the Management Association. Yet he knows there is no turning back from the fight. Chi Hong offers to swap opponents to save face, but Qianmo smiles and insists on fighting him. The spectators laugh at the audacity of a level 30 student challenging a level 40 veteran, mocking his apparent arrogance. Ignoring the jeers, Chi Hong warns him not to get ahead of himself and begins channeling his full power. An official steps forward to announce the rules, explicitly forbidding lethal blows while permitting any weapon to force a concession. Chi Hong vanishes into Silvermoon stealth to taunt his opponent, but he is met immediately by a swift, aggressive lunge. Violent shockwaves ripple through the arena as both combatants disappear from sight, leaving the crowd struggling to track their high-speed and visible maneuvers. Observing the stalemate, an official taps the barrier controls to illuminate the field, finally revealing their positions to the confused audience. Qi Hong reels in shock as his opponent tracks his every movement, only to be taunted for his merely passable speed. Zhang Qianmo uses Breaking Rush and a backstab to pin the ranger to the floor. Desperate to escape, the ranger activates Shadow Merge, but he is swiftly countered as the protagonist notes that the blood loss will betray his location. Qi Hong consumes a healing potion and generates 4 shadow clones to quintuple his damage. Desperate to end the duel in a single flurry, spectators gasp in awe as the clones surround the protagonist, forcing him to weather an onslaught of overwhelming force. With a calm flick of his wrist, Zhang Qianmo strikes the true body, explaining that his acoustic location skill renders the illusory clones entirely useless. He realizes that this combat instinct is his own unique advantage, further infuriating a desperate Qi Hong who prepares a final, lethal gambit. The ranger initiates Sonic Assault, a suicidal technique that sacrifices his own vitality for raw power, leaving the observers at the table visibly shaken. They watch in breathless anticipation, certain that this ultimate move will either decide the battle or drain the last of Qi Hong's health. As the energy ripples, panicked officials urge the principal to halt the match before Cheng faces fatal consequences. Ling moves to intervene, but Hong mocks his opponent, saying a novice cannot block his ultimate. Ignoring the taunt, Cheng executes a flawless block, his reaction speed leaving the surrounding observers paralyzed with shock. Hong dismisses the feat as a lucky accident, yet the spectators struggle to comprehend how such precise control could be humanly possible. Realizing the danger, the crowd watches as the reflected energy rebounds, causing Hong to suffer agonizing internal damage from his own forced state. With the momentum shifted, Cheng forcefully shoves his rival away, sending him crashing into the arena floor in total defeat. An official shouts for the match to end, but the victor smugly dares the opposition to send another challenger, cementing the win for Oracle. Awe fills the arena as Oracle begins its meteoric ascent, leaving the staff and Ling stunned by the sheer speed of their triumph. While officials calculate the profitable outcome of the victory, Hong's team scrambles to evacuate their fighter to the hospital to save their own careers. Cloud Hegemon leaders fear the boy is becoming a genuine calamity, but he openly welcomes further tests, promising that their next meeting will be just as decisive. Spectators marvel at how Oracle managed to secure such a monster, while rival representatives scramble to curry favor with the principal. Scuffing at these sudden opportunists, Ling demands an immediate explanation from his star student, leaving Cheng bewildered by the sudden shift in tone. politely declining a reporter's desperate request for an interview. Cheng cites his pending meeting with the principal as he exits the stage. Ignoring the reporter's shock at his dismissal, he walks past the cameras and confronts the figures waiting inside. Stepping into the principal's office, he prepares to discuss the trajectory of his future. Ling Xiao instructs Ruoxi to fetch refreshments for their guests, clearing the room for a private conference. She huffs in annoyance at the chore, though her irritation vanishes when he reacts sharply to a sudden noise at the door. The guests take no notice, instead showering the principal with praise for securing such a rare and talented recruit. He outlines his intent to depart for the Apocalypse continent, to establish his own guild, promising to balance this with his remaining academic duties. The men caution that building a guild is a grueling process requiring at least 5 members, suggesting he hold an open selection. Listing his current team, which includes Huang Tian and Ruoxi, he stuns them by revealing a recruit already pulled from Cloud Hegemon. He reassures Director Wang that he will personally train new swordmasters to offset the loss of Huang Tian to his ranks. Realizing the university's existing guilds are dangerously weak, he resolves to accelerate his deployment schedule. Ling Xiao learns that Vice Principal Fan Hanyu leads the Oracle Guild, prompting him to wonder why the principal seems so helpless. The principal warns that Hanyu is notoriously difficult to approach, having been locked in a long-standing feud with him for years. Handing over a token, the principal tells him to use it to verify his identity when he finally makes contact with the vice principal. Ruoxi returns to serve tea, prompting an abrupt end to the meeting as the guests rise to depart. Stepping out of the office, the pair is immediately intercepted by a group of ominous men blocking their path. He catches Roshi off guard with a sudden gesture, politely gesturing for her to take the lead. Flustered by his proximity, she accuses him of bullying her when she struggles to find the right words. She jealously questions him about other girls, while the nearby elders exchange knowing glances at their burgeoning intimacy. Satisfied with the day's progress, the elders dismiss the others and warn them to show proper respect before they take their leave. With the elders gone, Cheng Chenmo is left alone with his companion, finally finding a moment of reprieve. He notices she remains as stubborn as ever, then insists it is time to depart, silently swearing to make his enemies answer for the suffering they caused. Upon reaching the Apocalypse continent, he checks his messages to find Huang Tian and Li Mingkao waiting to rendezvous at the Thunder City Tavern within the hour. Ignoring her curiosity regarding these messages, he promises to introduce his partners to 2 new recruits while he focuses on securing vital information. Inside the tavern, Huang Tian laughs at his slow arrival, only to freeze in disbelief when he learns that Cheng Qianmo has already finished his second awakening. As Huang Tian excitedly demands a spar, the mood turns awkward when the group inadvertently introduces the girl as his sister-in-law. They pivot to their next objective, the Bloodfang Keep. Recognizing that the squad needs to grind levels, secure gold, and assist Ling Ruoxi with her own awakening, Cheng Qianmo notes that she was previously swindled by a merchant at the arena, deciding to combine their training with a quest for retribution. Realizing they are short on registration fees, he playfully seizes his teammates' personal funds to pad the guild's starting treasury. Lacking the capital for higher tiers, the group settles for the basic arena and resolves to infiltrate the Bloodfang Keep to sharpen their skills. Ling Ruoqi points out the very merchant who cheated her as they enter the lounge, and Cheng Chenmo recognizes the figure immediately. The man is a merchant and con man whom Cheng Qianmo recognizes from his previous investigations. Recognizing the notorious con man, Cheng Qianmo decides it is time to teach the scoundrel a lesson. He approaches Wei, inquiring about a rare elixir of invisibility, only for the merchant to swear on his reputation that the goods are authentic, promising 10-fold compensation if they prove fake. Feigning wide-eyed shock at the generous offer, Cheng lets the men believe he has found a gullible sheep ripe for the plucking. Negotiations quickly intensify as Cheng pushes for a bulk purchase, eventually driving the price down to 70 gold per bottle, while the merchant brags that the items are divine tools for any duel. His teammates watch with mounting tension, whispering among themselves about why he would waste their precious, hard-earned funds on such dubious concoctions. After relentless haggling, Cheng commits to buying 4 bottles, effectively trapping Wei into honoring the high-stakes agreement. When Cheng openly questions the merchant's integrity, Wei doubles down on his promise of a 10-fold refund, banking on the fact that the elixirs cannot be verified without being consumed. Cheng demands an immediate demonstration, challenging the merchant to drink one himself to prove the quality, forcing Wei to gamble with his own stock. A crowd begins to gather, and Wei reluctantly agrees to the test, secretly planning to swap the bottle for a fake using a hidden sleight of hand. He swallows the liquid, fully expecting to vanish before the audience, but the trick backfires because Cheng has already anticipated the deception. As Wei remains clearly visible, A wave of confusion sweeps through the onlookers, who realize the merchant has been caught in a blatant fraud. Cheng reveals he swapped the bottles during the transaction, mocking the con man for his amateur attempt at a swindle. Exposing that he knows all of Wei's illicit history, Cheng watches as his teammates finally grasp that the entire exchange was a calculated trap to extort the promised compensation. Cornered and humiliated, the merchant abandons his stall and attempts to scramble away into the crowd to avoid paying the debt. Cheng suddenly vanishes from sight, instantly closing the distance to pursue the fleeing con man with lethal, cold intent. He corners the merchant, who pleads for mercy and warns that killing him outside the arena results in imprisonment. The merchant pleads for mercy, but Chun Kanmo rejects him and demands full payment for the fraud. When a teammate warns that killing him outside the arena invites imprisonment, Chung Kienmo reveals his true plan is to bind the man to a slave contract, trapped by the threat of a 2,800 gold penalty. The merchant realizes this powerhouse is his only path to survival and reluctantly presses his mark onto the rune. Once the contract is sealed, the merchant collapses in exhaustion and begs for a warm meal to soothe his hunger. Tossing him 200 gold for his tournament entry, Chung Kenmo orders the man to secure 10 consecutive wins, a feat the onlookers consider impossible. Clutching an item, the bearded man stares at Chung Kienmo, fearing his hidden motives are exposed. Turning to his squad, Chung Kienmo commands Ling Ruoxi, Huang Tian, and Li Minghao to enter the arena challenges, promising them a grand feast if they emerge victorious. Despite their visible anxiety over the group's dwindling funds, he remains unyielding, forcing them to commit to the trial to guarantee their future. He ignores their protests regarding his own participation, offering only a smug promise to provide moral support from the sidelines. With a sharp smirk, he reminds his subordinates that they have no choice but to fight for their next meal. Watching them head toward the arena with cold amusement. Inside the ring, He Yongsheng looms over the battered Zhu Kaicheng, demanding a surrender that the silent, exhausted fighter refuses to grant. The crowd of gamblers roars for the Poison King, piling their bets onto his 15-match winning streak, as if the outcome is already decided. Ignoring the surrounding noise, Chung Qianmo places his entire 700 gold stake on the underdog, leaving the bookie stunned by the reckless wager. Spectators call the bettor a greedy amateur as he waits for the match to end. Suddenly, Zhu Kaicheng taps into his absolute will to shrug off a fatal strike, landing a decisive counterattack that topples the Poison King. The arena reacts to the upset, while Cheng Qianmo watches his winnings grow to 1470 gold. He reveals to his companions that he spotted the exhaustion in the Poison King's movements, and emboldened by the victory, he prepares to bet again. Disregarding the confused whispers of the crowd, he pushes his full 1470 gold winnings into the next round with absolute confidence. With his coffers overflowing, he focuses on his path toward the Sword God, transcending the rigid limitations of this gamified reality. The casino buzzes as onlookers marvel at his impossible winning streak. Unaware that his success is built on cold, calculated expertise, he gathers his 18,000 gold winnings and cashes out, satisfied that the tournament has served its purpose. Before departing, he pauses to listen as a teammate admits to failing in the fourth round against a superior opponent. After reviewing the battle recordings, he comforts his group, urging them to confront their flaws without losing their competitive edge. His subordinates clamor for further guidance, choosing to focus on tomorrow's growth rather than dwelling on their recent setbacks. Wei the merchant boasts of his 10 consecutive victories, leaving his companions stunned as they realize they had severely underestimated his combat prowess. Zhang Kenemo cuts through the act, exposing the pill as a blatant scam and leaving the gullible adventurers to realize they have been swindled by the merchant. He mandates a strict, modest meal for the group, ignoring the grumbling and gossip about his own secret, lavish feasting. Irritated by their petty rumors, he gathers everyone in room 301 to begin a rigorous, formal analysis of their performance. When they question how he funded their sudden luxury, he reveals he gambled to replenish their resources, immediately sparking demands for lessons. He plays back the combat recordings, forcing the team to acknowledge that Wei Shen possesses the genuine reflexes of a sword saint. Critiquing the merchant's slow reaction times, he challenges him to a spar, offering to nullify the slave contract if the merchant manages to win. The merchant accepts the wager, agreeing to shave his beard if defeated, as the group heads to a private arena to settle the score. Confident in his absolute superiority, he dismisses the room to rest, eager to prove his dominance in the coming bout. Mocking the merchant's vanity, Cheng forces him to drop the facade while mandating 2 hours of daily training for the entire team to ensure they survive the upcoming tournament. Though the group agrees, he immediately imposes a 300 gold hourly training fee, pressuring the merchant to surrender the remaining profits from the kick-the-bucket pills to clear their debts. Exhaustion sets in as the climb continues, yet Huang secures his 10th consecutive victory in the solo tournament, prompting a nod of approval from Cheng as they solidify their commitment to the path of the sword god. Watching the matches closely, Cheng notes a level 34 challenger just before Li suffers a bitter defeat in the 8th round, leaving Ling to clash with Li Wangyo in a high-stakes duel for her own 10th win. Inside the casino, onlookers watching the broadcast gift Cheng items in gratitude for his successful betting tips, though the staff grows suspicious of his 90% win rate over 56 wagers. Realizing he is systematically testing the arena's limits, the casino bosses order their specialist Shen to intervene and crush the opposition to halt Everlasting Peak's momentum. Ling knocks Li Wangyu unconscious to secure her 9th win, and having reached level 30, she credits his rigorous training for her success, while Cheng reflects on the curse of eternal hunger stalking his path. He warns that the arena officials are finally moving against them, finding it unsettling that his rivals are beginning to decipher his internal strategies through mere observation. Shen arrives to confront Ling, taunting her as a younger sister, and despite her reputation as the 100 victory queen and her superior level, Ling prepares for the bout with intense excitement. Ignoring the spectators who urge bets against her, Cheng rebukes his companions for doubting his teachings and wagers his entire 20,000 gold fortune on Ling's victory. He threatens to double his subordinates' training fees for questioning the wager, while onlookers debate whether to follow the mysterious high roller who went all in on Ruaxi. The gambler bets every coin he has, and though the odds shift as the crowd loses faith, he remains unfazed by the queen's legendary status. As the match opens, Ruoxi initiates a spear dance, but the opponent scoffs at her predictable rhythm until she deftly retracts a projectile to catch him off guard. She immediately transitions into a sky assault, pinning him in a relentless sequence of combo thrusts that leaves him no room to maneuver. When he opens fire with his pistols, Ruoxi executes a flawless 5-hit chaser combo, stunning the spectators with her sudden, precise control. She demands to know who trained him, forcing the man to create distance as he resolves to stop holding back and fight in earnest. Watching from the sidelines, Cheng observes him land a triple headshot, but he shouts for Ruoxi to focus on evading the final round to exploit an opening. She narrowly dodges the last bullet, shocking her opponent, and immediately lunges forward with a fierce, decisive spear strike. As she presses the attack, the man triggers Golden Body Enforcement, seizing 1.5 seconds of invincibility to negate the incoming flurry. Ruoxi realizes he is reacting exactly as Cheng predicted. Moments before, a violent surge of energy ripples through the arena, blasting both fighters apart. Stunned by her rapid growth, the man concedes his defeat, yet the match takes a treacherous, dishonorable turn. Shuyun ambushes the distracted Ruoxi, triggering an outcry over cheating, while Cheng watches his payout materialize. Though patrons wail over lost fortunes, he remains calm, knowing this ambush is a lesson for his student. Shoyun taunts the girl about the poison coursing through her veins, preaching the necessity of ruthlessness as Ruoxi grits her teeth and withstands the assault. Ling Roshi channels a sudden surge of power, her resolve hardening as she accepts that in this world, cruelty is the only constant. Her opponent recoils in shock, unable to fathom why the girl remains standing until the glow of an Azure Pearl's 3000 HP shield reveals her secret protection. Shen Shuyun shrieks in frustration as a relentless magical barrage forces her back, only to find herself locked in a lethal, high-speed exchange with Chen Qianmo. Seeing the tide turn, arena management hastily accepts the defeat and commands a subordinate to summon Chen Qianmo for an audience. Ling Ruoxi clinches her 10th consecutive victory, pocketing 1,000 gold and cementing the reputation of Everlasting Peak. After collecting 3,9,600 gold from his wagers, Chen Qianmo is presented with a black card by the arena in a bid to keep him playing. Nearby, gamblers erupt into a heated dispute, one man lamenting his ruined fortune while another toasts to the winnings he secured by following the prodigy. An arrogant challenger attempts to confront Chen Qianmo, but his bravado vanishes the moment Captain Cao of the Guard steps in to maintain order. The manager of Bloodfang Keep approaches with an invitation for a private discussion, dangling a 50,000 gold bonus on top of the existing winnings. Accepting the offer, Chen Qianmo follows the man, confident that his phantom cloak provides a reliable exit should the meeting turn sour. Left behind, his teammates fret over their leader's safety, though they stand ready to intervene at a moment's notice. They begin mapping out an infiltration of the upper floors, hoping to seize a high-ranking hostage to use as leverage against the arena's influence. Their progress stalls when arena staff block the path, nonchalantly informing them that their leader is already being treated as an honored guest. Inside a private chamber, the manager offers a drink, which Cheng Kenmo consumes without hesitation, indifferent to the threat of hidden toxins. The manager dismisses Shen Shuyun's ambush as mere arena ruthlessness, a transparent manipulation that Chen Shenmo instantly recognizes for what it is. Sensing the manager's true intent to sabotage rival arenas, Cheng Kenmo calls his bluff, prompting the man to drop the act and reveal his actual agenda. He accepts the proposal to dismantle rival arenas, weighing the payout against the danger of creating high-level adversaries. The manager pledges financial support and protection, setting a quota for him to secure 100,000 gold with a 70-30 split favoring the guild. When the man smugly expects compliance, he counters by demanding an equal 50-50 share, and the manager presses him to prove his worth. He produces credentials from the Profession Association and the Dark Brotherhood, leaving the manager speechless as the weight of his hidden influence sinks in. Relenting to the new terms, the manager finalizes the deal and transfers an initial 50,000 gold deposit to his account. He offers a chilling warning against any future betrayal, a display of raw confidence that leaves the manager intrigued rather than offended. The manager justifies the generous payout as a strategic investment, hoping to solidify a long-term alliance with such a dangerous talent. His teammates are bewildered that the manager treated them to hospitality and a cash bonus instead of seizing the winnings. The members of Everlasting Peak rally around their leader, affirming their resolve to handle whatever lethal assignments come their way. He instructs Ruoqi to push for her promotion and commands Minkao to secure his assassin class through the Dark Brotherhood. After handing Huang Tian and Wei Shen 10,000 gold for new equipment, he tasks them with capturing the Crown of 100 Victories. He proceeds to jokingly tally their mounting debts, prompting his teammates to grumble that he acts more like a relentless monster than a leader. With his preparations complete, he stands ready for the coming trials, his focus locked firmly on the path of the Sword God. Arriving at the Thunder City stables, he encounters a merchant who dismisses him, assuming the young man lacks the credits for a premium steed. He silences the skepticism by immediately purchasing a special-grade silver colt, a beast that boosts his travel speed by a staggering 200%. The merchant stares in disbelief as the level 30 player produces enough coin for the special-grade mount, yet Kenmo remains focused, knowing he has only half a month to gather materials and forge his weapon for the Second Awakening. He arrives at the Thunder City Profession Association shortly after, where a man greets him with a knowing smile, congratulating him on a successful Second Awakening. When Gao offers the rare smithing materials as a free sponsorship, Kianmo politely refuses the gesture, insisting on paying for his own needs. Undeterred, Gao presses a gold Bloodfang Keep VIP card into his hand as a sign of the association's support. Kianmo explains his intent to seek out Wenliang for the forging, prompting Gao to react with surprise as he notes the temperamental master is a known figure, especially given the current instability in Skypack City. Gao warns that the smith is likely embroiled in his association's internal power struggle, cautioning that this journey will drag Kianmo into the conflict, while requesting a personal recommendation should he manage to coax the master out of retirement. With the necessary materials finally secured, he sets out for the novice village and takes a moment to open his Starlight treasure chests, discovering level 30 and 40 gear that instantly makes his current equipment obsolete. He equips a level 50 magic deflector, which grants him immunity to spells from any enemy within 20 levels, significantly bolstering his defenses as he continues his trek. Stunned by the discovery of epic tier gear and a third awakening accessory, Kianmo realizes these items possess the power to push his capabilities far beyond his current stage. Upon reaching a village marketplace, he intervenes when a slanderer deliberately smashes a shopkeeper's goods, forcing the culprit to beg for mercy under the threat of having his bones shattered if he ever crosses him again. Bai Lu approaches to network, but Kianmo rejects her and the Bai Corporation, leaving her vowing to remember his dismissal. An associate warns him that she has a dangerous background, and Kianmo quickly realizes the sudden influx of experts in the village confirms that many are currently hunting for Wenliang. Bystanders gossip as he approaches the smithy, finding the shop swarmed by crowds, including Bai Lu, who is being firmly turned away by the guards. Stepping forward as the crowd clamors, he demands an audience with Zhang on behalf of the Bai Corporation, yet a guard blocks his path, insisting the master is resting. Undeterred, he hands over a scroll to be delivered, knowing this is the only way to secure the help needed for his next forging project. Nearby, a rival hopeful watches with a sneer, certain that he will be rejected just like the rest. But inside the workshop, Zhang's annoyance at the interruption vanishes the moment he reads the note and recognizes his visitor. Rushing out to meet him, the old master waves away the crowd of suitors and rival applicants as if they were mere flies. apologizing for the cold reception and explaining he was only resting to preserve his strength for their upcoming task. He urges the elder to dress properly before revealing his true purpose. He has come to forge the second stage of the flowing light. Thousand-bladed umbrella, the crucial step on his path to becoming a sword god. Zhang is visibly thrilled to see he has finally gathered all 12 main materials, though he pales when the young man begins unveiling his rare collection, including mountain ocean dragon silk and scarlet refining stone, while admitting they are still not enough for the final masterpiece. The elder exclaims that it is the blood sun heavenly flame, realizing the yin-yang holy silk only drops from Quelaag, and admits he is a monster for mastering such skills, vowing to give his absolute best after months of preparation. The smith gestures for him to begin, and he complies, his focus narrowing as his resolve to surpass all limitations intensifies. While the shop remains firmly closed to the public, a man named Du Shui attempts to bribe the staff into passing a letter to the elder, completely unaware that the master is already occupied with his most important guest. As the furnace reaches peak temperature, a surge of power from his past exploits washes over him, granting him multiple titles that bolster all his stats. He stands ready to forge, knowing this is the only way to evolve his power. A worker interrupts the forge, reporting that visitors from the Skypack City Blacksmith Association have arrived with a letter, prompting Zhang to demand the message to investigate the growing internal turmoil. Chung Kanmo instructs his assistant to stall the guests, then turns to Zhang to ask if he's in any danger, but the young man dismisses the worry to stay focused on their work. Zhang insists that he will take over the forging if the older man cannot steady his hands, reminding him that he has spent 6 grueling months preparing for this evolution of his umbrella. When Zhang Hyolmo demands to know why his student has lost his cool, Zhang points out that he is a vagrant who has never relied on others for protection. He produces his elder's emblem from the Profession Association, leaving the master smith stunned by such authority held by one so young. Zhang warns that the badge holds little weight given the current rift between their factions, but Cheng Qianmo urges him to set aside old grievances and confront his past. The elder begins to recount his years in Skypack City under his former master, the renowned Dong Hufei, during the golden age of their craft. He explains that his talent as a disciple back then brought only jealousy from Hufei rather than the pride he had once expected. During a high-stakes tournament, his master's son sabotaged his materials and framed him for plagiarism, forcing his total expulsion and subsequent retreat to this quiet village. He admits that meeting Chung Qianmo is the only thing that reignited his dying passion. Otherwise, he would have abandoned the shop long ago. Chung Qianmo proposes a path to reclaim the presidency of the Blacksmith Association, viewing it as a strategic move to bolster the influence of his own guild, Everlasting Peak. Although Zhang admires the ambition, he remains hesitant to involve himself in such dangerous political schemes at his age. Zhang Qianmo challenges him to finally shed his inner demons, arguing that his years of stagnation stem entirely from these unresolved burdens. Convinced at last, Zhang agrees to the plan, and they begin to coordinate the forging process according to the precise specifications of the blueprint. Outside the shop, a man waits impatiently for an audience, but an associate warns him to stay silent or face the consequences of disturbing a masterpiece in progress. When the visitor is blocked, he asks if it is an epic-tier masterpiece, but an explosion interrupts them and leaves everyone in silence. As the weapon's aura intensifies, Chung Keimo and Zhang celebrate the successful completion of the second stage Flowing Light Thousand-Bladed Umbrella. Standing in the silence of the night, Chung Qianmo gazes up at the stars, fully resolved to continue his journey as the master of his own destiny. This breakthrough earns Zhang a scholar-grade rank, prompting the youth to urge him to finally cast aside his lingering hesitation. Deeply moved, the smith vows to repay this debt, though he admits to a paralyzing fear of returning to the association to finalize his promotion. Their heavy conversation abruptly halts when a frantic man bursts in, delivering an urgent warning that the Du family is in grave danger. The visitor reveals that Don Hufei has tracked down the elder's location and is currently detaining his father as punishment for his defiance. Fuming at this calculated persecution, the old man prepares to lash out, but his companion insists that returning to the association is the only way to permanently settle the grievance. After a moment of reflection, Zhang agrees to the plan and introduces the newcomer to the messenger, who is relieved to hear that his father remains unharmed for the moment. Chung Qianmo resolves to join the effort, immediately shocking the visitor with his overwhelming aura as he prepares to strike against the association. Setting a firm 2-week deadline to reunite in Skypack City, the youth finalizes his preparations for the looming confrontation. Meanwhile, members of Everlasting Peak find themselves cornered by a mysterious, masked figure radiating intense, lethal intent. The stranger peels back his shroud to reveal their own companion, who has successfully completed the rigorous trial to earn an official assassin ranking. While he proudly details his new Mei rank to the stunned group, their trainer growls, demanding to know the exact whereabouts of their absent leader. Frustrated by the lack of direct guidance and promised social perks, several members begin to loudly criticize their leader's prolonged absence. A sudden, thunderous kick silences the room as the youth returns, his piercing gaze instantly locking onto the group of terrified critics. He nonchalantly explains that he was busy meeting Ling Roxy while finalizing his own Tussocan awakening, declaring the guild finally ready to shake the continent to its core. The team immediately begins their journey towards Skypack City, though they cannot help but question why he chose that destination over the much closer, magnificent city. He selects Skypack City for its strategic value, intending to both dismantle the city's corrupt arena circuit and help Zhang reclaim his rightful place at the Blacksmith Association. Deciding to shoulder the association takeover himself, he tasks his companions with handling the arena sabotage while he moves independently. Reaching the bustling mountainous arena, he leaves the group to wait in the wings while he scouts out a temporary squad. He registers their guild, Everlasting Peak, with a 500 gold entry fee, eager to demonstrate their prowess to the local elite. Scarcely have they entered before the team Triumph in the Skies intercepts them, their leader sneering at the guild's name and their perceived low standing. An official notes that climbing from Black Iron to Bronze rank requires 100 points. A gold Cheng calculates will take 10 straight victories. Ignoring warnings that the move is reckless, he slips the employee 500 gold to force a match against the higher-leveled Triumph in the Skies. Although the official demands a larger bribe, he eventually yields, and the teams are summoned to Battlefield 987. Dismissing the threat posed by their opponent's higher levels, he signals his team to advance and secure the win. Their opponent confidently predicts the match will last no more than 10 minutes, a time frame he accepts with a chilling, silent nod. He designates Huang as the primary striker with Ruoxi providing support, even as onlookers openly laugh at their chances against established bronze rank squad. The duel erupts instantly as they launch a high-speed, synchronized assault that catches their rivals off guard. Realizing the threat posed by the missing guild members, the enemy leader tries to save face by mocking his presence as a mere vagrant. The combat escalates rapidly, and the higher-level opponent soon reels in shock at his overwhelming power, which defies the standard level gaps. Ruoxi strikes, prompting the enemy to ask how she is so fast, while the paladin realizes they have been ambushed by the Silver Moon. Ling Ruoqi's spear strikes force the enemy to falter, allowing him to unleash Corrosion Rain to overwhelm them with stackable dark elemental damage and silence their spells. As the opposing curseman struggles to maintain his rhythm, he signals his team to move in and dismantle their formation completely. He deploys a mechanical device and manifests a masked entity, ensuring he maintains total control over the battlefield's growing chaos. The hooded prodigy strikes with corrosive lightning, sending his opponents flying as they are slashed by an unseen force. Realizing they are being outplayed by lower-level fighters, the opposing team panics as they lose all momentum. He shouts for his squad to hold their formation, refusing to let the enemy disrupt their strategic flow for even a second. Activating Blood Echo, he watches as his teammates prepare a combination skill to decisively break the enemy's defenses. Despite the opposition attempting to launch their Blood Grip maneuver, he stands his ground to shield his allies from the impact. Powering through the clash with a heavy strike, he catches his opponents off guard with his sheer combat capability. The enemy stands shocked that their combined attack was blocked, while his teammate praises the legendary Flowing Light, Thousand-Bladed Umbrella. Systematically dismantling the opposition, he and his team appear behind them to deliver final, precise blows. He defeats the arrogant opponents in just under 5 minutes, proving his mastery over the path of the Sword God. Team Everlasting Peak secures their first victory, earning points and experience while discussing the efficiency of their rapid climbing strategy. Spectators watch in disbelief at the defeat of Team Triumph in the Skies, failing to realize the masked figures are simply Everlasting Peak. He immediately places another bet on his own victory, ignoring the clerk's suggestion to rest because they must keep rushing toward their goal. Realizing the potential of this rapid progression, he watches as his team secures their second consecutive win without breaking a sweat. After achieving 10 consecutive victories, the group reaches bronze rank, earning significant experience and rewards for their performance. As they walk away from the arena, he dismisses their 20,000 gold profit, leaving his teammates stunned by the scale of his growing ambitions. Following the victory, Zhang contacts him to suggest a meeting at the Moon Inn regarding the Blacksmith Association, prompting Cheng to inform his guildmates he must depart for a few days to handle the matter. When his guildmates question why he is heading out alone, he asserts that this task is vital for their future and challenges them to prove their own worth in the arena while he is away. After instructing his team to maintain contact, he rides toward the inn, remaining focused on his goal and the burden of knowing he alone carries the knowledge to save this world. Upon arriving, he knocks on the door and Zhang peeks out, visibly surprised and relieved to finally see his benefactor arrive. Zhang tells the elder to remain hidden, as exposing his identity now is too dangerous, and insists on taking the lead to ensure the association does not capture them both. Dismissing the association members as mere non-awakeners, he demands that Zhang trust his strength, eventually securing a promise that he will retreat if the situation turns dire. A man from the Du family offers his loyalty in exchange for his father's safety, but Cheng remains nonchalant, telling everyone to rest while promising to return with good news. As his associates discuss the upcoming plan, he keeps his focus sharp and his resolve hardened, ready to hunt down his targets. He reaches the association building, noting its immense wealth, and is immediately approached by a youth asking if he is there for the entrance exam, to which he clarifies he is here for the advanced rank qualification. Spectators scoff in disbelief, yet the testing instrument confirms he has reached the intermediate rank cap, officially qualifying him for the advanced exam. Onlookers fall silent in shock, suddenly realizing they have offended a powerful figure they should have befriended. An official reviews his credentials, 19 years old, level 32, and an intermediate blacksmith before directing him to his testing station. Observing from afar, a senior member is intrigued by this young dual awakener and orders a subordinate to investigate his teacher, hoping to recruit both into the association. Stepping into the warehouse, he ignores the curious stares and prepares to confront the gathered smiths. Though onlookers whisper in disbelief at his youth, the proctors, Chen and Yi, confirm his eligibility for the advanced rank test. Chen outlines the two-round trial, beginning with the design phase, while he quietly evaluates the association's overall competence. The start is delayed to accommodate the arrival of Elder Dong's son, the very man who framed Zhang, proving the organization's corruption. Dong Xuecheng saunters in late after a banquet, taking his seat with an air of unearned arrogance. An examiner questions the boy's status while a nearby elder watches him closely, hoping this calm candidate possesses genuine talent. After the proctor demands a weapon blueprint of level 50 or higher weighing under 3 kilograms, the exam officially begins. Chen anticipates a low pass rate, yet others begrudgingly admit that the candidate has skill, even if it is merely inherited. As time slips away, Chen grows anxious, watching him remain idle. Fearing his initial assessment of the boy was premature, the candidate finishes early, boasting that his father's secret information guarantees his victory as he mocks the idle candidate. Suddenly, he begins, his hands moving with such blurring speed that the observers are left stunned. He completes his blueprint in a flash, driven by the singular goal of restoring the association's integrity. When the candidate insults his choice of materials, he silences the man by calling him a frog in a well. An examiner intervenes to halt the shoutings. The first round concludes, ordering all candidates to set down their tools. Chen begins the evaluation, ruthlessly failing the sloppy entries while praising the work that meets his high standards. The candidate immediately challenges the results, but the examiner ignores him to focus on the controversial choice of fiery ancient gold. The proctor recoils in shock, the choice of fiery ancient gold and wind spirit stone, shouting that such a combination mocks the very standards of the examination. Cheng Qianmo asks if his method is acceptable, forcing the proctor to shout that hammering 1,000 times is impossible. Representative Chen inspects the blueprint and, finding it flawless, grants the youth an A+ grade, which Cheng Qianmo accepts with a modest nod. Accusations of bias and corruption instantly erupt from the other officials, while one angry candidate threatens to report the proctor to his own father. Ignoring the chaos, Cheng Qianmo prepares for the next phase, yet his critics continue to demand the high grade be rescinded. To silence the dissenters, the instructor forces a compromise. If the candidate can actually forge a weapon using those volatile materials in the second round, his score will stand. With 90 participants already disqualified, only 12 blacksmiths remain to begin the final grueling stage of the trial. Hostile rivals crowd around his station to act as supervisors, hoping to catch him cheating as the association dangles a 100,000 gold reward for the victor. As the second round commences, a rival sneers that his own advanced techniques are far too complex for a mere boy to comprehend. Noticing the competitor is crafting a dagger, Cheng Qianmo spontaneously alters his own blueprint, a bold move that prompts the onlookers to threaten his immediate disqualification. He ignores their protests, deftly adjusting his material ratios and selecting the perfect crystal to stabilize the fiery ancient gold. With a single hand, he brings his massive hammer down upon the anvil, leaving the onlookers stunned by the sheer physical power of this dual awakener. He drives the hammer down with rhythmic precision, pushing the limits of his forging technique to the breaking point. A spectator watches in disbelief, shocked that the youth employs a 25 kilograms hammer to execute the legendary four-technique forging method. Dong Hufei struggles to stay calm, fearing his years of study are meaningless if his rival succeeds, yet he clings to the hope of his own hidden trump card. Reaching the final step of forging, he catches his breath after the 1,000th strike, the blade beginning to take its definitive shape. The arrogant rival dismisses the feat, loudly claiming his own inherited methods remain far superior to the boy's crude skills. Recognizing the technique as Zhang's original development, he vows to reclaim the glory that the father-son duo stole from his mentor. Craftsmen panic as he introduces a wind spirit stone into the 1100-degree furnace, only to recoil when a strange blue light pulses from the flames. Dong Hufei mocks the effort, claiming the failure to form a proper embryo warrants having the boy's license revoked for such incompetence. He ignores the doubt, stating he only sought to fuse the materials and declares it is done. Violent vibrations and intense energy visions erupt, striking nearby figures as he brandishes the newly forged sword. Observers realize they have witnessed the birth of an absolute masterpiece, leaving even the elder Dong Hufei stunned by the quality of the work. President Xi watches as the weapon is revealed to be an epic-tier masterpiece, forcing the proctors to rank him first in the examination. Refusing to accept the result, Dong baselessly accuses him of copying his blueprint, while the surrounding crowd mocks his pathetic desperation. A man rebukes the accuser for shaming the association, while Chen asserts his authority, refusing to be intimidated by cries of bias. As Dong calls out to his father, he identifies the man as the very person who framed Zhang years ago. The confrontation deepens as others bow to the elder, unaware of the explosive tension building between him and the young blacksmith. Furious at the verdict, the younger Dong attempts to report Chen for favoritism, but his father cuts him off, already sensing the threat this youth poses to their control over the impending leadership transition. Dong Hufei approaches, stunned that a mere teenager could forge an epic-tier masterpiece, and while he offers words of guidance, he privately marks the boy for elimination. The elders press for the identity of the master behind such skill, suspicious that the name Zhang Wenliang is a total fabrication, but the boy dismisses their curiosity by claiming his teacher has no interest in fame. Though Chen confirms his victory, the 10,000 gold prize remains tied up in bureaucratic approval, so he agrees to deliver a message to his mentor before departing to secure his payment later. Outside the hall, the younger Dong continues his tantrum, but his father silences him, focused on scrubbing away any evidence of the past corruption that could unravel their family's grip on the association. Berating his son for nearly jeopardizing his election, Hufei orders a deep investigation into the name Wenliang, vowing to dispose of the upstart permanently once he officially secures the presidency. Back at the Moon Inn, the guild members marvel at his ability to revolutionize advanced forging techniques, realizing they are witnessing the rise of a truly unprecedented talent. Anticipating that Hufei will soon dig into his origins, he prepares to expose the man's past crimes directly to the retired President Xi, with Du Shui and Zhang pledging their full support to reclaim the truth. 2 days later, he returns to the association to collect his winnings, ignoring the whispers of blacksmiths who mock him for prioritizing a meager gold reward over his professional standing. He tells the clerk he cares more about his payment than the prestige of a badge, prompting the man to escort him to the leadership chambers to claim his 10,000 gold and official credentials. Stepping into the inner sanctum, he finds the council waiting, their eyes narrowing as they openly doubt that a teenager could have produced an epic-tier masterpiece. Suddenly, a protective barrier erupts and shatters, allowing Dong to sneer at a rival, mocking whether his master is hiding out of cowardice or simply lacks the spine to show his face. Demanding an immediate explanation for the disruption, he locks eyes with Dong, who reacts with visible alarm when the boy identifies himself as an official elder of the Profession Association. The room descends into stunned silence as he produces the elder's emblem, leaving the gathered smiths to groan and regret that such a rare talent chose a rival organization over theirs. The elder asks why he came, but he insists he only wants his advanced qualification, leading the elder to ask why he hid his identity. He begins a rhythmic magical ritual that forces Dong to recoil, his composure crumbling as Du and Zhang suddenly materialize to confront him. Zhang points a trembling finger at his former master, branding him shameless, which triggers a wave of revulsion among the members who remember the man they once exiled. Vowing that his accusations are absolute truth, Zhang recounts how Dong stole his life's work and slandered his name to ensure his own rise to power. Dong sneers and dismisses the testimony as the bitter lies of a washed-up apprentice, prompting the boy to challenge him to a public forging match to settle the score once and for all. Just as Dong threatens to use his authority to crush them, the atmosphere heavy with malice, President Xi steps forward and commands the room to fall silent. Ignoring the frantic claims that he allowed an infiltrator into their midst, Xi stares past the chaos to lock eyes with his long-lost acquaintance, Zhang. The gathered members gasp as Zhang humbles himself, revealing to the stunned council that he now serves under the boy's command. Recognizing that Zhang has attained the rare scholar rank, the elders finally begin to grasp the scope of their error, while Zhang steps forward to demand the right to compete and reclaim his stolen honor. Dong Hufei accuses the pair of conspiring to slander him, but Chang Qianmo stands firm, declaring they possess the definitive proof of his systemic corruption. When the elder orders his men to forcibly eject them, President Xi intervenes, commanding the room to silence while he demands the evidence they promised. Chang Qianmo presents the original embryonic advancement forging method, demonstrating that the elder and his son climbed the hierarchy solely by plagiarizing these secret techniques. Lashing out, Dong Hufei brands them traitors to the association and commands his guards to seize them, ignoring the president's growing skepticism toward his open rebellion. Scornfully dismissing the guards, Chang Qianmo launches a sudden, powerful assault that effortlessly dismantles the elite level 35 warriors. Terrified by this display of combat prowess, Dong Hufei frantically calls for a full-scale arrest, desperate to maintain his waning grip on the association. The president's aide suddenly steps forward with overwhelming force, shattering the elder's confidence and bringing the chaos to an abrupt halt. Watching the aide's display of strength, Chang Qianmo notes the shift in the room as the other members finally turn against Dong Hufei for his heartless betrayal of Zhang. As the disgraced elder begs for mercy, Xi revokes his and his son's memberships, officially naming Zhang the new candidate for the presidency. Guards drag the screaming, defiant man away while the remaining elders reassure Zhang that passing the upcoming scholar rank exam will cement his new position. Stunned by his sudden reversal of fortune, Jiang marvels at the outcome, crediting the young man for navigating the path of the sword god to reclaim his lost honor. The elderly blacksmith reveals he has only 6 months left before retirement, and he urges Chung to provide ongoing support to the Skypack City Blacksmith Association. Chung reassures him that with his continued guidance, the institution will never falter. Watching from the shadows, a cloaked figure questions Xi's decision to hand the reins to Zhang. Fearing the association will fall under Chang's absolute control, but Xi insists that aligning with such a powerhouse is the only way to avoid the incompetence of the Dong era. As a dragon streaks across the sky, Xi expresses his unwavering confidence that Chang's influence will secure their future strength. Soon after, Zhang is officially congratulated on his new scholar rank, though he modestly downplays the achievement while the elders look on in awe. Chang watches the group disperse, but he is suddenly startled by an unexpected sight, sharing a brief look of relief with his companions as the tension finally breaks. Zhang announces his promotion and insists that Chang join him for a celebratory drink to mark the occasion. Politely declining, Chang bids them farewell, explaining that he must return to the Mountain Mist Arena to reunite with his teammates now that the crisis is resolved. A man kneels to pledge his family's eternal service in gratitude for saving his father, prompting Chang to request their help in building his new guild. He explains that he plans to establish his own organization within a month and offers to hire the family to ensure their growth alongside his own. The man offers his service for free, but Zhang attempts to poach Chang's favor with a promise of discounts, sparking a heated argument with the Du family over who gets to serve the future guild. Both parties boast of their blacksmithing prestige, but ultimately, the first alliance for Cheng's guild is successfully secured. His reflection is cut short by an urgent message from Huang regarding trouble at the arena, where Everlasting Peak has become infamous for their 85 consecutive victories. Cheng prepares to return immediately, acknowledging that such an unrelenting winning streak has inevitably painted a target on their backs. Upon arriving at his team's quarters, he finds the area under heavy guard and confronts a knight blocking his path. He warns the knight not to stand in his way again, his status window flickering as he senses the gravity of the situation. Reuniting with his team, he finds them bickering over who deserves credit for their recent battles while trapped under house arrest. Zhang demands an explanation for the lockdown, and his team admits they were simply too high profile to ignore. They explain that after winning huge sums at the casino, the 5 great arenas formed an alliance specifically to challenge them in a final, decisive match. Rather than seeing this alliance as a threat, he views their desperation as a prime opportunity to further his own agenda. Ni Yongsheng soon arrives with his guards, blocking the path to confront the leader of Everlasting Peak directly. The boss claims he has been waiting for this meeting, while Qianmo readies his bow for combat. After identifying himself, Qianmo listens as Ni asserts his absolute authority over the arena grounds. Ni accuses him of causing chaos through his winning streaks and heavy betting. But Qianmo denies the charges, insisting his team played strictly by the rules. Despite the lack of proof, Ni argues that such a long string of victories is a calculated effort to bankrupt his establishment. Demanding compensation for these business losses, Ni finally drops the pretense and urges him to stop speaking in circles. The alliance makes their offer clear: intentionally lose just one match, and he will be allowed to keep his winnings without fear of further retaliation. Qianmo rejects the proposal immediately, citing his guild's core rule that they will never suffer a single loss. Calling this claim arrogant, Ni threatens him with a blood feud, yet Qianmo remains unmoved, refusing to entertain the idea of surrender. Although Ni warns that this refusal will lead to his death, Qianmo counters by demanding they cease monitoring him like a common criminal. As Ni reacts to the arrival of a mysterious group, his teammates express growing concern over the consequences of operating in such hostile territory. Qianmo reassures them, noting that if the arenas truly had proof of wrongdoing, they would have attacked already, and their public reputation currently prevents them from acting recklessly. His subordinates affirm their unwavering loyalty to his no-loss policy, choosing to trust his judgment over the temptation of easy money. Reminding them of the commission they must complete for Gu Qiun, he orders them to abandon any thought of collaboration and prepare for the coming battle. He tells his team to prepare for the fight, suggesting they go place a bet before the match begins. Watching this, Yongshun seizes at their blatant lack of gratitude, and when his scouts report the team is betting on themselves, he panics and demands an immediate start to the hostilities. One of his lackeys sneers at their perceived arrogance, prompting Yongshun to abandon all pretenses of negotiation and order his men to slaughter the group without mercy. Meanwhile, Qian briefs his squad Bao and Gao and Yuanu they'd parley, leaving them bewildered as to why such a generous offer was ever refused. An analyst scrutinizing Everlasting Peak's records notes their long streak of victories, concluding that they possess fearsome combat power despite being below level 35. The rest of the group remains baffled by the refusal of a fixed match, though some find this bold defiance far more engaging than a staged exhibition. Qianmo momentarily reflects on his own path, casting aside any doubt before Yongshun channels his murderous intent. Preparing his fighters for the final confrontation, an official announcement summons the combatants to the field, and as the team spots their level 40 opponents, his comrades panic and beg for a plan, but he insists his presence is more than enough. With the countdown ticking down, he realizes that since only one recording of his combat style exists, his hidden techniques remain the team's only reliable strategy. Atmosphere in the stadium reaches a fever pitch as millions of coins are wagered, while Broken Dreams charges into the arena, certain that their secret contingency plans guarantee a win. The leader asks if they are using their former strategy, then instructs his team to protect their allies and follow his rhythm. As the fight kicks off, he draws his weapon and lunges into the fray, catching an opponent off guard with his sudden, swift maneuver. He maneuvers across the floor using his gear, dragging the blonde man into a blast of energy. Broken Dream scrambles to shield their deputy leader, but he moves faster, sealing them instantly within a suffocating net of poisonous energy. A cloaked figure kicks their opponent, while a dark-haired teammate unleashes a curse of suffering, leaving the target enveloped in purple energy and paralyzed by the sudden assault. Qianmo realizes he is the primary target of his enemies, so he readies his own weapon to counter the encroaching threat. When an assailant attempts a strike from behind, he effortlessly keeps his victims trapped, leaving the enemy leader stunned that his 3 subordinates were dismantled by a single person. He lunges forward to maintain relentless pressure, forcing his opponents to struggle against his weapon as their dreams of an easy victory begin to fracture. The opposing boss rages at his team's failure, yet a subordinate insists a costly backup plan will still guarantee the match's outcome. Spectators watch in shock as Lu Gao falls, while the remaining enemies hope his control skills will fade, only for him to clarify that his power stems from his weapon's innate attributes. He mocks their desperate hope for a cooldown, prompting the leader to reach for a Savage Ash crystal to turn the tide. Activating the crystal forces the users into a berserk state, granting them a 30% stat boost at the heavy cost of 5 years of future growth. As a red trap ensnares him, the protagonist asks if everyone is carrying such a cheating tool. He delivers a knee strike to break the exchange, realizing his current suppression techniques are no longer enough to contain such empowered foes. The enemies recover and regroup, claiming they now understand the secret of his weapon as they form a tactical formation to trap him. Qianmo decides to show them respect by unveiling a new technique for his second stage flowing light umbrella. He wields an epic tier staff to unleash mage skills, shocking the enemy, who cannot believe he possesses such versatile combat knowledge. An enemy shields his team from the resulting blast, ending the exchange with a thunderous impact. Dust from the impact clears, revealing Cheng Qianmo and his teammates bracing against the assault before launching a relentless counteroffensive. Their opponent stares in disbelief at the chain reaction, unable to fathom how a mere vagrant possesses such profound tactical depth. Cheng Qianmo recalls the spell's complexity, noting his flowing light umbrella justifies every resource he sacrificed. Panic ripples through the arena bosses as they watch their investments vanish, erupting into desperate arguments and physical altercations over the broken promise of victory. Directing his team to finish the job, Cheng Qianmo watches as rival gamblers mourn their financial ruin, hurling insults at the victors. The crowd cheers for Everlasting Peak as the team prepares to collect their winnings from the first battle. Standing amidst the debris, Cheng Qianmo signals his allies that the opening clash is settled and it is time to depart. Mounted pursuers gallop to intercept them, but he dismisses the threat, confident that they are already slipping past the city's borders. Reinforcements from Bloodfang Keep arrive to receive the group, securing their successful exit from the jurisdiction. Realizing the futility of the chase, the pursuers retreat, choosing to report the failure to Ni rather than risk their lives. Cao greets the group, confirming his escort has arrived just in time to bring them back to their waiting lord. Inside the headquarters, the leadership meets Cheng Qianmo with mockery and a frantic demand to return the 30,000 gold to distance themselves from the chaos. He ignores their accusations of cowardice and their complaints about the public humiliation he brought upon the 6 arenas, merely offering a cold smile. A subordinate interrupts the tension, rushing in to report that warriors from the surrounding arenas are massing at the Thundercloud Mountain canyons, demanding an explanation. He warns that the opposing factions have already mobilized to intercept the guild at the Thundercloud Mountain canyons. Cheng Qianmo greets the news with a cold smile, steadying himself as he readies his gear for the inevitable clash.